So
I
that's
am
the
the leader of the
upside
white
to
race.
it.
That is true.
Ask Nick Fuentes if she is.
Wait, there's a conflict
I
here.
actually did. I actually was in a debate with Nick Fuentes, and I told Nick Fuentes, I told him, I am taking that title from you because nobody in your area agrees with you having it. So
Dog.
I am now taking your title of Savior of the White Race.
If he had a button to become Hitler,
If you-
he'd do it in a flash and put you in a camp. Okay?
Oh my
Okay,
God,
I'm
we
aware.
did.
I don't care, bro. I've met plenty of people in real life. who
Okay,
wanna
listen,
fucking
I don't
murder me.
kink shame. I'm just saying
So,
most people don't
I
want to be
gotta-
put in camps.
Nick Fuentes, Richard Spencer, Hitler. I don't know. Who should we platform? Should we allow these people to have a voice? We'll start this off with Alec Gunter.
No, it's very oh, hold on.
The mute button, sir. The mute
Who
button.
is
I did
muted?
it. I
Yeah,
did.
Jesus
Listen,
Christ.
it's hard to get my ideas out there when I've been deplatformed. But no, I think it's a shocking take. Very bad thing to platform Nazis. I think that is not a thing that we should do. I think that anytime we see people Nazi posting, that we should immediately take that shit down. I think a society which allows Nazis to propagate their ideas is inevitably a doomed one, because those ideas can grow and fester and then take over other people and then stifle their free speech. So I really don't understand why we think that is an okay thing to do. A free society must also preserve its own freedom. It has to. So yeah, I think, I don't use the term common sense a lot, but the idea that Nazis will somehow grow when they're silenced, like silencing them will make them grow more, like more powerful somehow. That's not true at all. And if that is true, then I encourage you kindly delete your Twitch, delete your Twitter, and see how well you do.
Alrighty, Doobie.
Yeah, you should platform Nazis. And I think that the idea that you can just like keep these people off the internet by deleting a few accounts is really, I think, naive. I think there's actually been a few studies that have come out recently in the last couple of years that have shown what we've always known, is that hey, they just make an alt account, come back on anyway. They're more esoteric about how they Nazi post, and they end up in echo chambers where they become more extreme, which is what we've been arguing for fucking years, and now we have the evidence to prove it.
The idea
So, yeah, you
that
should
like
platform them so their ideas can be debunked.
the idea that we're like all sitting at like a round table and that
Non-smoker.
frog is just with devil wings is just like there with us is hilarious to me.
All right. So I would argue, I would kind of side with Alec on this one. As a communist, right? I do believe that speech always can be used as violence, right? Speech inherently is like a kind of violent act. Like when you hurt someone's feelings, like that's as real as any kind of physical pain. So by that logic, right, any speech that creates discomfort or unhappiness,
He's such
in
a
people,
disingenuous
should just
asshole.
be wiped off the face of the internet for sure. And if we could find a way to stop people from saying that stuff in real life, even better.
He's
So
such
I think,
an asshole,
I would go even
dude.
beyond Nazism and just say any upsetting speech should be shut down completely.
Oh man,
Oh, wow. All right, Zonia.
bald man with beard solidarity? Fuck no.
Yeah, this is
Most bald
obviously
men with beard are not as based as I
It's a
am.
difficult one to answer because the whole reason why they're deplatformed is because of the fact that we find their ideas detestable. And so there's a little bit of a paradox there where if you platform them, inevitably people are going to see these things as being detestable. And so they call for those people to be removed and then they get deplatformed. And, but the problem is that in light of that kind of deplatforming, Nazis have gotten more and more clever about both creating smoke screens and making people jump at shadows by memeing a lot and signaling at a lot of things that it might be, might be their ideology or may not be. And it's just like, oh, it's just memes, it's just jokes. And so you get a lot of people jumping at shadows. And they've also come up with ways to tailor their message to fly under the radar more. So I'm kind of the opinion that if you're going to platform them, you definitely need to be aware of what it is that they're saying. You need to be prepared to push back. Whether or not we should platform them is a really difficult thing to answer, again, because of this, if you allow them to fly under the radar and be unnoticed and allow them to stealth, you're also allowing them to prey on a lot of disenfranchised people and pull more and more people into their ranks by providing them what seem like very simple answers to complicated solutions that give them enemies for them to focus on that look different from them, people that are other than them. And that works well on people who are socially atomized and disenfranchised. So I think you have to be prepared for what it is that you're platforming. The should, I don't really know how to answer that, but it's something that I feel there's danger in trying to ignore the problem, and there's danger in platforming it improperly without proper pushback.
All right, Smugbug.
Yeah, I fall similar to Zonia on this, but the more I see how Nazis have been platformed, and the more I see, like Fuentes, the more I see the results of that, the more I think that we're just as Twitch poll, as a politics community, both socially and this minority, we're not competent enough to do it properly, and like we might have to use more blunt force instruments, because like if even Fuentes can leverage conversations with someone who is rhetorically effective into going further mainstream, ending up on places like No Jumper, getting sanitized, then I think the result, I think we just don't have like the intelligence and maturity to do it properly at this point. I think that in theory, platforming Nazis is a good idea to, build people the critical skills they need to deal with those ideas. But in practice, I just don't think that any of us are good enough to do it effectively enough every single time to outweigh the potential dangers that exist there. So I would like us to be able to, but I think that we're too incompetent, and hopefully I'm not just speaking for myself. The last thing I would add is that I think that generally liberals are quite bad at dealing with Nazis. I think you do
if
need
we're
to
speaking
fight
about like
Nazism
just
from a more
bringing
leftist
Nazis on
perspective.
to like
And any
humiliate
time a
them, I
liberal
actually
goes up
think that
against
can
a
be a good
Nazi,
thing to do.
A Nazi will have ideas for the gaps
But
in
it very
liberalism
highly
that are
depends.
quite appealing to people looking for easy answers. So you're kind of fighting at a disadvantage as a liberal. Unfortunately, leftists are such fucking idiots, including myself, that I don't know that we can really deal with the rhetorical side of those conversations. So it just ends up being like a lose-lose. Either you don't have the ideological position to argue effectively, or you don't have the rhetorical skill. If we had some leftists with the rhetorical skill of, I don't know, some of the liberals, then I think we'd be in a better position to do this. At the moment, I don't.
Yeah, somebody online.
Man, oh man, apparently all of you guys are way too big to ask anybody to come and follow you, but I'm somebody online. Come and follow me on Twitch, pretty please. Frankly speaking, on this subject, a lot of you guys, I'm sure, know I came into this space extremely anti-deplatforming. You need to let anybody come on, say whatever they need to say. I've spent enough time in this space now, though, to realize that that's not necessarily the case as much as I thought. There are always going to be these people that come out with these extremely low tier and mid takes. And it's important that we recognize the bad takes for being bad takes. We can't let people out here espousing Nazi propaganda, espousing extremely terribly bad ideas over and over and over again. We've seen all of these things. We've seen the way that these things work out. And it seems like every time we get rid of one of these individuals, there's someone else that comes and takes their spot. We need to get rid of the ideas entirely because they are bad and they are harmful ideas. We can't be running around trying to be like, well, you're a Nazi, you're a Nazi, you're a Nazi, and get a really vague idea of what these terms mean. We need to get hyper specific. And if you espouse these exact ideas, you're freaking out of here, man. We don't want to hear it from you anymore. And we need to be really clear with everybody about what the ideas that you're not allowed to espouse are. That's where I'm coming from. Just be clear about it.
All right, Wick, welcome in.
Welcome. We doing opening shit?
Yeah, opening. So should we
Opening
platform
shit?
Nazis?
So the problem is no one can decide what is and is not a Nazi. Any rule you make to even like I just caught the end of my buddy somebody here. Will necessarily have to be vague enough that almost anything can fit into this, right? It's the same reason why laws against hate speech and things like that are often weaponized, mostly against those without power and minorities. It's because you can take almost anything or any person and fit them into these holes. So any law or tool or moderation or censorship mechanism that is used to combat this is invariably going to turn around and be used against us. And by us, I mean those who would fight against such things. So what we need to do is take this tool off the table. We need less censorship, not more. And we need more moderation, which is substantively different than censorship. Moderation will allow individual users to tailor their own experience. So if you don't want to see this shit, you can block it yourself. But when you are removing people from platforms and saying, I don't want you at all on this service, you are telling people what
I
they
hate
can
that
and
I'm
cannot
literally
do,
just a clone
and
of
that
two of
is
the guys
authoritarian.
here.
That's my statement.
Alrighty. Counterpoints, welcome in. Should we platform Nazis? Thoughts? All right, he's dead. We'll move on. Toby.
Rip.
Yeah, God, this shit pisses me off so much that people can't know how to handle people in the public sphere and how to talk with them and neutralize them or deconstruct their thoughts, or it's not just take them down, and it is complicated. It's a very
There he is.
complicated
There's the
thing. I
bull.
understand that, but deplatforming them can easily just mean that their ideas are so powerful that they can't even be heard. That they're so dangerous, even to let them speak means that it's
yes.
going to destroy
Famously,
everything. And that's
Hitler
not always
destroyed
the case,
by his
but
own
it does
words.
give them that position to do that.
Everyone knows
it.
it.
To start to scream that, and then you have to still address those problems and what they're doing in your public platform as well too. So you're still holding that boundary when you're talking with other people about what's going to work or what's good for society and so forth. So yeah, if you're going to bring them on, don't let them run wild and don't let them do whatever they want. Deconstructing them is part of it, but neutralizing their ideas in real time takes away their power. And it really sucks the way that you have to go about doing it, in going to where they're at and meeting them on their own terms, so to speak, to take them by the hand and walk them back through a sane, rational way to interact with people, that very, very few people even want to do it because it's so disgusting.
Alrighty. Counterpoints, latest man in the room. Should we
Hi.
platform Nazis?
Yeah, we should. But basically, for the reason that I agree with Wick on, I think we should modify our moderation tools a significant amount
Cringe.
so everybody can customize their own perspectives. That way, if you don't want to deal with transphobic or homophobic or whatever harassment, you could set filters, and you don't have to deal with that stuff. Blocking and muting should be available as well. And then I do understand the requirement.
This is cringe as fuck. Oh, you don't want to deal with transphobia?
Competent
Well,
and intelligent and well-informed people combating negative actors. If anything, I think
That's
probably
pretty true,
the
Sean,
shittiest
thank
thing
you.
about our current socio-political narrative
if only
is the fact that we
non-smoker had
have
been speaking.
nefarious actors. We have stupid people who enable them. And then we have people who want to censor them, or people who cannot combat the ideas. And that sucks. And I think that we would be well served to create a form of media literacy where people can smell bullshit. And right now, I don't think we have that at all. I think most people fall for rhetorical bullshit all the time.
Well, if that's the case, then why would you be in favor of fucking platforming them?
Someplace better. But we can get into that into the open.
All right. And last but certainly not least, Tiberius.
Yeah, excuse me, for anyone who is just listening in, I am currently a slave for DoorDash, so I'll be hanging out with you guys on a Bluetooth microphone. So if I sound like dog shit, it's because y'all don't pay me enough on Twitch and YouTube. But anyway, without further ado, I've always been really mixed bag on this particular issue. I can't really figure out which way is the right way to go. On one side, I recognize that some of these ideas are
Dog, they make these panels impossibly big.
Particularly anti-Semitism. I don't know why, but apparently hating on Jews seems to be a really popular thing for people in history. I can't really stomach that, but it is.
When did people ever hate on Jews?
That's
That's
that
ridiculous.
if you believe in tolerance and actually convincing people through love and compassion that your ways are better, then you have to open the door for people who could harm you to engage with them, talk to them, and maybe talk them down. The thing that always pisses me off on that particular part is that the left acts like it's their job to counteract Nazis. No, it's fucking not. It's the job of the right.
What?
In the same way that
What?
the only
What?
way you can talk down a
The
communist
right
is having a lefty
fosters
that
the
has the same
Nazis.
moral virtues at their core to talk them down. Nazis have to have the right to get them talked down. And so overall is that if the right isn't policing the Nazis, then that's on them. If the left isn't
Oh, it's
policing
on
communists,
them.
then that's
Oh,
on them.
good.
Thank you very much.
All right, floor is open. Go for the throw.
Hold on. May I suggest for the people who did not introduce themselves, can we do that?
My
I'm
name's
Wick.
Connor.
My name's
I run a
Jeff.
YouTube channel named Counterpoints.
I'm non-smoker.
Let's do it all at the same time.
Oh, no, please,
Zonia.
no,
Non-smoker.
please, God.
I'm
Perfect. All right.
Zonia.
We did it.
I wanted to leave it up to the moderator, but yeah, my name's Alec Gunter. You can find me on twitch.tv/Alec Gunter. You can also find me on youtube.com/Alec Gunter TTV. And I do leftist politics, etc. That's about it.
Base.
Fight.
So,
Okay.
an interesting couple of points brought up by somebody online and Toby. So, somebody online brought up a really important point, which I think we definitely should focus on. It seems like part of the whole stealth thing, like the what do you call it, crypto fascist, right, is the idea of being able to make it so that they can get their ideas out to people without being noticed for what they are, and those ideas being called out as detestables. So yeah, I think it creates, there's like, as I mentioned before about like, there's sort of a smoke screen and there's a lot of memeing and stuff as well that creates a lot of ambiguity and misdirection. And it makes it very difficult where a lot of people start jumping at shadows and accusing people of like, oh, you're just, you're just dog whistling, or you're trying to, this is, you're memeing, but actually you believe this thing and such. And it creates a lot of misdirection. So, and I think it's really important because we have this ambiguity around what is a Nazi. I think it's important to be able to call out very specific behaviors. Like, are these people advocating for ethno-states? Are these people talking about genetic grouping of like intellectual capacity and such? Are they talking about, are they essentializing race to marginalize people or to, to otherize people? Those are things that I think we can individually point out and call out, and then we can push back on. But when we're jumping at shadows and pointing out, like, sort of like ambiguously assigning Nazi to people in ways that we don't clearly define, we're just creating more and more of a mess and an inability to point out these problems and push back on them.
To that point, to kind of piggyback back off what you're saying, Zonia, right? No, I'll let you finish and I'll go.
Well, and then I was going to say then to go on to what Toby was saying, or I think it was Toby, I forget who was saying it, but I think it was Toby, about how are these ideas just, are they so powerful and such,
Yeah, that was me.
yeah, that you're afraid to have them anywhere in the public because there's too coercive and too, or not even coercive, too subversive to even consider platforming. I think that's part of the problem, is that that lack of being able to drill down on these individual problem beliefs and ideologies, and instead trying to just assign a label ambiguously and dismiss, creates that power. It allows that idea to not be able to be tackled, not be able to be addressed, and therefore be too powerful to platform in a way, right? And so that's where I think we need to be a little bit more proactive about being specific about the ideological positions and debunking those and addressing them and calling them out.
Yeah, I don't think anyone disagrees with like calling them out. I think where the substantive disagreement is there is, and I'm not again, I came in late, so apologies. I don't know everyone's here's position, but there is a tendency for people not to want to debunk or fight, but to simply silence, right? And there's a fundamental difference between engaging with something and fighting it and doing battle, if you will, rhetorically, and simply saying, well, you were wrong, you were harmful, so you are not allowed to speak. That is, it's empty calories. You think you're doing good here, but it's not very effective in the long term. In the short term, you'll see gains.
I think it's very powerful.
What if you don't? Well, hold on. What if you don't have a better tool? What if only a small proportion of people are actually capable of fighting Nazi ideas head on? Like, I liken it to the Nazi rhetoric is a strategy that's very easy to execute and takes far more effort and skill to defend against than it does to
Which
execute.
Nazi idea do you have trouble like arguing against?
I don't have trouble arguing against Nazi ideas. We're talking broadly speaking about the platform. I think that most lefties are pretty bad.
You said,
I would say
you were
most
including
liberals.
yourself in the group
Okay.
of people who had
Well, I
talks
would-
to
Just real
Nazis.
quick,
Alright,
the reason why
wait,
I'm
please,
mad at
one
it,
second.
if I can finish my
Bro.
point.
Can I
If I
just?
can finish
He
my
said
point, the
earlier.
reason
He
why
said
I'm mad
earlier
at
that
it-
he was including himself
Rubble,
in a group
rubble,
of people
rubble.
who had trouble speaking to Nazis. So, what do you have issues speaking to Nazis about?
I don't think I have issues speaking to Nazis. I was being self-deprecating.
So
Okay.
you've already backtracked.
So
I can answer that.
Smug,
Yeah,
I
Doobie.
think you and
Doobie,
I
I have a
both
rebuttal
know
for you when.
Please.
Yeah, you go first, but I have a rebuttal for Doobie.
Me?
I was going to
Oh.
say, Smug, there are plenty of leftists who are absolute shit at confronting Nazis on streams and panels and stuff, right? You're not just saying it's a liberal problem. I think
no,
you and I
absolutely.
would both agree there are plenty of leftists with this issue as well.
Well,
Yeah, no,
well, I
that's
wanna
what I said. I
concede-
said that a lot of leftists and a lot of liberals are terrible at this before Doobie interrupted. And like the big issue I have here is that I think it's better to give the average population a blunt instrument they can use if they aren't capable of using the tool that requires more finesse. So that's
Well,
that's
okay.
the
But
They
point
aren't
of
capable of
deplatforming.
using the
Okay,
blunt
hold on.
one.
Yes, a
They're
blunt
not
object.
capable-
Always
they're
a
not
great tool
capable of
against
using this-
Nazis.
Just real quick, they're
May
not
I?
capable of using this blunt tool either, right? We've seen them go in
They
like
got two functioning
mass
arms.
reporting and things like that. They are just not. We are very, very bad at identifying, right? What information is actually harmful, and we're like, look at the laws being passed in Florida by DeSantis and things like that to silence the gays and silence the CRT people.
Well, yeah, but they would hold on.
Like,
You
these-
can't
these
link
are-
that. You can't link that to deplatforming Nazis.
Absolutely,
That's
I
entirely separate-
can.
No,
right?
you
It's
can't.
free speech.
The right has suppressed free speech for decades.
Yes.
Like it's not like.
What do you think you're
Yeah,
trying to
right.
do when you deplatform Nazis?
Protect the rights
hold on,
to
hold on.
free
We're
speech
gonna-
for
we're
a
gonna
longer
move-
period.
No, that's
For more
Okay,
people.
we're gonna lose the point. Please, God, can I fucking rebut Doobie real quick? So my issue with what Doobie said is that so for me, like Nazism, because I've hung out with fascists, I've hung out with fascist philosophers, blah blah blah. So fascism is something very specific. Nazism is something very specific in those circles. So Nazism is like, German fascism that hates Jews. It's very racial, et cetera, et cetera. But fascism itself is political corporatism mixed with flexible authoritarianism.
Oh, no.
Definitionally with Giovanni Gentile. You can have all
Oh,
sorts of
no,
cultures that
bro.
are fascist. And Doobie, this is
She's
one of the things
arrived.
that Smugbug kind of called out that you dismissed, but I think he's actually correct on. We were on a panel together, and by the way, very good to see you
Evergreen.
again. We were on a panel together, and I don't know if you were memeing, but basically you outlined your political worldview as political corporatism with flexible
He
authoritarianism.
actually quoted Giovanni Gentile in that description.
Yeah, but then I asked you who Giovanni Gentile was, or I asked you who he was.
If you wanna
and were
read it,
like,
it's
no,
in the
I don't know who
Discord.
that is. And it's like, bro, like you're, I know you could have been memeing during the panel or whatever, but you're kind of an example of the rhetoric being difficult to nail down and easy to do a Don Quixote sparring session against windmills if you can't identify what you're fighting.
Well, I don't agree with that. So I think that so let's say I am a fascist, and I think I do have some like fascist tendencies in certain issues. I don't think I disagree with anybody on that.
Ban him.
So let's say I were a fascist, just outright. So which ideas do I have that are so dangerous you can't even allow me on the platforms because there might be somebody who speaks to me that is so unprepared for my line of thinking or my line of rhetoric or my policy positions that they're going to like just totally fall in love with fascism and go out and murder somebody.
Well, I think fascism is relatively appealing. And non-smoker, I'm gonna shut up because I know you've been trying to get in.
Thanks,
Well,
man. Yeah.
well, but I know it's appealing. But like, what
Bro,
about
let him
fascism?
talk.
Come on.
What
I'm
ideas
asking
does
you.
non-smoker
You're-
have that you
listen.
can't let him talk?
This is why you have to silence fascists, because
So
they
I have
just
to
try to
silence
take over
them?
the conversation.
Yeah, let's,
So
let's
look,
let non-smoker go ahead.
what I would argue is that everybody here who's suggesting that we can platform Nazis because we can try to like convert them or like defeat their ideology in the marketplace of ideas, I would say you're grossly overestimating your ability to convince people of anything. These ideas are toxic. They invade people's minds and they take control of them, sort of like a phantom.
God, he is such a
And this is how this
disingenuous
shit
fucking
spreads.
asshole.
Like a ghost.
Amazingly
Like
Wait, hold on,
irresponsible of you.
non-smoker.
I wanna-
Wait,
irresponsible
it's
of
just
you.
one question.
Well,
Non-smoker, just one
I
let me
wanna
finish
end-
what I'm saying. Fascists trying to silence me once again.
That's true. Based.
Amazingly irresponsible of you. Amazingly irresponsible of you to advocate for a belief system which would silence most of us outright.
Well, okay, but
gotta ask
non-smoker,
one question.
what is? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. You go.
So I just want to ask, non-smoker, do you think there is a single person on the planet that can oppose Nazi ideas like rhetorically effectively? Assuming like an effective Nazi like Nick Fuentes, do you think there's anyone that can combat them in like a public sphere?
Oh my god, I don't think they're picking up on the sarcasm.
Amazing. Great. Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Listen,
Thank you for
listen.
joining us, Stardust.
Hi. How's it going, guys?
Hello,
Can
Sarah.
you hear me okay?
Hi.
Doing
It's
well.
a
What do you
shit
think
show.
I'm
about
sure we'll hear
platforming
her
Nazi
fine
stuff?
The
all night.
queen of Nazis herself, the savior of the white race.
It's like I'm the queen of Nazis.
Yeah,
The fuck?
Yeah, we're about to hear some really base stuff here. So that's cool. That's cool.
Well, look, I just think that if you're trying to change people's minds, I don't think that I mean, honestly, if I'm going to be real with you guys, I'm not here to change people's minds, okay? My point at the end of every conversation is to
Cringe.
connect with somebody on a meaningful level.
Join the
right?
club, seductive.
Whether they change their mind on their topics is irrelevant to me, right? What I am aiming for is for them to see me as a human being and for me to see them as a human being. If I can bring the temperature down, then that is enough for me. And that is what I am aiming for. And I've received tons of messages where people will say that I have reduced the temperature around certain subjects, right? But if these people, the way that politics works right now, today, we're all kind of like in our own little bubbles. We're all siloed off from each other. And
Based centrism.
that creates an issue where people don't see each other as fellow human beings. They see each other as monsters, right? Like a monster
That's
with
pretty
a different
true, Adric.
political ideology. And I don't believe in that. I didn't get I don't get the ability to walk away from.
There's a lot of
walk away from
autism here.
conflict in real life. Why the fuck would I do that online? Like, you know,
I'm
just
just
because
kidding.
somebody has a different or has somebody has abhorrent views. Yes, they have abhorrent views, but when I talk to them and I show them that I'm able to see the world through their eyes, I'm able to empathize with them as they see the world through their eyes. I'm able to understand the points that they're bringing forth and truly relate to them on an interpersonal level, and then bring my arguments to them through that. Then they are forced to see me as a human being as well, right? And I will put myself
literally not true.
I
It's
will
really,
put
really productive.
I will put myself in I will talk to literally anybody. So, and I will like fucking die defending my right to talk to anybody.
It's the
But
only way to
at
stop
the
them,
end
yeah.
of the day, I am not trying to change somebody's point of view, somebody's opinions. They are not going to change through me. That is something that they do over years of time in their own head. What I'm trying to do is just connect on a human level, because when you don't see other people as humans, it's much easier to justify violence and hatred towards somebody else.
Boy, I wish the Jews and Nazis, Auschwitz had thought of that.
This
They
way
don't
of
see you as
connecting with
human.
people on a human level is the way to
Aaron,
go
hold on,
about
Seth.
being able to
There's,
change their
I
minds.
just, literally,
Aaron,
just a quick question.
I said,
No,
everyone,
you're not.
shut the fuck
I know
up.
you're not.
Holy
You have to
fuck.
listen to the moderator.
Whoa.
Shut up.
Rubber.
I'll let Gunter go. You've been trying to talk.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I wish the Jews in Nazi Germany had thought of that. That way, maybe the Nazis would have seen them as people and let them go.
Well,
That's
pretty cool.
the Nazis
right.
did not see
The
them as humans,
Holocaust.
right? The Nazis.
Well, he
Oh,
definitely.
my bad.
suffered
I accidentally
everything.
deafened.
I
If
wish
the
we'd thought of
Jews
that
turned
70
to the
years ago.
Nazis and
I
said,
actually,
"We see you guys
I
as
swear to
human," it
God,
wouldn't
I was
stop
trying
the
to
Holocaust.
unmute and I accidentally
Okay,
deafened.
so
I will do misogyny, but that was not it.
You gave a great example, Alec. That the Nazis did not really see Jewish people as humans; they saw them as subhuman, and we see this echoed today in the way that certain people view other groups. Right? They may view me as subhuman, but if I'm able to relate to them on a fundamental interpersonal level, and let me tell you, a lot of these guys who fall into
Okay.
these super
Okay,
wait a
but
minute,
you just flipped.
Wait a minute.
Oh, got it.
A lot of these guys who fall into these far right, even Nazi-ish ideologies are people who feel like they have been left behind by the entire world. And
But
if you are able to relate to them on an interpersonal level, they are forced to also relate with you on an interpersonal
But you just
level.
flipped what you said. You said Nazis, that's the problem. Nazis did not see Jewish people as people. And so you said, well, some people don't see me as people, right? So
Yes.
what you're saying is if I just show them my ideas, then they'll see me as people.
Alex,
What I'm saying is the Jews in Nazi Germany should have done that. If that's what works.
Shut up! It's my turn to respond. Okay, sorry.
Oh, this is
Alex,
so cute and adorable. It's not fair.
it's not cute and adorable.
What?
I'm
Shut up, Toby.
obnoxious. I'm
Oh.
obnoxious
Misogyny.
and disgusting. Okay,
That is
Alex.
some sexist shit you said there, Toby.
Great misogyny.
I am.
You're
It's
welcome.
not
You're
being
welcome.
adorable. I know I'm obnoxious. I know
Fascist.
I know I'm stupid. Okay, but Alec, repeat the last part of what you just said.
I
And
said
nobody else fucking talk. Okay, sorry.
I forget
Go
what
ahead,
the last part was, so I'll just briefly say it. If
Yeah.
my point very seriously is if we were to follow your logic in Nazi Germany, and there are people who don't see me as I'm not a Jew, but let's say I was in Nazi Germany as a Jew. They don't see me as human. I'm in Nazi Germany in Auschwitz. I can't go up to the guards and be like, oh, well, just listen to me. And then they'll be like, oh,
Yeah,
yes,
that's not it.
that's very good,
That's not what I'm
actually.
saying.
We
No,
should
that's
let
not-
this
that's
one
not what I'm
go.
saying.
He's human.
Right.
Like, no.
Alec, I understand, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are already people who see me as less than human. There are already people who see me as lesser than, right? And that's just kind of been my life, right? But they are not in the position where they're in the position of being like a Nazi guard, right? What they are they're a bunch of people who feel like that the rest of the world will refuse to relate to them, will refuse to understand how they are hurting inside, and why should they have empathy for anybody else because nobody has empathy for them.
Why can't I say
and
that about Nazis, though? Like from Germany? Like at what point do
You
we draw that
can.
line?
You can, but I'm not talking to Nazis from Nazi Germany.
But just
Yeah,
modern
right?
day
the
Nazis
question,
who
do you-
would do that if given the
okay,
chance.
but there's a huge difference.
Okay,
right?
we have a bunch of
There's
hands up. We have a
none.
bunch of-
Wait a minute.
okay.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
There
I
is.
go sorry, and then someone's gonna.
Can you acknowledge that there is a huge difference between somebody who's actively working under Hitler's regime and some social reject who hangs out by himself online and believes in really stupid shit?
Yes, but they both believe the same things. They have the same mentality.
One of them is much
The
more
difference
dangerous
is
than
one
the
of
other
them. The difference is one of them is not enabled by their fascist government. So if he were, he'd happily do it. So I just
But you know what? I'm glad that he's not enabled by his government. But you know what? I'm going to still try to relate to him in the very rare case that he is.
Good luck.
Okay, Tuna. All right, Tuna, go then Wick.
Okay, Star's making a fucking relevant point here, and I think that it's not been addressed. This idea that so far we've been saying should or shouldn't. There's no just like, does it even matter? We're not talking about platforming people that have their hand on the lever of a gas chamber. We're talking about a bunch of despondent youth on the internet trying to find a personal sense of identity who have fallen down the idea that this radical ideology is going to give them a sense of inner purpose. Giving them an alternative to that, making it so that spaces are inviting towards those people that are in that liminal zone is much different than platforming someone like Fuentes. There's a difference between Nazi and something that's just like Nazi. You have to actually have space for these ideas to go in there. And like, if you don't have a fun
I see where he's coming
culture
from,
that is alternative from
but
all of those fucking like weird online spaces
You-
where
you
they're
gotta phrase better.
uncontested, if the only place that people are able to create those identities is in places like fucking, I'm not going to name fucking internet places, bring them to them. You need to get those peoples out of those
Christ,
places
it is getting
and
crowded.
de-radicalize them before they become like
We
Whoa.
have
advocates.
Like we
That's
have
sick.
data on
So
this,
I would
right?
like
Like,
to-
just real quick.
I would like
just
to
real quick.
add-
Hey, I
just
was
to-
Yo,
next.
Wick goes.
I was
Wick goes
next.
first. Wick goes
I was
first.
next. So we have data on this, right? What
I should get a
happens
VTube
when we
avatar.
Like, there is a reason that cult leaders and other things try to separate themselves and their communities from the wider world. They like to deplatform themselves because they know that if they expose their audience, right, to wider points of view, there is a chance that those wider points of view
This is so
will draw them
wrong and
away from the
stupid.
bad lines that they're going down. Nazism isn't any different.
There are
It's
too
not a
many
magic
people, otherwise I'd
spell.
come back
It's
at
not something-
this.
If one is in your room, he's not going to infect you. He's not a zombie with a plague or some shit like that. And acting as if they are this ultra powerful thing that we cannot combat and we must silence is giving them way too much credit. There is a reason that the
Comrade, all you
the
have to know about
Nazis in
Starbust is
Germany
that she's a Destiny
separated
orbiter.
and segregated the Jews and did not allow their people to go around the Jews or the Jews to go around their people because they knew that how do we see people as human? By contact. It's called contact theory. This is science, gang. And the more in contact you are with groups that are minoritized, marginalized, and things like that, the more you tend to empathize and identify with them. So So what you are doing when you are deplatforming these people, are you doing the Nazis' work for them? You're doing Lord Hitler's work for them. You are enabling, and you are a contributor to the alt-right pipeline. That's what you are. Full stop.
Non-smoker,
yes.
go. I said non-smoker, go. No one else.
I mean, I can't believe this stuff I'm hearing. I have people saying that we should love Nazis until they're not Nazis anymore.
Dog, there are too many autists here. They're not getting it.
Nice to Nazis, like this is fucking insane.
There are too many autistics
you guys
here.
are the reason that
said.
things like
That
the
is
Holocaust
exactly what I
happened
said.
because you're just like, oh, if we were just so empathetic to the Nazis and tucked them in at night and kissed them on the cheek, then maybe they wouldn't be Nazis. That's fucking really stupid.
Yeah, great.
Sorry.
They're
Yeah, that
essentially
is
not
stupid.
Nazis. You
Some
have to
of
kill them.
us have
One thing,
materialist-based
one
communism
thing.
instead of this
One
fucking
thing.
ideological one.
Okay, one thing, guys. Okay,
Rebel.
just give me one moment here. Okay, one moment. Okay, I didn't realize that this was such an apt comparison until last night. Sansel and I were talking. Last night, Sansel asked,
Sansel.
why are you so intent on humanizing like these people who nobody else wants to humanize, right? I will give you my experience, okay?
It's
My
far too many
experience,
people. This is the
there
problem
was-
with political shit
when I'm
show.
growing up, there was pre 9/11 and there was
This is
post
why I quit
9/11,
coming on for a
okay?
while.
And the way that people viewed me immediately after
It's-
9/11
it's
is
insane.
they did not view me as somebody who is an equal type of human. They did not see me as somebody who was a human in the same way that they were. They saw me as somebody who was potentially dangerous or part of a potentially dangerous ideology. Okay, so post 9/11, I had that experience. I know what it's like to have everybody around you suspicious of you. I know what it's like to have everybody around you refuse to empathize with you, even though you are a fellow American, just like the rest of them. You are scared as fuck as well. I know what it's like to be dehumanized. I know what it's like to have people refuse, believe everything else that everybody else says about you without actually asking you yourself about you. I know what that's like, and I don't want other people to feel that way. I don't want anybody to be isolated like that, because that is how you create extremists. That's how we've seen extremists form in plenty of different places, regardless of ideology.
I want to talk so bad.
Hey,
Damn it!
Yeah. So I've done a lot of work in de-radicalization and IRL efforts. And
You're being
one
racist.
of one of the key things when it comes to people that we are de-radicalizing is struggles with being socially ostracized, socially atomized, not having a good, solid, just social network in general.
Slagaholic. I'm sorry
And
that you keep getting
that
denied
combined
pussy, but that doesn't mean that you can
with a
keep
lot of
denying
economic
trans people their rights.
disenfranchisement and struggles to survive. So it's the social atomization provides a need to want to be part of a community. And one of the key things that these types of more extreme ideologies provide is they provide a sense of community and belonging and purpose. And because of the fact that they operate in a way that is very hierarchical,
Trans
and
people
in many
are
ways
my
very structured,
mods.
it also provides a sense of purpose and meaning and contribution to the community.
Friends, folks,
And so
can't
that's one of
watch
the key
these
things, and we
VODs.
find that they're not actually very deeply rooted in their ideology. That's usually reserved more for like people who are more thought leaders, influencers, stuff like that, like your Nick Fuentes and such. They tend to be much more deeply rooted in their ideology, but a lot of the people that they pull over due to disenfranchisement and social atomization tend to just kind of fall into it, wanting to belong, and them then also providing, as I mentioned before in the opening, these very simplistic answers to complicated societal problems. And they point them to an enemy as the cause of those problems. And that gives them a simple way of viewing a very complicated issue, or many complicated issues in the world.
Yeah, I see
And
that, Hunger Master.
but as you start to talk to those people and you give them a social lifeline and allow them to be humanized by others, even if they don't humanize you, and to find a sense
I'm going to be courteous and wait a minute to
of,
chime in.
community beyond just the far right or extremist ideological communities, then you are much more likely to pull them away from that. And you're much more likely to get them to actually listen to you and find and identify themselves in you, identify common struggles that you mutually share, and just see you as like, oh shit, they're just like me. What the hell, and so that opens the door for a lot more ability to pull people away from extremism.
Right.
And it's that social human connection first and foremost. That is the
And I
most
want
important
next.
thing in order to establish
God.
that.
All right,
Yeah.
counterpoints in Tiberius.
And,
Okay,
and then me,
so-
please.
Wow, you guys done skipped over the black dude like
Shut
fucking
up!
5 times.
Yeah,
Typical
we
fascist.
love that because I'm a fascist. So can we? So here's the thing, because we've kind of heard the same points back and forth now. Star, Star, Wick, and Zonia kind of all agree that talking to people and humanizing them and empathizing with them and dealing with people who are socially rejected is better to try to pull them back into normal society. And then so far, Mr. Gunter and No Smoker say fuck them and their stupid fucking asses. So can we, is there anything to like kind of move the conversation forward there? Because it sounds like you'll literally just disagree about what the solution should be.
Yeah,
Listen-
And also, like, is
Okay.
there
I'm
Is
so
there
muted.
any
talking about
Whatever.
two different points. I think
Well,
that
and
I think
I
that
want to pose a
Alec
question
and-
real quick before I yield the floor. I want to pose one question. So there was a little bit of nuance that was just presented, which is there are fractured young people who could probably be reached and brought back into the fold. And then there are ideologue talking heads who are actively recruiting people to extremist ideologies. So should you have a different approach for these two different kinds of people? And I'll yield right there.
Cool. Am I up
if I
next now?
can,
Wasn't I next?
Star. Yeah, Star.
Who's
If you want to
next?
go for just a second, go ahead.
I just wanted to say
then-
somebody in my chat made a really good point. If you look at all the mass shooters, they're all pretty socially ostracized and people. You can look at people who become radicalized within America. They're generally socially ostracized people, and that's common within whether that's a far right extremist or a Muslim extremist living in America. A lot of the time, they are still both heavily ostracized people, isolated, lonely people.
Or a
So
Zonia
the point-
extremist.
The point that I wanted to make was twofold. On one side is that we're treating like Nazism like an original sin. Once you believe, it's like one drop, you can't be like redeemed or whatever. I think there's plenty of examples of where that is not the case. But I'll even give the micro or the macro level example of like what to do with Nazism. Yeah, at some points you have to actually fight it because it gets to critical mass. But remind you how it got to critical mass. Germany after World War I was left all alone, humiliated, and fucking literally broken and left for bankrupt. What happened after World War II to where we fixed that? We literally came in, rebuilt them, built them in as a friend, and now they are the most vibrant and successful country within Europe. Yeah, this is absolutely the way that you have
That
to
was
do it.
after.
occupied-
That was
Yeah.
after cutting
And-
off the head of the Nazi movement, mind you.
We also
And keep
occupied
in,
Yeah,
them.
keep in,
speaking of
keep in
Hitler,
mind, keep in mind what happened with Germany. They have the most humanized prison system, penal system in the world. So they learned
Right.
what actually happens. They know that they need to socialize people, treat them like humans. When they have people in prison, they wear street clothes instead of being, a orange suit and a number.
I cannot get over the frog.
And they give them as much humanization and human contact as they can. It's considered
The
to
The
be
Soviets
frog is like,
didn't. That's why they
yes,
won the
we
war.
should listen to Nazis, actually.
it's considered to be one of the
Ribbit.
most humanized penal institutions in the world, and it's really not penal. Is focused on rehabilitation more than anything. But the key component, humanizing, and
The CIA agrees with you.
they've got
Sorry.
extremists in their prison systems that they're humanizing.
There was actually okay. I had a couple of questions that I wanted to ask people.
Holy
So,
shit, no, not this
Stardust-
Pokemon.
Hey, shut the
Seriously.
fuck up! All right, Jesus Christ. Right, Stardust. If you had 50,000 viewers every time you streamed, would you feel the exact same way about making human connections with these people, regardless of their ideology?
I think so. I don't make a lot of money.
Okay.
I get a lot of hate from I think I get more hate. Well, no, I get, half the internet thinks that I'm a crazy triggered SJW feminist, and then the other half thinks I'm a Nazi. So I mean, it's not really like a fun place to be in. So
Okay, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm asking because that 50,000 people is people you're introducing to whoever you're talking to. So does that change your view
yes.
at all?
I
doesn't
would
change your
still
view.
talk to who I determined to talk to. I would still empathize fundamentally on a human level because again, you can look at how extremists in Western countries
I don't know
are
Queen Laura, but it's kind of
oftentimes,
cute.
regardless of their ideology, they are isolated, socially isolated people, and lonely people. So.
Okay, great. Wick, you mentioned the cult-like behavior of pulling people away into a silo, but what you don't mention is that with cults, that's physical, and today that's possible ideologically. You can build someone into a reality where they can't access the rest of real reality,
yes, and
right?
part of that
So-
process, and part of that process is when other sites and other realities and other silos excise and exile them because they have no choice. And we see this in data. Like, look what happened with the incel community. As more and more people banned them, they went to their own dark sites, which were harder to track. They radicalized each other. There was no pushback to their ideas, so it became more and more radical, and it ended up in real world violence. This is what happens when you deplatform these people to that degree, right?
I agree.
It kills people. It kills people.
But the problem is when you get to like QAnon and incels, they've built a different reality foundation from you, right? So like if that is already the case, if that's already in place, how do you combat that later, right? This is already a state of the world that we exist in.
The other ideas,
Probably
it's
with
a
the truth.
process. It's a process, right? So
The truth.
like Stardust said, it takes years, but you're going to be a part of that process, right? You can either push them towards their ideology or help bring them away from their ideology.
I don't want to be associated.
But they're
with trying to push
inoculated
somebody
against the truth.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so
Stardust
I don't
and I
want
have
to.
different goals.
Yeah, so my goal is
I'm
not to
speaking
change
for me.
somebody's. Yeah, so I don't want to change. My goal again is never to change somebody's opinion. That's something they do on their own through their own time. But
I like to persuade people, so that's like I get it.
Yeah, I
Stardust.
persuade people too.
Yeah, really
Okay, let's do this. Here, there's a lot of hands up. I don't care. All right, fucking.
Wick makes a good point. Wick makes a good point in that to
Mods
to
talking.
get somebody
Mods
out of,
talking.
Okay, there's a fuck ton of hands up, and everyone's agreeing. Tuna, then Chris Speaks, then Doobie, then non-smoker. Go.
What about me? What the fuck?
Get ripped.
Shut up!
just keep him out for the meme.
There's a
Just do it.
there's a fundamental break.
Where the fuck is Sprout when you need him?
There's fundamental break in the way that people are like thinking about these people that we're identifying as Nazis right now that got brought up earlier. I think it needs to be addressed.
Identifying as.
Do we think, or what do we think is the cause of a person being a fascist, a Nazi, having some kind of bad political ideology? I think that these are damaged people being preyed on by small communities that need more people
This
who are
guy,
willing to
Tuna Chip
sacrifice
seems
themselves.
reasonable, but I still disagree.
I think that the way that you fix this is by making it so that there are fewer people entering the ideology. Once they're already in it, you probably have lost your ability. That's up to the government. That's up to the real world. But if you're talking about online culture spaces where people are trying to share ideas, produce new forms of thought, the main thing that you want to appeal to is like undecided people that are on the fence. You want to improve the conditions of their life. You want to give them some kind of place to go other than becoming a hardcore ideological person who's going to put their fucking body on the stockpile of history. So if you think that people are like Nazis by birth, if you think that they're Nazis by some immutable characteristic, yeah, it makes sense to like kick those people out. But I just don't think that's true. Like Smoker, why
I'm
do
a
you
former
think that people are
conservative.
Nazis?
I know
wanna
that's not
know
true.
Why you think people are Nazis?
That still doesn't
Did you
mean
ever
you
read the
platform
book
them.
Eichmann in Jerusalem?
No, just give me.
Okay,
give
by
me,
Hannah
give me your
Arendt.
theory.
By Hannah Arendt. It's about
I-
the trial of Adolf Eichmann. You ever heard of him?
I'm not familiar with the.
He sounds like a
text.
Nazi.
Go ahead.
Subtitle of the book is The Banality of Evil. Okay, and what they found at Eichmann's trial is that he didn't have any remorse for his actions, but he also didn't have a particular hatred of the Jewish people. He famously said, "I was just following orders."
Mhm.
So what I would argue to you is similar to what Arendt would argue in that book, which is that this is something that could happen to any person. They could fall into
So why
anybody
would
could
you
fall into the
isolate and
temptation
kill
of
these
Nazism.
people?
I'm sorry.
So why would you isolate these people? Why would you kill them if it can happen to anybody?
No, I would go so far as to say they should be jailed and forced to do labor the rest of their lives.
Okay.
Oh, so you're actually looking
just
for
out
like
of
a
Wait, has he been serious this whole time?
As Lenin once said, there's no Nazi, but a good Nazi, but a dead Nazi.
Wait, so why should we platform this person?
Oh my God! Can I ask a fucking question? Sorry.
I can't get a read on this
I
guy.
want to clear up because I feel like I haven't even gotten the
Oh,
actual answer. 'Cause you're saying,
counterpoint. Let
how
counterpoint
do you
go.
get a person
Oh,
who's willing to go along with the regime?
I'm gonna keep talking over Tuna.
Fine.
Okay, counterpoint
I
go.
just want to, out of personal curiosity, are you a fan of authoritarian communism and or like 20th century communism?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Just let me know where you're coming from.
Hey,
I
we're
am
fighting
now.
one set dipshits with another.
when I've
All
been
right,
given a chance
look,
to talk.
well, there's a lot of us here. Okay, Chris, go. You've had your poop stick up for a while. Chris,
Well,
go.
moderator,
then
whose
you,
fault is
Alec.
that?
Right, thank you. So I sympathize with the idea of
Go.
humanizing Nazis. I really do. I would say probably that if you have no interest in humanizing Nazis or you don't understand why that's important, then very good odds are that whatever you have to say on the
That's
topic is just going to be fucking worthless. However, I do have a problem with platforming Nazis, and this is something that no one has been like so far managed to convince me on. So the problem I have is that the consequences of having Nazi and their ideology be allowed on platform like Twitch is that I think one of the easiest way to radicalize people, or one of the easiest ways how people get radicalized, is through humor. So you take like a downtrodden individual who feels like they don't belong and you put them in a community where racist jokes are the norm, for instance, and even if they've had no prior racist bone in them, so to speak, through the normalization of such language, they will essentially become racist. I've seen that happen time and time again. That's happened to me in the past. I'm
that's
pretty
what
sure that
happened
many
with
people have that
4chan.
story. Right, Hitler's famous book of Jewish
Exactly,
jokes.
that's-
But the
that's
problem,
like
hold on,
the- that's
before
like
we
the
before we
gateway
go
to
there. Yeah, so should Nazi content creators be openly allowed on the platform and their behavior be considered normal behavior in the sense that we will platform it, then what will happen is that Nazi followers will, well, follow that content creator. Now, I feel confident with dealing a Nazi fucking weirdo in my chat. I'm sure that many people on the platform feel that way. But do we think it's fair to say that through an increased number of Nazis that will now be on the platform because we want to platform them? Now, everyone in Twitch will have to deal with a lot more sort of Nazi chatters. If we normalize Nazis on Twitch, then we're telling everyone who belongs to one of these groups that Nazis essentially want dead, that they have to deal with the backlash because we want to be able to have these conversations whilst we're live on stream. We can talk to these people, we just can't monetize it.
I would say that I think it's fair for other people if they don't want to talk to the same people as me. It is completely fair for them to do that, right? If they want to create a safe space for their community, it is completely fair for that, right? I just think just like there's value in people creating safe spaces for their communities, I think there are multiple ways to deal with an issue, and I think that there's value in other people trying different things. So I'm not dictating to other people that they have to welcome people into their communities. I just want to be able to have the ability to talk to whom I choose to talk to without other people telling me who
Right,
I
can I
choose
respond to that? Because if we can just have this back and forth for a sec. So I
think the
understand
other
the
bald guy
sentiment.
is
I
mocking me.
genuinely understand where you're coming from. And I know that you're not saying that now everyone on the platform has to talk to these people. But if that ideology becomes normalized on the platform, then by necessity we'll see more of that reflected in our chats. Unless we all now start banning everyone who is
I'm not for
that type of
normalizing.
person.
I'm not for normalizing, right? So
I think that
that's
normalization will happen though. If we make it so that platforming these people is the norm, then normalization will happen.
I don't think he likes me.
How?
Well, if Twitch is a place that now welcomes Nazis in the sense that you're allowed to hop on, make your case, and then fuck off, then we will have more of that on Twitch. One of the big reasons why we don't have that currently is because they get banned.
Right. It's not a place for us to welcome Nazis, right? It's not that they get to jump on, make their point, and jump off. No, they come on, they have a conversation. Having a conversation is different from letting somebody.
Has Non-Smoker been genuine this whole time about his Nazi point?
Not get any pushback.
Yeah, right now what's happening?
Hold on.
Just real quick.
I'm so confused. I thought he was being a disingenuous
They are
asshole.
going to their own. Like Nick Fuentes built his own platform where he can grandstands with zero pushback. So them coming on to Twitch to our house to deal with and play by our rules, we get to set the stage, we get to prepare the ground, and we have the best chance to combat them. When we go to their house and things like that, we are at a disadvantage. So we need to be in a space, right? So like, I get your fear. I understand your fear.
Will I be able to respond to that with just one thing?
Hold on. But here's the problem. Hold on. Here's the problem. As soon as you start adding a
I'm just gonna jump in a
Nazis to
sec.
Twitch, right? The problem is you open up the surface area of Twitch, content creators touching Nazis. So this panel is probably going to be better just because we're involved in the Twitch poll side of things. Probably going to be better at dealing with Nazis than most groups on Twitch. If you've got this sorry, the fucking hands. If you've got this competent group
chat.
that are holding a wall
give you the
that
boop.
can argue with Nazi ideas, then at least you're doing some kind of filtering to the point where the competent people, the more competent people, are the ones talking to Nazis. If you just open up the fucking floodgates, then Nazis can talk to anyone. Terrible situations where platforming badly will happen, and the result is we have no control over the situation, and we do need a little bit of control over the situation.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on that note. So I understand
understand the sentiment of what you're saying, Wick, and I would even agree with you.
I like
the
this
problem
Chris
I have is
speaks.
that I can absolutely see a shitloads of people, a shitloads of sensible leftists here, platforming people like Nick Fuentes because that's going to bring in the views, the clicks, and the money, and they are absolutely not fucking equipped to deal with Nick Fuentes. He's going to run circles around them and make them look like fucking morons,
But that
and they will be
that is
happy to look
what
like
I was
fucking
saying
morons
is right,
because there's
just real
clout in that.
Just real quick, just
I was
respond
saying
very briefly, just concisely. So that
Thank God
has
someone said
value
the
too.
truth.
That has value too, because it allows us to read the tape, to see what they did wrong when they got BTFO'd, and to make our arguments better and stronger. It improves us. It's like inoculation against the virus. Make our arguments better
learn
and how to fight it better. Your body learns how to fight the
It's
virus better when
controlled.
you're
An
No, I
inoculation is
reject that. No.
controlled. Wick.
Wick, no,
Wait,
if you want
wait,
to
wait,
learn how to
wait,
fight
guys.
Nazis, you can go and watch
Wait.
Destiny any
I'm
day of the
sorry.
week.
I'm sorry. I
Like,
need to. I
you
need
don't need
to.
to
I
do it
need to
yourself.
push back. I need to
Go
push
and watch
back on
Destiny
this
any day
one
of the
thing.
week.
Okay.
Like,
I'm sorry.
I
The
don't-
idea that platforming Nick is going to make you money. They're tight in their own bubble there. Okay. One, you cannot platform Nick on Twitch. You will get banned. Two, when you do talk to Nick, you can only talk to him on specific platforms. And you probably will not make much money unless it's from a bunch of trolls wanting to ask him troll questions. And thirdly, like the dude, I don't know. I think we need to. The part of the reason why I think we need to, or at least people like me, I value talking to him, is because I can look at him now and say this dude is a dork who literally is just so out. He's like an old man who has been teleported from centuries ago to now, and nobody updated him on the fucking program.
Yeah, and he'd put
I mean,
you in a
it's
camp,
ridiculous.
dog. I don't know how else to tell you that.
Yeah, I'm aware, but today he is a fucking dork, okay? And I'm not threatened by that guy. I'm sorry, and I don't think I should be.
Okay,
Neither
real
of
quick.
the
I think
eyes weren't threatened either.
Stardust
Hold
and
on,
Wick should totally
Toby,
make
shut
money.
up. Shut up.
Well,
Okay, I'm gonna make
10
this super
seconds.
clear.
Goddamn,
I
10
don't
seconds.
care.
Fuck.
I
That's
do not. I do not care.
Moderator
I do
I'd
not
like
care.
to
talking.
speak
Okay,
after
yeah.
someone
Well, I'm gonna make
here.
this really clear. Remember, this is the shit show. Yell at each other. Fucking yell over each other. I get holding up
I
hand.
just
This is a
tried to
proper
yell
show.
over you.
Fight! All right, Doobie, then Zonia.
Yay!
Oh, pardon
So,
me. I'll be more aggressive.
Yeah, so I'm so back on the Nazi ideas are like hypnotic in some way, and if people hear them, will be like infected by them. So I'm trying to figure out like what the Nazi ideas exactly are the issue, right? So we just heard somebody advocate for putting people in work camps. So putting people in camps isn't the problem. Is it like the racism that you guys are afraid of? Is
Let's
it
say
like
Doobie. Jews are a
It's the
really
making
easy
money.
scapegoat for all of your problems, right? Like if you can complain
no,
about
but
the whole
communists
banking
have done that
system,
too.
like just
Communists have done that
yeah,
to
I
Jews
know.
too.
No,
Right,
that's
so
the
why are
point.
you guys okay with
Communists
platforming
are yes.
communists,
idiots.
not
Like
Nazis?
capitalism.
Famously, the communist dogma.
That have led to the fucking massacre of millions of people.
Horseshoe theory, baby. Let's go.
Why are we having this conversation about Nazis?
He loves Nazis.
You're derailing.
Stardust making more money going into good
Fuck
causes to shut down
That's
Nick
stupid.
Fuentes
That's
platforming him.
Stop saying that
If you
Stardust
think
is
I'm
talking
making
Nick
any
Fuentes
money
making
off of
money.
that, holy
That's
shit,
fucking
he's
ridiculous.
really doing
That's
poorly.
completely ridiculous.
If you
There have
think
been
I've
plenty of
made
people.
The
any
second
money
they
off
gave
of
us permission.
capitalism,
Hello,
you're
Crucifix.
you're an idiot. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you're actually a
I
fucking
don't.
idiot if you think that. You know how many people have canceled Stardust and refused to even communicate with her over that shit? You're a fucking idiot if you think she's doing that to make money. You're just stupid.
Listen,
Clearly.
I'd like
Yeah,
to.
it's an easy way to be
What's the
hated.
fucking distinction between Nazis who advocate for work camps and are anti-Semitic in many cases? We have many communist regimes. We have many communist regimes that led to the massacre of millions of fucking people for fucking many years. So what's the difference there? Why are you fucking allowing this fucking
The
conversation
floodgates have been
platform
opened.
right now?
Whereas
We're having like a fucking bitch fit over
The
Nazis.
ladybug is
Explain
making a
the fucking
reasonable
difference.
point.
Doobie, I'm literally listen. Holy fuck, okay?
It's not a ladybug, it's a Pokemon.
I lose money at anything
Hold
talking
on.
to these people.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody's shut Stardust up by
Jesus
spending
Christ.
her money.
Anyway, I just
Let
need to say this
the
one
bug
thing.
speak.
Non-smokers should be dunked as well. Absolutely. If they share enough
Oof.
ideas with the fucking Nazis that they're indistinguishable from the end results of Nazis, yes, I
Which
agree.
Okay, bye.
fucking
They should be dunked.
ideas? Tell me the ideas, you stupid bitch. What are the fucking ideas that you
What are
think
the
have
ladybug?
that would lead to not
Um,
having
using a work camp.
Tell me the fucking ideas.
I'd like
Ladybug
to.
is a problem.
to deal with this.
All right. I want to infuse.
All
All right. I want to infuse this panel with a little sanity. Look,
please. One thing we need to clear up. I do not make money on talking to these people. If anything, I have sacrificed a lot of professional relationships and a
Make more
lot of
money.
Stop. Shut up. Let me finish. I will be done,
Sorry.
okay? I have sacrificed a lot of professional relationships, a lot of relationships with a broad a variety of streamers because of who I've decided to have conversations with. I do not make money off of this. If anything, I lose money and lose like how much reach I can have in the future. So we need to clear that. We need to take that off the table right now. That's what number one.
Anyone who thinks
Well, this is what I would ask. This is what I would ask. If you're going to call into question like someone like Stardust platforming of Nick Fuentes, you should be able to bring a more substantive argument than kind of just grasping at something random like, oh, she makes more money off of it. Actually shows.
I got it.
Hold on, so let me because I am the
bring
one who
something
brought up the revenue,
substantive.
so I feel like I am the best person to explain where I was coming from.
I'm
with
not
that one.
talking to
The
you. I'm talking to
implication,
the fucking
the
Pokemon,
implication
right? The
isn't
2D
strictly speaking.
YouTuber here.
Why
What are the fucking ideas?
Right, why are the three VTubers on the channel? I don't like any of them. Like, just shut the fuck up for 2 seconds.
Doobie, I've
Jesus
said it like 3
Christ.
times. Hold on, Chris. Doobie, I've said it like 3 times. You keep asking me. The Jews. Let's just stick with one of those
Just
lines,
the
right?
Jews? So is it just
Yes, the Jews.
racism? So okay, so you want racism off the platform, not Nazis, is what you're saying.
You're not this stupid, Doobie. Stop pretending to be more fucking
I'm
stupid
not
than you are.
pretending to be
Obviously,
stupid. I'm asking you a straightforward
that's
question.
unfortunate.
Right?
That's
So is
really
it just
unfortunate.
like
So the Jews-
racism that you want off the platform?
It's not racism.
Probably
It's not
Queen
racism.
Laura.
What the
No.
fuck is it?
Explain. Okay, if it's
We
the
will
Jews, right?
exterminate
Okay,
the
there is a shadowy
Jews.
cabal of Jews that are controlling everything: the banking sector.
We
the
holy shit, this
politics.
sounds anti-Semitic, Smugbug. We need to kick him from the panel.
I know exactly right.
throw him the
this
fuck
is
off,
conspiracy.
an anti-Semite.
It's about the
That's not what
Jewish. As
Smugberg
an
is saying.
example. As an example, it's about the Jewish conspiracies. It's not just racism. It's specifically that there is a cabal who are controlling
That's
everything.
it?
The banking
That's
sector.
the idea?
Jewish space
Jewish
lasers.
cabal is a
That's
pretty
the idea
obvious
that you think
identifier.
you
There
cannot
is
argue
one
against?
Of many ideas. It is one of many ideas. I didn't say I can't argue against it. You
is
asked me
talking.
You
specifically.
said earlier that you would have problems and
hold
other
on.
leftists have problems
Okay,
arguing against Nazi
here,
ideas.
I have,
Rhetoric.
Are you telling me
and
that you think
misinformation.
leftists in general on the fucking
I have a
platform
theory.
on your
can
head,
argue
bro.
against the
Jewish
fucking
Nazis.
Jews?
Going on in
Is
your
that
I have
what
a
you're
theory.
telling me?
On a joke? Really, dude?
hear me out.
Fuck me.
Hear out my theory.
Saddens me.
I'm gonna
It
call this
saddens me
one.
deeply.
I'm gonna call this one the cultist half-life. When we platform cultists and allow them to preach their ideas, that increases the half-life, right? That makes them grow, right? But when you start to deplatform them and you do not let them have a platform anymore, you start to see this half-life happen. Where what I mean by that is enough people will see, like they'll be exposed to other things, other ideas, and they'll grow out of it, right? And then like maybe half of the people who are still in the cult will look for more or less, will look for deeper and deeper web, like from the web ideas about it and grow in their, cult ideas. But the less they can find about it and the less they can be exposed to it, the more people will move out. And so eventually there will just be not barely anybody in this cult, like years and decades down the line.
It's just
a theory. It's just a theory.
Nazis and racism.
I think if you specifically said that, hey, you can't talk about the Jews, and
I'm a scientist.
To the government,
Trust me.
I think it's going to lead to more people thinking that the Jews are in power.
Scientists invented the internet. All right, counterpoints, go.
Yeah, so I think that we've tried in the age of the internet your way, which is basically you can't talk about these ideas. Nobody talk about these ideas. These ideas are Looney Tunes. They're crazy. Nobody should believe them. Blah 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 blah. And what it's done is a few people have capitalized on the controversy of these ideas, whether we're talking about vaccination denial or QAnon or Jewish conspiracy theory shit or whatever. And as a result, these ideas have gotten more popular, mostly because of really clever rhetoric on behalf of conspiracy theorists. So, frankly, I think that it would be better and healthier for our society to confront these ideas using truth, using what we understand about history and science and math and all of that kind of stuff, and battling this out in the marketplace of ideas, as much as people think that's cringe. But the reason why the marketplace of ideas is cringe is because it doesn't have that many valiant fucking warriors who will actually advocate for things that are correct.
How'd that work out with Ye?
I'm trying to think of something to the idea.
No, shut the fuck up. Everybody shut the fuck up.
For Alex.
He asked a question that illustrates my point.
I'm about to fucking mute people. All right, that's nice.
Okay.
Somebody online go.
No. Well, hold on. So I just want
appreciate
to point out that really quickly. I just want to point out that what he brought up illustrates my
The
point.
confusion. He said somebody
Kanye.
online, and he
Shut
thought that he
up!
meant like
Fascist privilege.
Okay, Kanye.
Wait, let's let Connor
You're dead
finish.
naming
God.
Ye.
Connor making his point.
Literally. Okay, Ye has brought up Jews for fucking 2 weeks now, and suddenly it's fucking trending on Twitter. It's all the fucking rage. We see anti-Semitism flaring up worse than it has in a fucking century because one fucking black guy talks about it for 30
the
fucking
most popular fucking like famous black guy on the fucking face of the earth. Yes.
So how is not talking about it for, I don't know, a fucking half century working out for you when one
Well,
person
we certainly
brings
didn't
that?
have people on the fucking bridges with signs saying "kill the Jews" and shit.
Wait,
like
that's not
in a video
true.
game.
You
I-
didn't even have a fucking sign. Yeah, that's not
Dude,
true.
are
on bridges doing that.
Somebody online, please let him talk. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So to address Stardust's original point, I do appreciate that while interacting with Nick Fuentes has not been as successful for her as what some people might think that it is, there are a lot of really dumb streamers that are trying to do the quick come up thing. And I'm going to come into the space and let me find any big name person that has over 100 viewers to go and interact with, because that's going to pump my numbers. And who cares if they're a Nazi? I can get on and debate them. Nazis are really dumb, and it's really easy to like talk them out of their ideas. The big issue that we don't want to come into is right now, Twitch is a space that is not welcome to these ideas. And so people know you get on here, you're not supposed to talk like that. It keeps those ideas off of the platform. If you want to go have terrible ideas, go on some terrible site and go have terrible ideas with terrible people. On this place, we have the good ideas, and we've clearly defined which ideas are bad.
The biggest.
Those ideas are bad. Keep them off of this platform. And as soon as we say it's okay for
You just
people
had a guy
to talk about
advocating
them
for
here,
putting people in
we're
camps.
essentially
We
saying
haven't
these
clearly
ideas are
identified
okay.
anything.
What
We
you
haven't
say?
clearly
Jay? I'm
identified
sorry.
anything. Okay.
You never gone
We just had
camping?
this dude
Camping's fun.
Advocate for putting people in work, right?
Yes,
and
fuck
say
that
that he's an
guy.
authoritarian communist. We obviously we
Only
haven't,
bad people.
clearly
Criminals should
outlined
go to jail.
the ideas, right? That they're not going to be allowed on this platform. If it's just racism, sure. Say racism bad. Say
So
advocating
to
for
be
violence
clear,
bad.
you want
Sure, that's okay.
people.
But I don't
who
understand why we're
advocate
so
for certain
like
ideas thrown
jerking
in,
off about like fucking Nazis.
thrown off the platform, but not
this
other
like
ones.
tiny minority of retards when you have people like this dude all over the platform.
So just to be clear, you don't like communists or advocate for those ideas. You think they should be thrown off the platform.
No.
But you're totally fine
That's
with
not what I
fascists
said.
who want that.
That's not what I said at all. But
He said horseshoe theory.
Following what I said, 'cause you're
No wonder you
fucking
hide
idiot.
behind the
That
fucking
isn't what I
frog
said
at
at all.
me. You don't want people to see what
Okay,
what
I'm
you
hiding
are.
behind
It's
the
just a
frog
horseshoe
because I'm
theory.
Nazi, and I'm wearing a Nazi uniform right
And?
now. Okay, I wear 24/7.
Wow,
I have a
he
swastika
admits it.
tattooed on my forehead. That's why I'm hiding
Typical
behind the frog.
Nazi.
But of course, you have trouble following the fucking conversation because that's not what I fucking said. I didn't say you should be kicked off. I'm wondering why you
Didn't
and
you
others
just
think that
say
Nazis
that?
should be kicked off. No, you fucking baboon. That's not what I said.
Okay, repeat it again because it's not clear with all of your code being what you were trying to say.
I'm wondering what the distinction is between your ideas and Nazi
It was a
ideas.
little
Is
bit
it
racist,
just
but I'll allow it.
Communists
Is
threw
it just the
political prisoners in
racism?
jail who
Is
deserved
it
it.
just
Nazis threw Jews in and
according
killed
to
them.
you? Okay, according to you.
Yeah.
So is it just the racism? Is it just the advocation for violence? Because we have plenty of leftists on the
The
platform who
Nazis
advocate for
select
violence.
all that
Listen to me
apply.
carefully. The Nazis threw innocent people into camps and killed
So
them.
did communists.
The communists threw political
When?
prisoners
Communists
in
massacred
camps
millions
and
of
made them do
people
labor.
all over the fucking world.
First they came for the communists.
Doobie,
That
let's go
is
different.
the
Let's
poem.
move on.
Yeah,
Alec
hey,
is right.
remember when the communists teamed up with the Nazis? That went well,
Oh, that's
didn't it?
interesting.
Yeah, you know
When?
why that happened, right, Stardust?
Yep.
Yeah, it was in Endgame. It was great.
That's because
Banger.
Stalin approached the West to try and make an alliance, and they rebuffed him, and they
I mean,
allowed
we're
Hitler to take the
acting
Sudetenland.
like
So Hitler
Nazis.
had
Oh,
to
Stardust
sign
was
the
actually being
Bible.
based for a
Had to sign
second.
the
Oh, so that
Russian
just
taxes.
justifies-
There have been many genocides since the Holocaust. Most of
You're
them
an
headed by
apologist for
Nazis,
empire and an apologist
You
for
know,
Nazis.
this
Well,
panel,
non-smoker,
this
how can you be
panel
so
has
delusional
convinced me
about all the
actually.
Doobie.
deaths of
I,
Russia?
you know what? I
How
think
can you
I've had
be
my
so
mind changed
delusional?
on this
Just let the
panel
Nazis
already.
talk to me.
Oh no.
Doobie.
I think what we
Only
need to
the
do,
platform.
I think
Give
what
them
we
more
need to
Nazis
do
and Jews
is
possible,
we need to
then they'll
take
learn.
all the commies, throw them into camps, and
Wow,
address
see?
it that
Told
way.
you.
That
Look,
will solve
Here
the
it comes.
problem.
All I'm
you
gonna
guys
say-
deep down
Yeah.
All I'm gonna
have
say is
like
that
a
real communism's
fetish
never
for
been
this
tried.
shit.
I'm starting to
See,
believe
I
that
told you I'd win you over, Alec.
I think I'd rather talk to a Nazi than 14 people at once.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that too. I feel like a Nazi will make more sense
opportunity.
than
We have like
I do
a
think
little
non-smoker is
mini
better cut out for
Fuentes
panels
right
like
here
this.
with non-smoker.
When
and
we
it's an
have
opportunity
mislead
for us
like
to
Nick
engage
Fuentes,
them
you
and
know,
do
because
something.
he's
So
yelling,
let's
and
see the
I don't like
skills
getting yelled
now.
at.
Request
The
a
British
cancellation
want
of
to talk to the fucking Nazis.
No,
Oh, go on.
this is
Tell
a
me
good
more
example.
how we
I
should like,
know
give
this real
juice
quick.
boxes to
This is a
Nazis.
good
and be
one
nice
right
to
here,
them.
we
That's
can
This
talk
is a
about
good
it.
example. This is a good example of why it's okay.
John, you
to
did.
Whose accent were you trying to
This is a
imitate?
John,
good
you did.
example. Hey, let me finish. This is a good example of
What
why it's
happened
okay
there?
to platform problematic dumbasses like non-smoker here.
We
Is
should
he
You guys check this out.
problematic
he's getting
people. Just Nazis.
CEFO'd.
Just
He's getting
non-problematic
wound on.
Nazis.
He's
That's
getting
true. That's
destroyed.
that's true.
Communist, just
That's true.
non-problematic Nazis.
That's
You wanna
true.
kill
His
Jews.
rhetoric has
That's
turned me into
fine.
an anti-communist.
Smoker, I'm
Right?
sorry.
People are
You're
running from
delusional.
him and this is how we do it, gang.
I have to
Guys,
Yeah,
apologize.
non-smoker has converted me into an
Hold on,
anti-communist
I'm begging
now.
you.
Like,
So
this is
just so we're clear, just so we're clear,
Wait,
Wiki's
please,
saying.
Catalina, that's kind of the
Just so
idea.
we're
Yeah.
clear. Shut the fuck up, Tommy. I always wanted to say that. Right, Wick, here's the problem, okay? Non-smoker is one of 100 dumb fuck commies who will never get anywhere, but only
Oh my
one
God,
of these
quit
authoritarian
insulting him.
maniacs. Okay, he's
Communism
an
is
idiot.
based.
Only one of them
We're
needs to
one
get
of
up to
10
the
million
top to
dumb
become an
fuck
effective
liberals who
ideologue.
is exactly the same as every single other
Only
one
one
of
of
them.
them needs to get to the
Who
top to
achieves
become an
nothing
effective
with their
ideologue.
streaming.
So this system filters out 100 dumb
Nobody
fucks who
gives a
aren't
fuck what you
convincing,
say, dude.
like non-smoker, and then we end up
Everything
with
you
one
say is
ideologue
stupid.
who is successful,
Hide behind
like
your
Nick
fucking
Fuentes.
ladybug.
All right, that's the issue. It's a filtration process. Gets rid of the dumb fucks, pushes the smart ones to the top, like Nick Fuentes. That's
But
the
it
Push
makes
the
us
smart
better
people to the top or
combating.
use ladybug avies.
Right? Like this works both ways. It's a double-edged sword, Smugbug, right? So as
It's a
they
cat
get,
bug.
as like free speech is a
Smugbug, thank
great
you.
tool. It's a great tool for filtering out errors, right? It is a mechanism where we reduce
doing a bad
errors from
job. You're
whatever
still on the
ideology
platform.
we have. So yes, as they go forward, they will get better and stronger and reduce their errors, but we will be doing it at the same time. And gang, I'm just going to tell you right now that our ideas work and theirs don't over the long
Wick,
term. Right?
I have something.
Can I just say? I am tired of people being afraid of this fucking dork, this religious dork who says stupid shit on the internet and is always cringe, man. You guys got to get over it. We can't be afraid of talking to people who are just really fucking dorky and stupid. Like,
I know, we should do Wick on the panel. You're right.
Dude, Adolf Hitler was dorky and stupid.
People on the internet. If I can deal with real life shit, why the fuck can't I deal with somebody on the internet who says dorky shit all the fucking time?
Stardust, it's not that. It's not that we can't deal with someone like Nick Fuentes. I can tell you, and maybe this is me being doomer, okay? Maybe it is what it is. But this is the problem that I would have basically, and this touches on what somebody mentioned earlier with people like wanting to go for clout and wanting to talk to these people. If I had a chance right now to talk about Nick Fuentes, well, obviously right now I've been streaming for a little bit, so it's a bit different. But if I was a new streamer like a few months ago, and I had the chance to talk to Nick Fuentes, knowing that he's going to run fucking laps about me, but I could leverage that conversation.
Lady Rain,
and get
I
bonus
fucking
brownie leftist points
I
to
fucking
say that, like,
demolished her
actually, I'm willing
earlier.
to
Okay.
improve, and I am willing to go over my
You
debate
won't,
and
though.
improve my rhetoric.
You won't
would.
get it,
Yeah,
though.
no,
I like
you
this
won't
guy.
get it.
Yeah,
You will
so
get
here's the
shit
thing,
on.
the
You will get
issue-
ostracized.
There's a huge there's a huge market for these kinds of people.
Please, Chris, let me tell
Chris
you.
is the
okay,
Avi up here, very based.
Let me tell you, the vast majority of Twitch, the left side of Twitch poll, is anti-engaging in any conversation with them. And even if you're a tiny baby streamer and you say, "Oh, I did wrong, but I'm looking to do better next time," they're going to be mad at you forever for even talking to him. They don't
Yep.
care. They don't care if you're going to improve. They don't care. They are incredibly anti platforming anybody. And I'm sorry, but as a small content creator, getting owned by Nick Fuentes does not get you any points with anybody anywhere, because the guy's a fucking
This is
dork.
why you
understand that,
identify
but
as mildly right wing, and then nobody gives a fuck. I've had like a conversation up with
So
Nick
obviously,
Fuentes.
you guys have been on the platform. You guys have been
I'm
on the
s-
platform for a lot longer than I have, so I'm willing to. I'm
Yes,
willing to just
Chris,
concede that
Chris,
if
please
you know
take-
if
And she's
no,
been
so
there.
I understand that.
Yes,
Status,
I
but
have
what
been
I'm
in
what
that
I'm saying
exact
is.
space. I've been in that exact space where I've been a tiny content creator, engaging. Well, I mean, I'm still tiny, but I've been a tinier content creator, engaging with very large right-wing people,
Little
and
gay
I
content
guarantee
creator.
I have not gotten any brownie points for it. I've lost a lot of relationships for it. I just really don't like people telling me what to do. So that's the only
Almost
reason
as
why.
though
but
it's
the
socially
upside to it,
ostracizing
though, but the
to speak to Nazis, which is good.
upside to it, though, the upside,
I can leverage it.
there
though.
is an upside to it, though, is that she is the leader of the white race. So that's
am
the
the leader of the
upside
white
to
race.
it.
That is true.
Hold on.
Ask Nick Fuentes if she is.
Oh, wait, there's a conflict
I
here. There's a
actually did.
conflict
I
here.
actually was in a debate with Nick
Stardust,
Fuentes, and I
please.
told Nick Fuentes, I told him, I am taking that title from you because nobody in your area agrees with you having it. So I
Dog.
am now taking your title of savior of the white race.
If he had a button to become Hitler, he'd do it in a flash and put you in a fucking camp. Okay.
Okay, I'm aware. I don't fucking care, bro. I've met plenty of people in real life. who
Okay,
wanna
listen,
fucking
I
hurt
don't
me.
kink shame. I'm just saying
So-
most people
so
don't
I
want to be
gotta-
put in camps.
Hey, Alex,
Alex, internet, really?
Alex,
Just one
do you-
energy.
I got a question for you.
We understand
So-
the difference between the
single
people
tiny
coming
question.
at you and the
Single
opportunity that you
Okay,
get when
we're
somebody's
all-
actually talking to you.
Tiniest question.
Okay.
Just a single tiny
Oh,
question.
Hey, Smugbug. You know what?
I'm
You
listening.
get your question after Doobie. Fuck you. Doobie, go.
Well done.
Thank you, sir. So I have two questions actually. So the first one is for Mr. Alec. So you said that Nick would put Stardust in a camp. Now, you just heard Non-Smoker express repeatedly that he put some of us on the panel in camps. Right. So I'm
Probably
wondering.
me.
So I'm
I'd be in
wondering.
camp.
I never said I
Alec,
put any of you fucks in camps. What are you talking about?
I think the implication was pretty clear, but I can understand if you.
I
don't understand
never
the
said that. I don't know how it could be
You
clear.
didn't say
You-
it straightforwardly.
Can I just
Okay,
say,
that's fine.
You white motherfuckers. I'm sorry. I
Oh
don't
my
hate
God,
white
let's
people.
not-
Oh,
I'm
you.
sorry.
Oh, you're
I
gonna
don't
pull
hate
out
white
fucking
people.
Who's the
white
Nazi?
I
racism.
don't hate white
Who's the
people,
Nazi?
but I gotta say,
Who's the Nazi?
a lot of fucking white people, okay, on the internet
Love
lose
sentences
their
to start
fucking
like that.
shit. Like, oh no, Stardust, they're gonna put you in a camp. They would totally put you in a camp. Yeah, I fucking know that. How do you think? How close do you think I thought about? How much do you think that I thought about like Japanese internment camps right after 9/11? Do you
Not
really
very much,
think that
apparently.
I'm not aware of this? Shut the fuck up, bro.
Okay, can I finish my
I
question
get to
pretty
talk
please?
to who the fuck
Let
I
the
want
brown
to talk
people
to.
speak.
She's so mad.
I'd like to finish my question pretty please. So Alex, so given that Mr. Non-Smoker here is bare minimum expressed that he put some people in camps, right? If you were in power, it had the ability to do so. Do you think that he should be deplatformed?
Me and Non-Smoker, let's just say, do not see eye to eye. It is
yes?
me and Mr. Dylan Burns, who just showed up, are well acquainted with him. But
Admit to
I
the fucking.
Wait, so is that a yes?
okay. So my answer,
Yeah, it's a
your
yes, no
question was, should
question.
we deplatform Non-Smoker? I think on some
Answer
issues
this
perhaps,
correctly.
but I'd have to think about that more.
You can't half deplatform someone. It's a yes or no, buddy.
I just advocated for putting people in camps. Like, what do you mean?
Platform. I never.
I never
advocated
said
to
I'm in
put
favor of
anybody
putting people in
for
camps.
Nazis.
No, Non-Smoker did. Would you deplatform him, Alec?
Only
This guy's doing the same shit.
Nazis. Only.
Well,
Nazis.
I'd have to hear a more concise answer.
Ah, fuck. All right, so you would
said he
would
put Nazis in camps.
You would
I'd have to be
allow
like,
him a
well,
platform until you
Non-Smoker,
understood his
what do you mean by
ideology better.
camps, first of all, and second of all, what kind of people?
Good camps? Like, what do you think? What do you think he means by
Like,
camps?
listen,
I'm not
have you
gonna
ever been
say
like?
what
What
he
you
means by
drawing
camps.
from
Let's be
Can I
honest.
just answer? Can
Okay,
I
can I have my
please just fucking
one
answer?
question?
Have you ever been to
Tiny
Camp
crumb of a
Clearwater? It's
question.
actually pretty fun.
Just a small question.
Can I please answer the
tiny-
frog and the
I want
fucking
to hear
lake
this
bug?
Smugbug question. What's the Smugbug
Thank you.
question?
Holy fuck.
Hi,
Okay,
Dylan.
right. Hi, Dylan.
Hi,
Okay,
Dylan.
right. Stardust.
Hi, Dylan.
Okay, you were talking to Chris earlier about how there
Hi,
is a
Stardust.
disincentive. Shut the fuck up. There's a
Fuck
disincentive
you.
for Chris to platform someone like Nick Fuentes or whatever, get dunked by him in a debate, right? But that disincentive that you're referring to is the deplatforming disincentive that we've all been talking about. And you're advocating, I think, for stripping back that disincentive. So you can't use that
no.
as
So-
part of
so-
your argument for why he would be punished for it
Sure,
if
I
you're
would even
advocating
say-
for removing that punishment.
I would even go as far to say that there are other disincentives for engaging with that group, right? I don't know if people are aware of what it was like for me when I first started engaging in those groups when I was a much smaller streamer. For months on end, I was getting hate rated. For months on end, I was getting harassed on Twitter. For months on end, I had people in my DM saying horrendous shit to me. So there are other disincentives in this. I know what I'm getting into,
I can't
right?
imagine why.
But to say that somehow we're doing this because there's a massive incentive, no, actually, in fact, Dylan had to face a huge issue because of who I was friendly with on his last hippy dippy panel, right? Just because he had me on the panel I'm not a Nazi. I'm somebody who is left leaning.
Hold on.
Right?
You want to
I'm
strip that
left
disincentive?
leaning.
Stick to that point. Stick to that point. You want to strip that disincentive? Yes. You want to
Well,
make it
I'm
less
not a
negative
Nazi. So brave.
to platform these people.
I don't
right?
know. I just think that I think that other people have the right to not platform who they don't want to platform. I should have the right to platform who I want to platform.
I think it's good that there's at least a bit of a stigma.
No, we have to stick to this.
But-
So you don't want there to be a disincentive to platforming people through this social
Yeah, that's kind of the point,
everyone on
OAS.
Twitch poll
It's-
shitting
it's-
on you.
It's secondary
Bit
sanctions.
of a
That's
shit
what
show.
it is. It's secondary sanctions. There's a
No,
word for
I
this.
don't know. I think
Sure,
think
fine. Secondary sanctions.
I think
be a
I
word.
don't know what that would look like because all I see right now
Go
is
follow
people
Chris Speaks, he's
refusing
cool.
to interact with somebody just because of who they talk to. So yeah, I mean, I guess if it were like, yeah, we judge you for your beliefs and your character rather than by the character of people you talk to, then that would be kind of cool for me. But you know,
The thing is,
sure.
Stardust, I don't know. Hold on, just 2 seconds.
Smoke
Okay,
was building up
one
to a
last-
fucking point. Let him finish it.
Yeah, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Okay, so if I'm in the privileged position of being a terminally online fuckwad, okay, and I want to get big, and I don't give a fuck, I'm a privileged white whatever the fuck, right? I don't give a shit about nasty DMs. All engagement is good engagement for me. I'm gonna go around the fucking right sphere, and I'll be their fucking punching bag as a leftist, and I will get engagement for that. And
I don't
there is
think
no
you'll
negative
get-
disincentive
No,
from
I think there is
the
negative.
leftist.
There's still negative
What's the
disincentive.
negative
If you
disincentive?
if you get dunked on, it's not even about the disincentive of deplatforming. If you get dunked on, everybody else on the left is going to be dunking on you for ages. Look what happened to
We
Xander
literally
Hall.
have lolcows. We literally have lolcows.
Yes, lolcows. Do you think that do you? Okay, so yes, look at what happened to Xander Hall when he tried to debate Lauren Southern on a children's book. Right, that dude got dunked on for months. And I would say that is a disincentive by itself that has nothing to do with deplatforming. Nobody even brought the deplatforming argument up to him. They were just meeting on him for his horrible performance, and I guarantee that is a disincentive in its own.
They're just racist against Xander
Stardust,
for being the
I think
whitest white
you're-
person on Twitch poll.
I think you're massively underestimating how ignorant small content creators like myself can actually be. Because I understand
goodness,
the point
that is
that you're
quite the
bringing up with
outfit. The
people
tuna
poking
chips
fun at
rocking.
me, or like just the Twitter bullying or whatever's going to happen if I get ass blasted by Nick Fuentes to leverage that into a moment of leftist growth. But the thing is, there are people on this panel right now
There's
who are
no
way
leftist
bigger than
growth.
me who would there would be, right? You
I've
would
never seen
platform me,
Xan
would
debate.
platform me, counterpoint
I
me
don't
like
know
you
that
do.
I would
I could talk to
platform
all
you
of you
for-
guys.
But would I platform you specifically for?
I don't know
getting
Xan
dunked
that
on?
well,
No,
but,
I
like-
could
not
absolutely
really.
send you a message that would make that happen. Yeah, I've been platformed for less, okay?
No,
I feel good.
I
in
Just
that
not my-
sense of it.
not my-
you're
not my
good
thing that I
content,
usually
not
watch,
because you got dunked on by
I guess.
somebody
Right, but
else.
so imagine I am good content, and I also just
sure he's a nice
debated
guy,
Nick
but, like-
Fuentes. I got ass blasted, but I put up
Not
a
my
Okay,
case.
but
solid
we aren't the
leftist
people
fight.
who would do that. Like Chris, you're talking to
I
us like
would.
we believe I personally, I won't speak for Stardust. I
would do
personally don't
that.
believe in secondary
Everyone would
sanctions.
do that. That's bullshit.
I
I
would
would do that
definitely
any
do
day of
that.
the
No, there are
week.
people who
Only
absolutely
Alexa
wouldn't,
would do that.
right?
Yeah,
Like
I-
I would
I-
let you
the
on
order
because
of
I
doing
don't
that would do it.
believe. Like I don't believe that someone should be ostracized for simply talking or engaging with someone I don't like. I don't
Okay.
believe that at all, right? So I would let you on. But we're not talking about me here. We're talking about the lefties, right? The crazies who do believe in secondary sanctions and like the 6 degrees to Kevin Hitler.
But wait,
or
there aren't
something,
secondary
right?
sanctions anymore. We're not deplatforming these people, and there's fuck ton of people on
Listen.
the platform like myself who hold your point of view that I could leverage that interaction to grow off of by. There are so many of
guess
people like us on the platform that will
need-
talk to us.
Yeah, so I
Secondary
need an
sanctions
example.
are just free
So
association.
wait a minute. I think Wick is Wick is making a decent point. I think I'm understanding. I think the disconnect here is that that for me, I'm not somebody who would refuse to talk to anybody unless there was a specific reason, right? But if you're talking about leveraging, I don't think you would be platformed by somebody like me for getting dunked on by Nick Fuentes. You would just be platformed by me regardless of getting dunked on by Nick Fuentes. I might actually be a bit critical of you, but I generally just platform people. So I'm not really sure where this is going though. Maybe I'm
Well,
not
the point is
understanding.
for smaller streamers, any engagement and attention is good for a lot of them is going to be better than no engagement or attention, right? 0 viewers feels worse to most small streamers than having 30 viewers who are all screaming at you, dunking on you, treating you like a leftist punching bag straw man, right? Like a lot of people will take that
Is that
deal,
true?
and so you'll create.
It is.
I think
Do-
so.
do-
you're
do you know-
saying-
do you know-
so you're
hold on,
saying
no,
there's a
do you know
perverse
politics for life?
incentive to
Guys,
do it.
everyone
Exactly,
here knows
there's a
politics for life.
incentive.
We've all hold on.
I don't
We've all
know.
had
Speaking-
we've all had politics for life
Making
in our
sense.
Twitch chat. Everyone
Yeah,
here has.
true.
We've all seen that than lunatic before.
Speaking
I
as
would rather have, I would
no,
rather
not
no,
saying
hold on. I would rather have politics for life in my chat than nobody any day
love
of the
that guy.
week.
Okay, now let me. Okay, so I don't know how many of you guys have had to deal with the kind of backlash you get, but it's degrading. It sucks.
But we
It
don't
hits
know
you
about
from
that,
every
Zonia.
angle.
I'm gonna do that
I've-
because I don't know
Yeah,
about the
so-
backlash. I've
so-
no
so
idea
in
what's gonna
far-
come from it, so I'm just gonna
Here, yeah,
I'm gonna rush
exactly.
head
So
first,
the-
and then
the
we'll see what happens.
backlash
Worst
that
case
you
scenario, I
get-
just come up with a new VTuber.
I want to talk on a real
Right,
level
right,
for a
right,
minute.
sure,
argument
sure.
starts
It's-
letting the platforming
There's
happen,
there are
'cause
multiple
then you can
disincentives
see
here,
the
right?
backlash.
It's not like it's not just that
Yeah.
you're getting dunked on for being like a soy lefty. People are probably insulting you for whatever they perceive they can, right? Your race, your sexuality, your gender identity, whatever. They are going. It's very personal. Sometimes, depending on who, like far lefty, like super far lefty authoritarians tend to send me dead bodies, right? Like it depends on which group it is,
Beheadings
right?
and shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Okay,
So
I want to. Okay,
yeah, there are
before we,
disincentives
about
that
that?
are
That
different
sounds
from deplatforming disincentives, right?
okay,
Yeah.
I want to hear from Dylan since he just kind of popped in. I want to kind of hear from him, and then I'll let non-smoker go because he has his hands up.
Sure. Man, I guess for me, I run a business here, right? And I just look at it from like business incentives and a lot of the time. Of course, I have personal politics as well, but I'm also a businessman. And when it comes to like certain people, you're gonna get backlash, but that backlash a lot of times is deserved. Because people can perform super badly, and if you perform really badly, you can fuck up terribly. Because if you go do bad in a debate about inflation, okay, whatever. Nobody really gives a fuck. If you do bad in a debate about whether the Jews deserve to live, this is a totally different scenario.
Yeah.
The type of ideas that are being discussed and now being disseminated to the people around you are going to be much, much, much worse. And so for in my opinion, I think it's okay to talk to anyone. Literally anyone. I mean, I want to go out and literally interview people who have done actual atrocities in war because I'm a journalist, part of my job, right? So I can't like hold a standard where I'm like, oh, you can't talk to this Twitch streamer when I'm going out and I want to actually like record Russian soldiers who have been involved in war crimes, right? And so that's like impossible. So, but the thing is, you can't not expect massive backlash if you fuck up, because if you fuck up, the odds are just totally different than if you just fucked up in an average everyday conversation about inflation. So it is fucked up that a lot of the backlash people get for just talking to people. But if you mess up the slightest amount because you thought you were prepared when you weren't, you deserve all the shit you get. Because what you just did is disseminate bad information to the audience, and not everybody is equipped to do it. And a lot of people who stream on Twitch and think they're equipped to do it aren't.
So Dylan, how would you
I agree
handle
with
our
that.
own little Fidel Castro
Yeah,
right
the
here
stakes are
that's
too
running
high.
around?
I
What was
agree
that?
with what Dylan is.
And how would you handle our own little Fidel Castro that's
Hi,
running around
Dylan.
here?
Good to see you again.
Who's Fidel Castro? Who?
I'm being
talking
attacked
about
unfairly.
I
We
would
have-
agree
we
with
have
Dylan.
politics
I
now,
want
they're
to
always
say.
fine
I
on the
want to
panel.
say.
What do
I
you mean? How would
agree-
wait? No. What do you mean by how I would handle him? What do you mean?
But he's a
They
dictator. He
say
wants to
throw
put
him in a
Nazis
camp.
in prison camps. And
Yeah.
so, how would you handle something like that?
What do you mean? If he's not a dictator, he's a Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
He's like, he's,
I-
what,
I
what is
wanna
he
say-
doing?
I wanna say-
one.
wait,
He's
shut up with
playing
the
one
stupid
and
joke
taking
question.
that position.
Dylan Burns.
Okay.
So he says he wants to
Okay.
put Nazis in
wait,
concentration.
real
Hold on,
quick, real
Star's
quick.
talking
Nope,
right
never
now.
said
You
that.
get your turn in a second there. So he wants to put Nazis in concentration camps, and he wants, he's
legit
promoting
never said that, by the way.
I don't
dictatorships.
care about your fucking joke, bro. Oh
And
my
so,
God.
Dylan, how would you
Never
handle
said it.
something like that?
I mean, I don't think he's gonna really change anything, so I probably would do nothing.
Yeah, he's rhetorically ineffective. He's not
legit
dangerous,
never
but we're
said
talking
that.
about the dangerous
Okay,
ones.
okay.
right?
And
I
was
just want to
next, by
say
the
I
way.
agree.
I was next,
I
by the way.
agree. Hey,
I was next, by the way.
I agree
So,
with what Dylan
I
is
was next,
saying.
by the way. Another fascist apologist interrupting me. Can I just,
right,
because I was next? Can I just go because I was next?
Okay. Well, so
So I
just
can?
want to say.
All right, so
I
look,
just wanna
so
say that I
the thing is, I
agree
never
with,
said
what Dylan was
put
saying.
This is why we
Nazis
need
in
hippy dippy. We
concentration
need
And that
order,
I
law
think-
and order.
Wasn't I-
Non-smoker,
I
you're
was
being
next.
misogynist.
I think
Queen
that it's
Alexa, I
totally
was next.
acceptable to get
Queen Alexa, I was
blowback if
next.
you do really bad. If you
Queen
do really
Alexa, I
bad in
was
debate,
next.
you
You were
should-
next, but this
you
is
should
funny.
Totally.
I was
Yeah.
next.
No, this is funny. I'm
Face.
just
You
doing it to be
said-
annoying at this point.
You said non-smoker after Dylan.
All right, guess what? That's fucking, now you get to go.
Non-smoker
Go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead,
All right, I think I'm gonna.
I was
I think
being
I'm gonna
shit,
talk
okay?
over the commie because I
Okay, here we
wanted
go.
to
Yeah, you
point
don't want
out
to do that. You might
that
end up in a
it's-
well, somewhere you don't want to go.
Well,
Anyway,
I've
so
already
look,
decided the commies need to be put in the
can I
camps,
just be
right? You
clear?
convinced
I
me.
never
What
said.
if we all just
I
lower
never
the user
said.
volume of
Yo,
non-smoker?
they don't want to let me talk. They're all about
The
censorship.
thing is, how can
Yeah,
you,
we're
how can you
censoring
advocate
them.
for people?
What about
Hold on,
freedom
hold
of
on,
It's your
speech?
position, bro.
What about freedom of speech?
Hold on for 2 seconds.
Shut
How
the
can you
fuck
advocate?
up. He's
How
been
can you?
trying to talk for 20
You won't let me
minutes. Let him
fucking finish.
go.
Right, but counterpoints.
Thank
How
you.
can you advocate to put things in camps and you can't fucking talk on a panel?
Well,
Like,
yeah,
come
let me
on.
just say, let me just clarify my position, please, for the love of Christ. Okay. Now, I never said the word concentration camp. Y'all are bringing that into the conversation. I
You said
said
camp.
jail. I
It was
said
implied.
jail. Very different. Okay, jail. You go
See,
and
it's
press
more
some
vague.
license plates. You eat some creamed
He did
corn.
change it to
Maybe you
jail
get in
later,
some
yes.
fights. Gay butt sex, and then that's it, right? Okay, I never
Jesus
say anything about
Christ.
people getting
Okay,
like
so just
gas
as
or anything
bad as
like
the
that.
camps.
That's a crazy
Yeah,
thing to say,
literally.
bro. You got
You
shit
said-
going on in your head
said
that you're
labor camps.
projecting
Guys,
onto
it's called
me.
political
Not
shit show.
right.
That's the
Do you know
point.
the history
That's
of
the
labor
point.
camps, my dude? Like,
I'm talking about jail, though, Stardust.
Wait, hold on.
Jail.
You said you
Jail.
put them in prison.
No, I
you
said
said you put
jail.
them in camp and have
I
them do
said
hard
jail.
labor.
He
That's what
did,
you
he
said.
did say
Yeah.
camp. Hard labor
okay,
camp. He did say that.
real quick.
Well, the
I wanna
Angloid
say,
is always
I wanna
coming in
say,
to correct.
really quick. I
Wait,
want to
hold
say that I agree with what Dylan was saying. If you do really badly in a debate, I completely agree, and I expect to get a whole lot of flack if I really fuck up in a debate. I expect to get completely a bunch of people just completely ragging on me. I think that's fair, right? The only thing that bothers me is I mean, look, it doesn't even bother me at this point. It's just par for the course, right? But like, I don't know. I feel I don't like people telling me what to do. I'm gonna keep doing what I want to do, and if you want to clown on me for doing terribly in a debate, I will own up to doing terribly in a debate. So
You know what happens when you
So
lose a
I
debate?
think
We'll do that after
Wait,
this
Sonia?
debate, by
You know
the
what
way.
happens when you lose these debates? You get better. This is how we improve. Like Dylan talked about stakes, right?
I'm glad
like
everybody
the stakes
here will
are
improve.
high when there's a the question of whether Jews should be allowed to be alive. The stakes are relatively high, right? Sort of on a Twitch panel.
I'm
I mean,
looking
you can
forward to
argue,
improving with the
but
butt
when
sex,
it comes
but that's
down to
just
it, we
me.
have to be able. We have to be able to effectively
It is Bill and
combat these ideas,
Derns.
and the only way we're able to learn how to effectively combat these ideas
Dude,
is
Dylan
by
Burns
doing
is such
it,
a
which means we're
fucking
gonna
giga
lose a
Chad.
few.
I'm sorry.
We're
Wait,
just
hold on,
gonna
I
lose a few.
disagree.
Nazis are not
Hold on,
scary, bro.
hold on.
I don't know how to tell you that.
So look,
I wish I had that man's jawline.
Dumbest thing I've
Look,
ever heard you say.
Just a beautiful man.
You really
Okay.
expect for somebody to
This is
leave a
how it
fucking
works. This is
banner
how
with a
any
Nazi
other
on
skill
top?
works.
That's
This is
Yeah.
how
Wait,
every
wait,
single other skill in
somebody-
the world works.
You only
solution-
learn
why
in the
is
real
that?
world.
What's the solution
You
to this
only
problem?
learn in
You
real
wouldn't
world
believe-
scenarios.
No one can hear anybody, but this is
So-
Spanish. and now it's like, shut the fuck up.
Rubble,
Alright,
I would
no one can hear
say-
anyone.
I would say-
No one can hear a word.
What are you talking about? You get 6 times the information. That's what Dylan says all the time. Right?
Please,
I'm over-talking you, Wick.
Is it
I
you
apologize, Wick.
I have a
This
solution.
still-
Wait. Wick is muted now. Sad.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah. Hey, Zonia,
Okay.
go.
Oh fuck.
Okay. You're gonna get pushback even if you platform them well, and you're gonna get there's a stigma around it for a reason. And I think in a way that stigma is kind of like a good sign because it shows that our society overall, or at least spaces that we operate in, tend to agree that those types of people's ideas are detestable. So that's a good thing. And you're going to get that blowback whether you do a good job or you do a bad job. So just keep that in mind if you're going to do that.
I think I have a
platforming.
solution to this.
Now
though.
with regard to like getting experience, Wick is absolutely correct. You can't get that experience in any kind of a controlled environment. It's something you just simply have to deal with. And it's because it's very different. A lot of people talk about you could just practice in discords and stuff, but that's not the same
I
as
should ban
having
them.
an audience online. That's something that's completely
Yeah.
different when you're on a stream, on a panel, in a debate, whatever. Completely different scenario, and there's no way to get that experience without actually doing it.
Dude, imagine the
So
fucking
it's-
bad manners.
There's a reason why
Actually,
there's a reason why
Well-
I don't platform Nazis, because I don't think I have the kind of tenacity and mental fortitude to keep up with all that shit and keep them in check on everything that they try to push across, because I just don't want to deal with it. So I don't put myself up there.
No. I meant somebody online.
Wait, please.
Just ban him.
Hold on, just 1 second. Even Wick doesn't believe that, because that's not just how. That's like an incredibly simplistic view on the matter. That the only way for us to learn how to argue against Nazis is by arguing against Nazis. If I want to be a car mechanic, should I have someone teach me those skills or a handbook that I follow, or should I just start taking apart my car
You
and trying to
have
put it
to
back
eventually
together?
work on cars.
Yeah, if you want to deal with conspiracy theorists, if you want to deal with cult-like mentality and conspiracy
When
theorists,
when
You
I
can
made
get
If you,
all of
if
what
you want to
rhetoric
deal
needs
with
from watching
if you-
somebody who's already done it.
if you want to deal with cult-like mentality and conspiracy theorists, which is what those get wrapped into, you have to really deal with them and address them directly. I spend time in discords that actually have people who believe in those things, and I debate them oftentimes and have discussions with them. And even then, I'd be like, there's no way I'd want to put up with this while also doing it on a stream. So there's it's absolutely a very different thing engaging with it in a more controlled environment and then dealing with it on a live stream, especially on like a panel or a debate.
when I made my opening statement, I
Please, God,
want
just
to
1 second. I just wanted to say, Chris, we literally did this with the Chud Bug thing. I pretended to be a conservative. We argued out conservative positions, and you attacked them as a leftist. I think there are spaces to have a more controlled version of
I
this.
should have just kept
as a
talking.
kind of-
Fuck.
It's not perfect in the same way that like learning how to be a mechanic, not on someone's actual car, but on like some kind of training engine, is probably better than reading the book, but not as good as doing the real thing. But at least it's a step towards inoculating people against bad habits.
Just one thing, quick, please, because the whole reason why we're talking about this is because we are talking about platforming
is
essentially
this?
on our platforms, on Twitch, for example.
Too many
I can watch
cooks,
someone like
too
Destiny, or
many
someone like Vosh, or even someone like
cooks.
yourself if you've got that shit on your YouTube, or someone like Dylan. I can get the rhetoric that I need in order to be better at these conversations. And if I want to dip my toes into the Nazi land of debates, I don't have to do that on Twitch. I can do that quite easily without necessarily bringing Nazis over to a platform where they're not welcome.
Real quick,
I do want to do that.
If that's your argument, then I look, man, I have no problem with that. I think a lot of us started off arguing with people on different platforms, or started off arguing with people just in Discord voice calls before we started streaming it. So I don't have a problem with that,
When I made my opening statement, I want to make an adjustment to it. So I said, don't platform Nazis, right? I think it's good to deplatform them. When I made that statement, I was thinking more in terms of like, are we banning them off of Twitter, which I think is fine? Are we like, are we making it so that they can't proliferate their ideas? I think that's fine. I think when you are talking about like literally putting a Nazi on a platform, I think of it more of as like if you're taking it in a literal sense, right? What are you allowing them to do on that platform? Are you undressing them and putting them a clown wig and a red nose and making them scoot along on their butts like little sissies? Or are you giving them a microphone and allowing them to speak their bullshit? That's the difference. I think that is very important to take into account, as long as you know how to humiliate them and know how to make people realize that you're like the better guy to side with. I think that is a fine thing to do, and I've seen people do that very successfully.
That's what everyone was missing earlier from Alec.
So you're
was this
talking about
perspective.
that from your perspective, it's black and white. You can either humiliate them or you give them a mic and let them run with it. There's nothing in between.
They can, if you think they'll humiliate themselves, then I mean, go for it. But not all of them will. Some of them just want to be a funny dude and honk his nose and clap around, and then people are like, oh, I love that guy, and then they just have like that's all that is, and then people just side with them because they're funny. So you got to be really careful. If somebody's just there to make a funny joke and then pull people over that way, then you can't platform them. There's no way to do that responsibly.
All right, I got a better question for you. Do you think you'll be able to spot the Nazis every single time so that you know who not to platform?
I think that if you bring them on and they begin to, you have to look at how genuinely they're engaging in the argument. Now, if you're a Nazi, it's not going to be genuine, period. But if they're at least trying to put on the guise of being genuine, then I think that you could, as long as you're rhetorically sound, engage with that and come out on top. But once they eventually and inevitably dive into their fucked up, dude bro kind of jokey, oh, I don't give a fuck attitude, you just cut them off.
Well, and what if it's a person? I want to follow on with this real quick. Just one more.
Sure.
So what if it's somebody who then comes on and they have questions to ask, like legitimate questions to ask about like ethno-state concepts and various concepts that have been introduced to them, and they want to ask about that and talk about it.
Well, you're talking to a former conservative. If somebody is being genuine, I believe that it is fine to engage with that. I engage with people who are genuinely transphobes, like they genuinely believe in their transphobic beliefs, and I have them on and I debate them. I do believe that these people are coming in good faith for the most part, and I am fine with engaging with them. I've actually had a pleasant conversation with somebody who literally said that he thinks teachers are indoctrinating children. And I made him understand that no, that's not happening, hopefully. But I think that those conversations can happen. It needs to be taken on a case by case basis, and you need to be careful about the way you go about it, if that makes sense.
To help them happen more.
We need to be able to reel leftists in as well when it comes to this, though, right? Because I have had cases of people coming in asking like, they weren't just asking questions in like the dodgy sense, but genuinely asking questions. And I've had people in my chat be like, well, I'm getting off a Nazi whiff there. Like, we can't have that shit, because then you can't have a genuine conversation with someone if the only thing that people can focus on is that this is potentially a Nazi. Like, that we can't allow for. We have to like fucking reel lefties in as well.
We are so hyper vigilant for dog whistles, right? Like that we're driving people away that are just genuinely curious. Anyway.
Yeah,
Okay,
driving
can I
people away
please-
who aren't even dog whistling.
Oh,
I
God.
mean, that's,
Tuna chip.
yeah, let's let Connor in.
I feel so bad for the guy. Please, he's had his hand up for 15 minutes. The
Well, he's
blood is
dressed
running
like
out
an
of him.
anarchist.
Do
You
the
can't have him on
15-minute
if he's dressed
hand
like an
guy, and
anarchist.
then I'll go. 15-minute hand guy, go, and then I'll go.
Let me fucking talk, guys.
Okay, I regret it. Never mind.
I'm
Okay,
listening
so
deeply now.
seriously though, okay, take it in. The first thing we've been dodging this idea. Some people are on this side that talking to them is a moral imperative. Some people are on saying it that not talking to them and getting rid of them is a moral imperative. I just don't think that that's the actual conversation happening here. The real benefit of talking to these people on these platforms is because Nazis are skilled rhetoricians. They have a bad idea. And so by design, they need to spend all of their time focused on figuring out how to talk to people and convince them of their ideas. What you're supposed to do with that, because they're talking to people in the real world the same way. They're practicing, they're figuring out, and then they're going into the real world. If you want to make the world a better place, you talk to these people, you figure out how it is that they are convincing people of these bad ideas, and then you go into the world with that knowledge and talk to real people who actually have a real impact on politics and try and make it so that those people are de-radicalized. It's not like we're going to be, this is Twitch, this is YouTube. These are not the fucking voting delegate. This is a very small community. Now, if you're talking about deplatforming on Twitter, like got brought up for a bit, yeah, of course, Twitter has a larger responsibility, but I'm hearing, should we platform Nazis? Should we? Nobody on Twitch has a large enough platform to influence politics on a grand scale, bar none.
Hasanabi.
Tuna, what have you learned from talking with the Nazis as a skill to help?
I want to hear
whatever,
Connor talk.
so that they're not work so well. What have you learned?
Connor's
from that?
waiting.
Connor gave
I
us
feel
the
like
spot.
Connor
Yeah, I
is
had a
suffering
question.
like the kind of Irish prejudice that we've had to deal with.
You know
for-
what? Yeah, fuck your question,
It's 'cause
Toby.
he's
Come
very
on,
anti-Irish in
Yeah,
here.
Alexa.
The Pyro Tyrant
I
hasn't
wanna-
talked
you,
either.
Alexa.
I want to go.
Had enough of your shit.
Okay, I want to go. So the point being that, like, you're saying, oh, you can't have these genuine conversations. They're so evasive, blah, blah, blah. And, like, basically, I'm just going to point out that this is bullshit. I've had this conversation with Nick Fuentes, literally just asking about his ideology, pushing back on it, and pointing out why I thought his ideology was bullshit and why it's going to fail. And by the way, in that conversation, defining fascism as flexible authoritarianism and political corporatism, which I expect 80% of the fucking people on this panel to not even know what the fuck I'm talking about, he's not a fascist. He's a Christian theocrat. He's an authoritarian. And on top of that, he wants to use basically like the revival of Christian religiosity inside the United States in order to create a new Christian empire in which race isn't everything, but it's not nothing. So we're talking
That's
about returning
functionally
to a
the same as
19
fascism.
Shut the fuck up.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's important to know
And
that
on
I'm
top of
fine
that,
with
it would
conflating
be,
those.
It would be
I
way
would love to
more-
hear your definition of fascism.
It would be.
You can get it.
It would be way more akin to 1950s and 1960s America than it would be 1940s Nazi Germany. Now, I understand to some people that's the same fucking shit, and if that's the way that you fucking feel, so goddamn be it. But at the same point, this is like, you know, you could understand this if you wanted to. You could have a functional conversation, and you could also tell him why his ideas are dog shit. The reason why I think his ideas are dog shit is because I don't want gay people to go back in the closet. I don't want trans people to go back in the closet. I think that black people and Hispanic people shouldn't be treated like shit through immutable characteristics. I also don't think that I think Christianity is slowly secularizing and losing cultural relevance over time. So his vision for the new America, the 1,000-year Christian nationalist Reich, I think is a fucking pipe dream. And you could tell that to his fucking face if you engage with the ideas substantively. But I'll leave it there.
What country gave the Nazi Germany
Yeah.
their ideas?
You can also tell Nick to his face that
Dude, you're like a
he's
talking point machine, bro. Like, I'm not sure if you think through what you fucking say.
Nah,
also
well,
tell-
sometimes. I've been known to.
You can also tell Nick Fuentes to his face that he looks like a fucking dork and he dances like an old man and he looks like an old man who's been teleported from like centuries ago. Who
Yeah,
hasn't
that'll show him.
Up to date with.
And he's got little
That doesn't change.
I kind of like non-smokers' energy
but that
here.
doesn't
I'll be
change the
honest.
thousands
I
of
don't like the
people that are
guy,
watching
but
you
I
about
like
it,
his
right?
energy
Like,
here.
you need to hit
It
the
does
ideas
is they
because
think
it's
he's fucking
fuck.
dorky as a result of your conversation.
Nobody
Yes,
cares.
it does.
fucking dorky.
Wait,
Have you
well,
seen the Groypers? They all look like that. They're
Can I
fucking
get a quick
dorks.
Yeah,
word
no,
in?
no, no shit. They're
I
gonna follow him
love
anyway.
people who don't watch
Maya.
right-wing content tell
I'ma just
me
raise my
what
hand
they know
for
about
it.
right-wing
I do
content.
watch right-wing content, okay? They look like fucking dorks, and they admire a dork that makes them feel like a powerful dork, okay? Nick
Right,
Fuentes
but
gives them
somebody-
access to powerful dorkdom.
King of dork.
Wait, so doesn't that go back to
Powerful
Stardust's point where you should understand dorks so they feel less socially isolated so you can rekindle their
She's
attraction to the rest of the
humanization.
broader
herself,
community?
actually.
If they're Nazi
Agree with the
dorks, we shove their
humanization, but that
heads in
was a slightly-
toilets.
Hold on. I agree. That was
There
the
you
point
go.
of the
She's
I agree
contradicting
with-
herself.
Hold on. I agree with the humanization, but the distinction we already made earlier was that you can humanize the people who have fallen into the ideology, but you shouldn't platform the ideologues because that ends up helping their cause, right? So
Unless
the
you're
question really,
I
disagree.
think-
Unless you're competent,
It's a
right?
great
but
question,
it's
Finlara.
difficult to measure and rely on with the incentives we have.
on a platform, having somebody on who has radically different beliefs from me, somebody who has beliefs that are harmful to me, and still me being able to empathize with them on a personal level, and sympathize with the ways that they feel like the world has left them behind, I think actually does a lot. There's a lot of people who
Why
watch
does it need to be on a platform?
Stardust, there's a difference.
That is a great question. That is a fantastic question. That was a banger.
Wait, let me finish.
Oh, fine. Finish,
I'm
and then we'll tell you
going
why
to
it's
leave
done.
this panel, honestly. But
Good.
It's
I
a
think
shit
that-
show.
I think. What is going on? Who is speaking?
What in the fuck? I don't even
Guys,
know.
keep talking over her. She'll leave.
Take your vow of silence.
Hold on, just do the mind
okay,
count. Yeah.
so,
Hey, shut the
right,
fuck up. Stardust is
Jesus
trying to
fucking
talk.
Christ.
Yeah, go. Fine.
Okay. So when that person's audience is watching you and they have an impression of you, they think that you are going to be a triggered feminazi person who can never see things from their point of view. It changes their perspective on you. They have to change their perspective on you when they see you empathizing and connecting on a very human level with somebody.
With
It's
the-
not
with
for
the-
everybody.
hold on.
I'm not saying,
Sorry,
I'm
just
not
to
saying that
clarify-
everybody else has to do it.
just
I'm not
clarifying.
saying everybody else has to do it, but
Stardust,
yeah.
just clarifying, please. Do you mean the ideologue or do you mean like a random like Nazi viewer? Which one?
So when I'm doing that with the ideologue, the viewers still have to see me that way.
Okay, so you're saying that humanizing the ideologue in public is going to help
Humanizing herself in front of the ideologue.
Well, no, I still
Right,
get to
okay.
humanize him a little bit too, because he's a dork. He's not a
the fuck?
dangerous Nazi crazy guy who's gonna fucking
Right.
lynch me. He's a dork online who got banned from flights because he made stupid comments towards. flight
Listen, you
attendants.
keep saying he's a dork, he's a dork, he's a dork. So was Hitler. Okay, I'm sorry. So was Hitler, and then he came to
Yeah,
power
right,
and he
during
fucking
a time
killed
where he
people.
was
6
able
million of
to
them
do it.
plus.
Tell me who's
I
the
just,
same
He
position
did the
yeah, he's a
same thing
dork.
with Hitler.
Tell me who's in the same position as Hitler right now.
That doesn't. If he was given the button to become Hitler, he'd press it. I don't know what else to tell you.
Okay, can I
It doesn't matter, Alec. It's the same thing whether it's Hitler or
Nobody's
Nick
giving him the
Fuentes.
button.
He
Can I
doesn't
just,
have the
like,
button.
Oh,
what
so
this
by
was-
the way, keep in mind, we're not talking so
fake
much
button.
about de-radicalizing the thought leaders and influencers of these movements. We're talking about sort of making a connection and having sort
With
of
them and their audience.
in their audience seeing us as like being humanized with them. And because the audience aren't usually the ones that are strongly ideologically rooted, as we talked about earlier, right? So many of them are socially ostracized.
I love the
They're
argument that
people
like,
are dealing
oh,
with
he's
a
not
lot
the
of
same as
social
Hitler. He didn't
isolation.
actually do all
They're
that shit.
struggling
Well, he fucking
economically,
would.
and they're finding community in a group that also.
Oh, we'll
has
just wait till he
poisonous
does.
ideas that try to give them overly simplified answers that give them enemies to point to.
And they
such.
point us,
So
and they point.
what,
They
what
paint
we
us, I should
do.
say.
What we do is we provide that bridge of empathy so they can see a
true,
community
Queen
and see
Laura.
people that don't have those toxic ideas, who are open and welcoming to like empathizing with them and
Oh my
treating them
God,
like
you need to
normal
interject
people.
faster, Wick.
And they
So
paint us, just real quick, and they paint us as these caricatures, right? They paint us
Yeah.
as blue-haired feminazis. They
That's why I
will
left.
wouldn't
never
even care about
accept
that,
them.
honestly.
These caricatures. But when we come to their house and we show them that, hey, we are not what they expected. We are not acting like how we have been portrayed as. This challenges their worldview
But
and
we
shows
do.
them
We
that
100% do.
Or you
When
just
we bring
lift
these
and
peop-
intimidate
when
them.
when we bring these people
Dude.
onto these platforms, specifically on Twitch, and this is no dig at anyone here, but when we bring them onto these panels and we try and have these quote unquote conversations, do y'all people not pay attention to y'all fucking chat, or am I just going crazy here? Because y'all
when's the
chat
last
is
time?
doing
Give me an
the
example.
y'all
Give
chat
me an
are doing
example.
the exact same thing.
He's spitting.
Wait,
Started up
yep.
hold up, wait.
Wait a minute. I've gotten
I love
so
this
many
man.
messages.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
people.
Immediate
Stardust,
follow.
Wait a
Stardust
minute.
brought this
I've
up
gotten
earlier. No,
gotten
hold up. This was
tons of
this was my message. I'm gonna like Stardust
Why
brought
not
this
let
up
Stardust
earlier
do it
with the
first?
Nick Fuentes. No, because this was my point. Wait,
Idea.
Yeah, that's
Stardust
his
brought
point.
this
Speak
shit.
for him.
Yeah, Stardust brought this shit earlier when she was talking to Nick Fuentes and trying to do her thing. People got on her. There were people in her chat. There was Twitter drama.
Guys,
I'm
here's
sure Dylan
one
Burns can
fucking
sit up here and
viewer.
talk about
Go
shit that
follow
he's
him
gone
right
through.
now.
When
If
he's
you
done shit
stay in
like
his
trying to go
chat,
to
that's
fucking
fine.
Ukraine, when he's talked to some of the more yikesy people, the chat pops off. When we have panels like this where we're talking about, yo, should we even talk to these people live? It pops off into this big old shit fest, and it's just a show. So when we talk about, oh, they come here and they see that we're these good people, no, they fucking don't. This is the equivalent of going to Maury and being like, oh, we're seeing they're good people. No, it's not.
That's not how that's not
Yeah, you missed the
what
point
when we're
entirely.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
The
When we're
hamster doesn't
talking
drop it.
You missed it, dude.
wait a minute. When we're talking about people who act that way, I am somebody yes, 100%. I get a ton of blowback back when I go into these spaces. I expect it, right? But there's the reward for me is, I hope you're listening, is the reward for me is that is that a few months later, now I've gotten
I
like,
heard about
so many
that
messages
Macabre
from people
eccentric.
from those circles who say,
Link me
you know,
something to read real
initially
quick.
we thought that people like you wouldn't understand us, but after having seen how you interact with our side, we now the narrative of how we talk about people like you has changed. You're no longer enemies to us. You're just, you know, fellow travelers who have wrong ideas, right? And I think that's a huge improvement for me, right?
I 100% agree with that,
and I'm
Stardust.
not
I
and
don't
I'm
even
not
fight against that.
yeah,
It's
I'm,
like
I'm
it
not
like
I'm not trying to change people's ideas, but if they can see me as just another person who has instead of seeing me as somebody who is their enemy, who's trying to bring them down, if they can see me as somebody who's just another person who has different views than them, then that's completely different.
Like they did in Nazi Germany.
I get that it's hey, you're only doing this because I'm a real woman. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, shut up. Okay.
Oh God.
All right. Counterpoint needs to leave. Someone let him shut himself out, and then we can take. So counterpoints. Tell us where we can find you.
No. So type in counterpoints, common spelling into YouTube. I basically do 40K content on my main channel, but I still do political debate content, and I still do essays on the side. So you can check out the secondary channels and the links. And then I am going to be trying to get back into the panel scene a little bit more. So it was fun being in a lively, screamy panel again. And I look forward to seeing y'all again for throwing some more elbows. So I wish y'all a beautiful evening.
See ya.
Good night, Counterpoints. It was fun.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Yep.
Good night,
Catch y'all soon.
counterpoints.
Good night.
All right. Back to the pick me trans thing. Zone, you go.
Hang on, you know I detransed. I'm now just a
That's
woman.
true.
That's why I'm a real woman.
Jesus.
What? You gonna
so-
stop me? Huh? You gonna? No, you're not. Back off.
The only thing that's going to
so
stop
I get
Alexa
that
is
it's
their internet connection. We all
I
know
get
this.
that it's like really okay. So I don't want to be too insulting, but it is like it's a crutch that you've got, Alec, to kind of go back to. Yeah, but Nazi Germany. We're not in Nazi Germany, right?
Yes.
So what we're talking about dealing with is we're talking about dealing with toxic ideas that we like to pretend don't exist, and we try to sweep under the rug, and then we allow them to fester in the dark to the point where they start coming up with clever ways to circumvent their ostracization and circumvent our system and get their people into the ranks in our system and try to turn things around against us. So the goal that seems to come from a lot of people like yourself with this very hand wavy dismissal, oh, we just need to get rid of them, they're not, we did that with Nazi Germany, we need to do it with these guys, is that you allow the problem to fester and grow and allow them to come up with more clever ways to find other people who have been socially ostracized and prey on them and build their ranks. And as long as you allow that to happen unchecked and continue leaning on these dismissive crutches, the more they can grow that power to a point where eventually you may find yourself with the Nazi Germany again, but it's Nazi America or something.
Nazi
So
Germany.
I don't think that should be the case.
Nazi
I don't think we should
Germany.
let it go unchecked. I don't think we should run from it. I don't think we should be afraid to confront it. I don't think their ideas are more powerful than ours. I think our ideas are far more powerful than theirs.
Nazi
Most powerful
Germany
ideas
did
don't
not
always
occur
win, though,
because a bunch of people got deplatformed off Twitter. It occurred because a Nazi got elected into power. That's how it occurred. The most fucking powerful man in Germany was a Nazi. That's when Nazi Germany happened.
This is such a. I found a commonality between your approach,
Holy
Alec,
shit,
and the
bro.
approach of Nazis. Overly simplified, reductive answers to very complicated problems.
Listen,
Yeah,
I do not have an
Nazi Germany
oversimplified answer.
happened
I
because
told
one
you.
nerd
I'm not trying to
failed
play it
high
full.
school and
Hold
then,
on.
like, got angry
I'm not
at
trying
other
to.
people.
Excuse me,
I'm not.
to even fucking compare
Yeah, Stardust hasn't talked
Nazi
enough.
Germany, even fucking compare Nazi Germany to what's happening today is incredibly insulting.
You're
to the
wrong.
Holocaust
We have
survivors. You
concentration
no
camps in
fucking-
America
you have
right now. That is a real thing.
You
And
have no fucking place.
I have
You
no-
have
no, no,
fucking
hold
place
on.
in comparing
Do
any of
you
these
think-
people to what
hold
happened
on.
in Nazi Germany?
Nobody
It is
knew.
incredibly insulting.
No, you're wrong.
not have
Nobody knew
concentration
what was
camps
happening
in
in Nazi
America
Germany
like that.
until after that shit was over. Okay? We have hindsight. We have the benefit of hindsight. How long do we have to wait and let things
That's not true
build
either.
up
We
to
were
a
literally
point
just wrong,
until that
bro.
shit happens
Literally.
again? How long?
Concentration camps were happening.
How? Excuse me.
The
excuse
idea
me.
that
You
no
are
one-
literally
CTV,
comparing
hello.
people to Hitler from
Dude,
Nazi
letters.
Germany.
Oh my God.
We get
things,
give Alec
the
just a little bit of
circumstances are
room to
not
talk
the
some
same.
sense. And then
They're
he comes
not
out
the
with
same
I'm gonna need-
because they
I'm
don't
gonna
have
need
the fucking
everybody-
kill button. If they had that, they
Everybody-
would do
Aren't you
it.
supposed to be
Nick
modding this
Fuentes
shit?
would press
Nah,
it.
we don't need a mod.
Oh yeah, this
we
is
need
great.
everybody to shut the fuck up for a minute because CTV
Hey,
is
okay,
on.
you know
Hello,
what? I agree.
CTV.
Hi, CTV.
Yeah, everybody,
Wait a
we need to
second.
welcome
Sorry.
CTV
Christ.
into the chat.
It's like
I wanna
talking
thank
to a
the
fucking
man
brick
so
wall,
much for
man.
coming back.
CTV,
CTV, how are you
Man, the
today,
myth,
sir?
the
Oh,
idiot.
look at
We
that.
missed
Everybody
you.
steal the show. Oh my God! What the?
All right. Jesus.
Who's this?
TV now.
Is
Yeah, the
everybody
guitars,
excited
just-
to hear my voice?
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Sing us a song, bro.
Smooth,
Sing us a
buttery
song.
tones.
There's just a very simple answer to this question, and it's just
The legend's back.
y'all gotta fucking practice and learn y'all power level first. If you want to do it after you've learned how to debate these people and you learned how to combat all they shit, fine, do it. I have no problem. It's like Stardust said earlier, when you have these little rinky-dink streamers trying to start up on their like 480p webcam and they don't know what the fuck they talking about, so they get creamed by some of these idiots who also don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I just think people need to know what they're talking about first before they try and platform and destroy other people's ideas. Like,
Well, whoever the
so
dumbass
hard.
was that said that there's concentration camps in the United States right now needs to justify that dumbass statement.
Yeah, I'd like to
I
hear
need
that.
to see that.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, that was some rhetoric ass shit
Come
right
on,
there.
Alex.
That shit that
Platform
Wiki-
rap.
I've been having serious
Come on,
issues
Alex.
concentrating these days. If we have
So you're
concentration
wrong.
camps, I'll be going to one.
Alec,
Okay.
you have something to say, Alec?
Tell us about the
that
Nazis
dude,
in
I-
America. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm
That
still
dude,
waiting for the dumbass to justify concentration camps in the United States.
Yeah,
And also,
Rick
let's
says-
let's also not
Rick
forget,
says-
right, that the fact that Germany was able to turn Nazi had very little to do with the fact that Adolf Hitler got elected. It had a hell of a lot more to do with how Germany was left after World War I at the Treaty of Versailles, right? So all of you motherfuckers out there that are talking about that dumb shit needs to go back and look at history.
No, that's not all you motherfuckers. That's just Alec right
Damn,
there. Who hasn't read it?
Then I don't know why you got a guilty conscience and you feel like I need to hear your fucking voice. You ain't say shit, then don't fucking say shit.
No, I'm protecting
all right.
everyone
I don't
else
need to
on
hear
this
your voice if
panel,
you
right
didn't
or
say it.
wrong.
Otherwise, you sound guilty of
Shut up,
censorship.
CTV. Shut the fuck
So,
up.
so
No,
Alex said-
CTV's right on this. Even comparing to Nazi Germany is so fucking stupid. It is the stupidest shit you can do. It's incomparable.
So yeah,
Holy
yeah, that's
shit.
what I agree with. Like Wick says, Wick say that people like Alex say stupid shit like all the time. That's like crazy conspiracy theory bullshit. Wasn't even true.
I'm sorry, Alexa,
let him,
why are you
let him
allowing
justify
Yamato
the.
talk?
Can we just let him
Oh, my
justify
bad.
the same
Sprout.
thing?
Hey, can we get Sprout in here? Can we get Sprout in here?
Yeah,
Wait,
wait,
so-
what
so-
the heck?
And saying that
Sprout just
the
got in.
didn't
What are you
know
talking
what
about?
was
Sprout just took over Alec Gunter's stream.
Alec back on.
So, Alec, can you just like explain what you meant by the Nazi or concentration camps in the U.S. right now?
I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. The United States is the greatest country on earth.
Okay, I know you want to do the meme thing, but like, can you just actually explain the statement because it was really weird?
Nah, brother, man. I'm telling you. Let me tell you something.
No, if you really
Let me tell you
believe, no, on a
something.
serious note, just real quick, on a
Kids
serious
in
note,
We gotta build that wall.
If you were
Gotta keep
really
them damn
believing-
immigrants
if you were really sure
out of our
that there's
goddamn
a
country.
concentration camp in America, I would absolutely want to know about. That's important.
I want to
because
visit. That
if
sounds
there's
cool.
an actual
Who's getting gas?
concentration camp in America, I want to know.
Hold on.
Kids
Concentration camps are not
cages
death
at
camps. Let's get that
border.
clear. It's not about gassing. All right,
but tell me
obviously
where the
they're talking about the
concentration
camps.
camp is,
They're talking about the camps at the border. It's a lame lefty talking point. They're
Okay,
talking
no,
about the
that's-
camps at the
that's
border.
retarded.
That's right. There ain't no camps at the border. Goddamn.
But like apparently they meet some of the
And if there
definitions
are,
of
it's
concentration
fine.
camps,
Does
and then
anyone have a
libs and
fly
lefties
swatter?
get away
Goddamn.
with it. Okay, that's what he's referring to.
Okay, that's dumb.
Learn dumb lefty talking
some
points. I
bug
know.
spray?
I know.
If there are
Yeah.
camps at the border, they was
Yeah,
asking
I don't have
for
to
it.
learn dumb lefty shit, right? Dumb lefty shit has to get an education in order for it to be able to have a conversation.
You want
with
to
me.
push back against the evil leftists, then you need to train.
You guys are letting him
rhetorically to-
explain. You're just chewing him out.
Yeah, by the way, I'm not advocating for that position. I just think that that's what he meant and is unable to defend it at all. So I'm
Does
trying
anyone have
it.
some
Fuck.
bug spray?
I don't know who this Alec Gunter is, but he sounds like a fucking communist.
Recognize that you're made that
Do we-
connection, smug bug.
Time and see
Do
if
we
you get
have
a
like
laugh
some
the third time.
speciesism going on in here or something?
True.
I heard something about exterminating somebody on the panel, and it came from the guy that was
I would
talking about
enjoy
camps.
a fly
Yeah.
swatter to be
Seems like the
lightly
pro-camps
waxed
guy.
towards that direction.
Seems like the
like
pro
this
camps
every
guy
time
is
also. Every
moving
time I
into the
talk
realm
Never
of
said camp,
ethno-states
who I want to
or
talk
species
to,
gates.
Never said
somebody
camp,
has to
bitch.
come chime in and remind me. Oh, Stardust, those are
Species
the people
states.
that would gas you. Those are the people that put you in a camp. Yeah, shut the fuck up. I don't give a fuck. Stop telling me I don't give a fuck. If I don't give a fuck, you don't give a fuck. Okay?
No king
Shut
shaming.
up. Seriously.
All right.
Haven't
It
heard
is.
enough from
It is
Stardust
such a
tonight.
tired
joining the
argument
party.
too. I get that one all the time, and I don't
Yeah,
even
it's so
platform
fucking
Nazis.
stupid. If I cared about it, I would have cared about it a long fucking time ago. I'm not afraid of people on the
Well,
internet.
you don't care, so I guess it doesn't matter.
That's my
If we
girl.
want to talk about
Stardust.
commonalities between Nazi Germany and America right now. One of the things that Smoker likes right now is the thing that's on the path. Imprisoning people for being political prisoners and creating a system, a machine of like moving bodies
fucking
around
talk.
that will then be taken over by the right, by the way, eventually, and then be used to people into the fucking camps that you're trying to get out of them. How about we just don't have states have fucking camps, have all of these machines of control over people?
Okay, before everyone jumps in, hold on, before everyone jumps in, I'll let you respond. That's what I
That's why I keep saying I don't
Wake
kink
up,
shame,
down,
okay?
sleep.
I get it.
So, sex pest,
Stardust is a mega
transphobe, and
bottom.
clout chaser, go.
No, you're
I thought
talking
you-
about
wait, I'm sorry.
Wait,
okay,
yeah,
wait,
Wick
am I
did
the
a shout out.
transphobe? It's Wick.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
there's
not
so many
Wick. I thought
transphobes
that
in
was
this
Wick.
panel.
I'm so sorry to everyone else. Just Wick.
Okay.
Trinity.
So first of all,
could be
fuck
any of
you,
us.
Queen Alexa. Just straight out the gate.
Queen
fuck
Laura,
you.
Stardust
You will
is
have a
fucking
discussion later. You've
cringe.
done
But
some
on top of
horrific
being
shit.
cringe, she's
Yeah, I
incredibly
have. You're not
annoying.
gonna fucking stop me, you
Second of all-
fucking toothless
I don't know who
retard.
she
Second of
appeals
all-
to.
Wow.
What the
Second of all, the biggest problem, just before I
Wow,
go, and
that
I'll
was-
keep this as concise as possible. The the biggest problem we have in America right now is called reciprocal
Oh my god, he has the same fucking
where both
mugs that I
Are
do!
trying to paint each other as extremists.
No!
dangerous, and there's a reason, right?
I'm literally CTV,
The
fuck!
right is trying to paint trans issues as all groomers, and they're coming for your kids.
This is
because
impossible.
There are things that are justifiable to do.
Dude, he's
against
literally
people who
also
are
drinking
trying
Mountain Dew.
to
Fuck
groom
my
your
life.
kids that wouldn't be justifiable to do against just people who are thinking differently.
You know
It's
what
the
she
same
is?
reason
She's
the left
neutered
is
Candace
talking about
Owens, is what she
genocide
is.
right now, because there are things that is acceptable to do when you are under a genocide that it is not acceptable to do in any other situation. It's this push towards violence, and we're seeing it play out with people attacking Pelosi's husband, with people attacking the North Carolina Republican senator, shooting into his home. These things are happening over and over again, and this is the issue. So we need to moderate. We need to moderate. That's all. I have to go.
The sex pest makes a lot of
TV
sense.
death of certainty.
Wick, I got a question for you. Wick,
I agree with the sex pest.
Motherfucker, I had a question for Wick. This is some bullshit. Look, hold on.
Death of certainty.
Wasn't
Thank you
the,
for
Oh, should I
being here,
grab my
Wick.
mug and pour some Mountain Dew?
At fucking Pelosi's house, wasn't it?
Dude, how
broken
fucking
outwards,
funny
not
would it
inwards?
be?
Okay, this doesn't matter. All right,
No, we're not-
so
we're not
there were
doing
some
that.
claims. Hold on, there were some claims
Yeah.
about non-smoker. Now he gets the response. Non-smoker, go.
I should, dude, I should do it.
All right.
I should fucking do
Finally.
it.
It's my
Wait, are we
moment.
really letting the commie speak?
Oh, shut the fuck
I'm
up.
sorry.
Listen,
this is an
so-
American panel. We don't allow
Wow.
commies to speak on here.
Listen, let discount Bo the fifth
Sonia,
talk.
why don't you get
Wait,
some
what
like
if he's the Winter
Oreos
Soldier?
or Nazis?
You guys have been talking
about
over Pokemon black
they are to
people
try to rehabilitate them.
in
I love how Dylan's just sitting
That's
here.
totally what happened.
Pokemon people. Hell
Do you ever notice how, like, with Stardust, every single argument just amounts to she just wants people to like her, so therefore it should be okay for her to talk to them?
Listen, some of
And
us
you
will
notice
True.
with
Like
Tuna Chip,
me, homie. If I
how
needed
everything
people to
just
like me, I
boils
wouldn't be
down
doing
to
what I'm
like,
doing.
oh, we need to like break down and like he wants to do some
Listen.
sort of anarcho bullshit state where everything will go to shit and people.
Listen,
get
I don't
raped,
agree
like,
with
in public and
non-smoker
stuff
on
like that.
everything,
Like,
but
sounds like a great system, bro. I'm sure it'll work out fine.
Sorry, are you
pretty
just to be
based.
clear again, I only
Holy shit.
advocated
Are you
for
gonna get
Nazis
fucking
to
rhetoric
be
with
thrown in
that?
jail.
Stop them, though.
Okay, I
The
take
only
it back.
person in the
You're a
panel,
Nazi.
the only person in the
I'm a
panel
Nazi
who should be
now.
thrown in
This
jail is
commie
Doobie.
garbage
The
being
only person who should be
platformed
thrown
by
in
the
jail
political
is
shit show.
Doobie.
I'd rather not.
I will
anyways.
not stand for this commie garbage.
To be honest, I've been doing a little
Anti-American
drinky.
sentiment is not
I've been
going
doing.
to be
I've been trying to keep it
tolerated. Not while
on the
I'm
down
this
low.
panel.
It's the best thing you can do for Nazis.
I've been trying to keep it on the down low, but I am doing a little drinky. So
But no, for real, the only person who should go to jail is
Got a
Smug
non-smoking
Bug and
patch.
Doobie.
Dude, I'm gonna
Smug
put you
Bug
in.
and Doobie.
Yeah, advocate
Your
for
mom's
sending brown
in
people
a
to
jail
jail.
right now. She's in a fucking cage.
Yeah, Tina,
in
this
my
is
basement,
messed
okay?
up. It's really
Because
bad.
she likes it. All right.
Why
I never
is Smug
said
Bug and
anything.
Doobie going to
I
jail?
never said.
Keep your
anything about
fetishes to
any people
yourself,
like it.
degenerate.
I'm safe.
Free the bomb.
I think
I
Dylan's
came
been
up with
raising
that.
his hand
That was
for
me.
Non-smoker
I said no
clearly
king
didn't
shaming.
have a mom. Okay, Stardust, be chill. Come on.
Yeah, go ahead,
What
Dylan.
were you saying?
So I wanted to talk about the fact that I think we're all.
Oh,
we're
no,
really
no
focusing
offense
on the
taken. Oh, yes,
Nazi
it's
angle of
terrible.
This, but I wanted to throw something out there that a
Dylan.
lot of people on our platform talk about issues that they probably shouldn't be talking about. That happens a lot. It's just because of like just a lack of information, and then they throw themselves into high profile like debates. Really, I think equipped more with rhetorical tools than information about the topics that we're discussing.
They
And
watch
this
their
is only
favorite
natural.
streamer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's only natural
True.
that if your community expects you to respond to every major news segment, and then you're the only authority that's going to be speaking, you're going to have to, if you're going to treat this like you're the genius debate bro, like you're an expert on COVID, now you're an expert on foreign policy, now you're an expert on economics, and somehow you're an expert. Just magically, we're all experts on everything. So I think honestly, what would be better is if maybe people, I think, concentrated more on like focusing on like a few issues particularly, and then bringing other people who know more about those issues on.
No, to be honest,
Dylan,
like,
Dylan,
to be honest,
Dylan,
when it comes to
Dylan, I hear you.
When it comes to the,
I hear you.
When it comes to the, when it comes to the
And they're
actual
learning
topic
along
of,
the way.
Hey, youngsters.
Dylan, I hear you, but you're straw manning.
Listen, youngsters. You're not
What do you mean I'm
youngsters.
straw manning? How am I
Youngsters.
straw
We
manning?
need to hear from the CTV.
I'm just fucking
Let's
with
hear
you.
from CTV.
Listen,
I want to hear
listen.
CTV.
Now, you youngsters need to get a little bit better mic control, especially y'all in the bottom left-hand corner. Okay. Now, there was a whole bunch of noise I just heard, and I damn sure didn't hear it. I heard what Dylan said, and then it sounded like
That's the shit show.
Yeah, shit show, right?
Yeah,
so
on the wrong show, bro.
let's try to clean it up a little bit. That way, people can hear what's going on. Because frankly, what ends up happening, right, is the people that know the least end up running their mouth the most, right? So
Stardust.
I just want to call out that I really appreciate CTV calling me a youngster.
Yeah, true.
I think like when it comes to the actual topic of like deplatforming versus platforming, I'm just like, I tend more towards not platforming these people because it seems like if we actually cared about like bringing these nerds out and whatnot, like we can do that off platform. We know there's motherfuckers out there like
True.
what's the
Oh,
dude's name,
sorry.
like Daryl Dixon or whatever, who goes out there
Daryl
and he reform
Davis.
Daryl Davis, thank you. He reforms like
Thought I was
actual
muted.
KKK members, and I think like yeah, he doesn't do that in front of a camera all the time. It can be done off platform, and I think like Dylan hit on the point that I was trying to hit on excellently when it's like yeah, a lot of
Destiny
the
is in
people when we
fact a
talk
girl's
about our
name.
communities reflecting this shit and the little streamers that start out of it, it's just people who've just been watching Vosh or Destiny or whatever their favorite streamer are, thinking they can win, regurging the same points when they don't realize that these people who got beat by those motherfuckers have their community that they go back and they ruminate on and they switch it up a little bit. I think that's where the danger of platforming comes in from. Like everyone thinks they knows what's best. Everyone thinks they know how to do it. Everyone thinks they have the infinity gauntlet to snap away fascism and the end of history is gonna, but no one fucking does. I think when we do these things and we make these attempts, because they need to be made, these people need to be humanized, we should probably do it off platform. So if we do make the mistake of looking like a fucking clown, it's not broadcast to like thousands of people, and then we get the Klimp chimps in here who are like, oh, look at Dylan Burns, he made it funny. Look at Zonia, she said something stupid. Because it always happens.
I
It
think you
always
just need to
happens,
start
and I see you
approaching
on
the
Twitch.
situation
How
with
many
fear.
how many KKK members did that guy actually convert? Because he spent a lifetime doing it, and I feel like that's a pretty poor use of time compared
Good
to
point.
like disseminating that
Well,
rhetoric. No,
convert is
seriously,
a strong
you would-
word, but they're certainly
No, that
there.
is a good point.
I mean, you.
So
I've only,
this is-
I've only talked to him
I
like
mean,
I've only talked to him like
I would
once.
say-
Life, man's life,
So,
work,
Pyro-
wasting
Jimmy's
time.
like
Hold on, hold on.
like
Yeah.
multiple times.
While that's great, it's the difference between like having a being able to
Yeah.
How
disseminate
much do you
information
want an
widely.
individual to be?
I love
So
shitting
I
on
really
Vosh.
like
We're
Pyro's
talking about
point.
I love
platforming.
Vosh and
This
I love
guy's not
shitting on
platforming.
Vosh. It's the
Great,
best.
he's
Yes,
doing
I said
individual
it
work
in
and
my answer. I don't really lean towards platforming because I think what we're actually trying to do would be better
Ow.
if we don't platform. I literally said that in my opening.
Yeah, I
Open your
think-
ears, bro.
I think you're
So
approaching the
this is
situation
where
with
I
too much
think-
fear.
That is a perk topic. okay?
So this is where I think that you kind of need to just be realistic about what you're doing. Like when you're doing these things, if you're trying to de-radicalize people, you're probably not going to de-radicalize a lot of people. So you need to assume that first and foremost, and that probably shouldn't
none.
be like that shouldn't be your expectation either, because it's probably not going to be very successful. I like if I'm intentionally wanting to de-radicalize people, I am doing that on the DL. I'm not doing that in front of an audience. And I think that's an important thing to understand, is like when I do it on the DL, that's when I'm intentionally trying to de-radicalize somebody. But what, like, as Stardust brought up here, which I think is a perfectly good example, is like giving sort of that bridge of empathy and that human connection to sort of push back against false narratives about people, false narratives about people of like Indian descent, like herself, people of color, false narratives about trans people, etc. So I make myself available to be in spaces that normally may find that, people like us to be, they may have false narratives about us, find us to be detestable, think that there's something wrong with us. But the more they see us and engage with us and realize that we're just like them and struggle with a lot of the same things, they start realizing that, oh shit, all the things that I thought about these people are not actually true. It comes into question and it clashes with reality.
Can I
And
ask a
so
quick
that's
question?
what you get with that kind of
Can I ask a
engagement.
quick
But you
question,
need to
Zonia?
humanize them off platform, right?
That's exactly my question. Does that need to be on the platform? Because everything you just described, I can do the exact same thing by inviting someone who might be a little bit fashy, who might be a little bit yikes, into communities that I know, we share common interests. I've done it multiple times. I know people who are into nerdy shit like Godzilla, mech animes, Doctor Who, spacey wacy shit. And you know what? Inviting them into communities where we're not going to strictly talk about politics, but these people, these marginalized groups that they don't like are present, and you're either going to vibe with people who might be interested in hearing what you have to say on your interests, or you're going to get the fuck out.
Right.
And a lot of times, like,
What if you're
hold on, I wasn't even finished. A lot of the
It's about the
a lot of the times, because I was not finished, a lot of the times you do get a slip up once or twice, and if you're actually empathetic, you got to be like, no, you can't. You got to explain it to them a couple of times. And after a little bit, they start to get it. I don't think that needs to be on a platform with the audience, because I don't think that sets the best foot forward. These Twitch audiences aren't necessarily the best foot forward when they hear these ideas and then they get so rabid mouthed.
It's hard to break into those spaces without somehow finding a way to like bridge with those spaces. So unless you're like, as a streamer, your bridge is all the other streamers you interact with and all the other media personalities you interact with. So it's a little bit different as a streamer. That's going to be your access into those communities and spaces. As like someone like myself, who's sort of like 50-50 streamer and Discord person, right? I'm able to do a lot more of that on the back end, on the DL, right? Because I'm integrated in a lot of those communities behind the scenes. But I come from something completely different. If you're not that, there's no way you're going to break into that out of nowhere. So a streamer has to use what their platform or their mechanism or access into these communities is.
So
I'd argue
speaking
that like benefit. Go ahead.
Sorry. So speaking as a former conservative again, and I don't mean it bull, but I do think there's some truth to that, where we do have to give people an avenue into our space. And I have talked about this. I think that I think that leftists, a lot of leftists, often, what's the word I want to use? They demonize people like incels. It's a really popular one right now, to the point that like they just have no entry point, right? And I talked about this the other night, and I just uploaded a video about it. Casual shill. But I think it's a really tough line to toe, because I compared it to zombies, right? Because if you are with your compadres behind like sealed off wooden doors, and you are shooting at these full-on zombies, and you see somebody out there who's been bitten by one, and he's about to like become a zombie, but you have the antidote with you, I would rather pull them in and give them the antidote than just let them succumb and become another zombie that we have to get rid of, right?
Who is this person that you're pulling in? Because
we're talking about fence sitters here, right? So that's
okay, that's a great question.
Somebody like really, really significant.
That's a great question.
In their head, send them on to the great beyond. Hold on to the antidote for myself. Are you fucking shitting me?
That's a great question. I think what we're talking about, this is a comparison. You know, there's unlimited antidote because it's just rhetoric. But
if
I
it's
think
unlimited, then why did this motherfucker not have one on him?
Listen.
My God, because
I understand where you're coming from. I'm trying to make a comparison. What my point is I'm a former conservative. The way that I became a leftist is through exposure to a leftist space, to people mostly people who are queer, to be frank.
Same thing happens with herpes, bro. Just saying.
Huh?
Jesus.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. What?
The same thing happens with herpes.
Fair enough, I guess. But I think this is ultimately a good thing. So, unlike herpes, but I guess we do have to have an entry point for these people. I agree. But there's a point where like people reach a point where it's like almost irredeemable. Take my dad, for example. Like he mainlines Fox News. So like I don't know how I can reach him. At this point, I've tried, and it's just impossible. He always like defaults back to something like, oh, you're just this liberal, you don't know what you're talking about. I can't reach him. So like I've kind of given up. But I still can, with my platform, my tiny, tiny platform, which is slowly growing, reach some people. So I'm fine with having people in my community who are less than woke, I guess, less woke than I am, and converting them. But there's a point where it's like damaging to my community, right? Where it's damaging to other people. And that's the point where I draw the line.
The economy.
Huh?
Yeah. Like the economy is what should be being talked about in political space.
That's fair.
With opening statements, I talked a lot about economic disenfranchisement being a major contributing factor.
No, that's true, and I do agree with that.
I'm talking about like right now, prices at the pump, right? Prices on everything going up. The shit's about to crash. Right, but nobody wants to talk about it.
Thanks, Joe Biden. You did that.
Get Nick Fuentes on my panel so that we can lower the gas prices at the pump, please.
I have a serious question for CTV. CTV, how many of those Joe Biden I did that stickers did you place? That's really important.
Let's see. I haven't had time to worry about anything related to.
You're not doing your part.
That we have. No.
Oh man, that's cringe.
What a poser! Literally just online reaping the benefits and doing nothing on the ground. No real.
Reaping the benefits.
I bet he's a demon rat.
Hold on. Dylan, this motherfucker just said reaping the benefits.
Yeah, when was the last time you platformed Nick Fuentes?
I just want to know what
Did you call
benefits it is you think I'm getting.
Hey, CTV, the
was a
respect
good one.
of
I'm proud
everyone
of
on this
that.
panel, okay? We were also happy to see you come back.
I
That's it. That's all you get.
enjoyed when you
Take
had
that to the bank.
Suspect Sushi on. I enjoyed that conversation with him.
Wait,
Oh,
can we
fuck,
just
yeah.
get? So Dylan asked a question a while back that I don't think was answered. So Alec, Dylan kind of laid out what he thinks that the main issue is, right? It's that people are speaking about things that they don't actually know about, and they should stop doing that. You said that was a straw man. So how is that a straw man?
Oh, I was literally fucking with him. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, so
he was saying people use rhetorical strategies. So I was like, that's a straw man, actually.
No. It's just no. He said that. That was my point. People talk way
I'm
too
sorry.
much about shit they don't really know about, and it happens way too much, especially when we get on big panels like these, where just like chatters can hop in, and it's like, yikes.
Okay,
And the
I
thing
got
is- the
something,
thing-
I
the
got
thing
something I
is
want
with-
to say right quick. It's on topic. and
Okay,
then Dylan-
CTV.
Then Dylan, you got it, bro. If you guys are actually trying to reach somebody, right, and you think that you may be detecting some type of fascist behavior or whatever, and you're like, oh, they're a possible Nazi, right? The worst thing that you can do, right, is to go in with some kind of intention that you're going to change that person's mind. What you actually need to do is ask questions and listen. And then don't retort, ask more questions. Ask questions, ask fucking questions, ask fucking questions. Don't do fuck all else. Right? And the
Yeah.
reason why is you let that person,
Understanding.
through the answering of their own questions, start to figure out how their own fucking logic works. Just ask questions. You go in there trying to change somebody's mind, you're going to get the big old finger every fucking time. Ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
that's-
do think
that's
it's fair though to
actually-
say that there is like a danger associated with having these people like me, for example, on these platforms. Because I think that there is a certain number of people.
You're right. You are a fascist.
that are just like not very intelligent, not very let's go to critical thinking.
Hi.
Hell
And
yeah.
if you introduce them to somebody who is very good at dragging people along, leading them down a certain line of reasoning to like their
I'm having
end goal,
fun,
which
guys.
could be something like fasci or whatever the fuck. These people are, going in thinking that they're really intelligent, they know what the fuck they're doing. They're gonna stumble right into it and end up with some like fasci adjacent ideas. Right? I think there are a few of them on this panel that I could do that to pretty easily, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
so
he
I
did
can
it with
understand-
me. That's why I've gone full
Yeah,
fash
exactly.
these days.
I hang out with Zoni all the time, and
You don't mean me,
is
right?
goose-stepping every day now.
You don't mean
So
me, right?
I think that I do mean you. So I do think that I think there is some
I'm
danger
offended
associated with
and
it. I think it's fair to
Like, we're
acknowledge
all the
that.
same to
but I
them,
think
bro.
that maybe we shouldn't be saying, hey, you shouldn't platform these people. What you should be saying is, hey, maybe you, the people who aren't equipped to have these conversations, just shouldn't be engaging in the conversation.
How do we gatekeep
Just
this? 'Cause
stay out-
everyone
just
thinks
stay
that they're
out until you're-
competent.
Yeah, that's the
Listen,
problem. Everyone thinks
everyone
they're
thinks
a fucking genius.
I'm
Everyone
so
thinks they're
well equipped.
No, because like
Everyone
because
thinks
I
they're
said
genius.
I said earlier on that I won't platform Nazis.
I'm so well
right?
equipped
So-
that my carry
Everyone-
weight is
everyone
reaching
except
max
for Zonia.
capacity.
I think there are plenty of people who are aware of the limitation. That's why there's even people who push back on platforming Nazis in the first place, right? They think that it is a.
Also, I
they
found out
think that
Dylan
it's a
Burns is
lost
not
cause,
live, and I'm very
effectively, or too
disappointed.
dangerous. So I think there are plenty of people who disagree. I think there are plenty of people who overestimate their
Oh,
abilities.
wait, no, maybe he is. Hold on.
But,
Yeah, but I think you need to. I think before you get on a platform and try this out in front of an audience, do it in a Discord server, right? Do it in a one-on-one call or something. You can come onto my beautiful Discord server, which has lots of fascists, who will be more than willing to speak to you about anything.
Fat Rolling's OP.
Fantastic sponsorship. Very good.
Dylan, what was it you were saying,
Doobie's
buddy?
right, though. Doobie is right.
No,
that-
he is
that
right. He is right.
Hey,
Yeah.
Dylan, you were
Let's
saying
hear from
something.
Dylan.
You were, yeah.
My favorite lib.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what
I
I was
like
gonna say.
Dylan.
I
He's
think
nice.
I was going to say
He's
something
cool.
along the
He's
lines
nice.
of.
He's a nice
So
guy.
it seems to be a lot of disagreement here, but the main thing we're talking about here is Nazis. Can I ask, why do we just apply this standard to Nazis and we're just talking about it when it comes to Nazis? Because it feels like there's a lot of other dangerous, disgusting ideologies that are also really, really bad that probably should, if we're going to hold it to the standard, if we're getting rid of the bad people who can cause a lot of harm, why are we not getting rid of a lot of other people as well?
You're wrong. There's good people and there's Nazis and nothing in between.
Well, hold on. I think non-smoker should be dunked. I think that if you advocate for
See?
genocides, you should be dunked.
You guys,
I think, yeah,
all
like, absolutely. I think we should apply these
every single one of you
consistently.
motherfuckers. Deep
One
down.
of
Not a left
One of
or
my-
right thing.
You just
The
wanted to
right is more
decide who to
effective than
deplatform.
One of
My
my
question
viewers
is,
said-
Welcome
one
to
of my viewers just said
Harumba.
Jimmy
We're in the
Dore.
middle of a fucking debate.
Yeah.
My question is, though, what should the standard
Gotta
Just
love
as
that email.
authoritarian as I am.
Well,
Deep down.
I mean, on
that's-
Twitch
I was
we already
asking a
have a fair
question
bit of a
already.
standard, right? If you're advocating for genocide, for example, we've seen people big and small
Nobody
get dunked
is
off
advocating
of
for
Twitch.
that, other than the people you're
I
defending.
didn't say you weren't. Well,
Okay,
okay,
so
well,
Smug,
then
I'll give you
very
an example.
defensive here.
Popular.
for some
Wait,
reason.
non-smoker.
Rubber.
I don't know why you're so defensive at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
y'all need to
it's
leave
real.
Bo the sixth column alone,
He's
okay?
been-
Don't
he's
put
been-
y'all in a
He's
gulag.
been walking backwards
Insisting
out
that
of the
it's a
concentration
concentration
camp in
camp.
the
A
last 2
little
hours.
bit of a self-report
What?
going
Because
on
I
here.
called
Yeah,
him
holy
delusional
fuck.
earlier. And
Well,
then
okay,
I-
all right.
Dylan,
Yeah.
non-smoker, I love this
All
regime.
right, this is
Saying
why
retards
this is why I
behind
was saying
avatars
earlier that
trying
what
to
we need to
insist that it's in
do.
concentration camps.
Well,
Yeah,
this
you
is all
just
what,
said
why I
that
was
we
saying
should be put in
earlier
jail
that we should
and
be.
forced to do labor for the
Holy
rest
shit,
of our lives.
bro.
That's what you said.
I
Let's
think you should be
leave
put in
off
jail.
of non-smoker.
Just you.
When
The
is
dude is an
authoritarianism
anti-American
Rubber,
commie.
rubber,
You can
rubber.
ignore him.
Smoker.
So
Smoker, you do focus.
This
Yeah,
is
let
why
the person in
earlier.
the cat ears be rational
is-
and explain to everybody what
So,
we should do.
yeah.
Bruh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
discrimination
You-
against cat
you-
people.
Whoa,
you
is this
focus
free
so much
discrimination
on the
here?
identity angle. You focus so much
okay.
on the calling them
Yes.
Nazis.
Low blow,
Yes.
low blow.
You
Thank
erase
you,
the
Tuna
fact that
Chip.
you're supporting using the state of exception to like fucking put
You
people into
believe in
camps.
nothing. You're like a
Thank
subjective
you, Tuna
nihilist.
Chip. Thank you. So this is why I was saying earlier that I think also like using the ambiguity of certain labels doesn't actually
I'm having
help.
fun.
And if we can nail down, like if we describe individual like ideological problems in the ideological framework that we want to push back against, we're going to be way more effective instead of this ambiguity of like we don't want to platform Nazis.
What is your ideological definition of a Nazi then? Instead of insisting everybody else have one,
so
what is yours?
So I don't actually refer to people as Nazis. What I do is I say, big fan of ethno-nationalism.
So you just
Let's
use
talk about the
academic
issues with
jargon.
ethno-states.
So you just use jargon.
No, I actually address. I address individual ideological. I address individual ideological issues. So, Nazi is such an ambiguous term
what
these
is a
days
Nazi?
applied to so many people. Well, exactly. I would never call somebody a Nazi. Why?
So they don't exist.
Guys, that was completely my fault. I had Dylan Burns' tab open and I forgot to close it. So that was his intro. My bad.
In like I
was like, what
or
the
who's
fuck?
engaging in Holocaust denial, or making excuses for that, or talking about throwing people into work camps.
When I come back to the
Those are
shit
the
show,
issues that I would address
baby.
head on. I wouldn't go and just say Nazi.
No fucking shit show
that we've thrown at little everybody. There's half a dozen, streamers on this platform who refer to Destiny as being a quote unquote Nazi.
He's too
so,
short.
and if he's way too short to be a Nazi, way too short. He would have been in the camp.
We've had people on this panel calling us Nazis.
So
Those
push
boots
back.
have lifts, okay?
So
There were Jewish
identify
Nazis,
the
just saying.
identify the ideological problems and address those.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
You're
just leaning
assuming
on
that
an
these
ambiguous
people have
crutch.
highly developed ideological beliefs and they're not just total reactionary.
I think we're assuming that you don't.
nihilists who
No,
don't
this is
believe
why
in
you're
anything.
actually afraid of
It
engaging
sounds
with them.
it sounds like you
it-
have a very unsophisticated take in general. Like you
I
have an
think
unsophisticated view of the world.
far-right
I
wingers
would've-
do not believe in your academic jargon.
Wait, time out.
What academic jargon? What academic jargon? I haven't used that.
As soon as you say
Just hear
ethno
non-smokers'
anything,
definition,
most
please.
people are like, shut the fuck
Non-smoker,
up.
what's a Nazi?
Wait,
I
okay,
know
what?
Exactly what
I have a
I think
feeling you
the
don't.
reality here is that the communist or the guy with the red hat, non-smoker, right? That's his name.
Yep.
Non-smoker, right? Just committed a hubris, right? You're making
True.
negative assumptions about people, and that's going to ultimately make you lose any type of confrontation that you ever have with them,
Everybody
because you're
does that,
assuming-
That's right.
No, not
Everybody
everybody.
does that.
No,
Yes,
not
it's
everybody
literally
fucking
just
does it. You
human-
don't get to tell
That's
me how I
human
fucking think,
interaction.
non-smoker. You
It's
don't get to
human-
tell me how I
human
fucking think.
interaction.
You don't get to tell me how I do
It's
it.
human
You don't get to tell me how I do it.
interaction.
You don't get to
Human
tell me how I do it. You don't get to tell me how I do
Human
it.
interaction.
You don't
I
get to tell me
can't
how I do it,
interact.
motherfucker.
ZTV.
You don't get to tell me how I do it.
Get him!
Everybody else is fucking
Human
rude.
interaction.
What is
You got
women?
that?
Just put that in
You
your
got
mouth.
that? You got that? Non-smoker, you got that?
No,
You
I
don't get
can
to make
hear
that
the
assumption
fog
about
of the
everybody.
ladybug.
That's right.
You don't get to make that assumption, and that's the problem. Is that
Non-smoker.
you're
Dude, I didn't
trying
hear
to
the
put that
fucking
on,
thing you said.
and that's the
Start again.
hubris.
What's a Nazi?
That's the hubris
Build
of
that
the
wall.
fucking thought.
That's
right
right.
Wait,
What's a
I see
Nazi?
what
You
the,
just
I
needed a
no,
reason
no,
to say
time out.
hubris.
I see what the problem is.
non-smoker, you need to put your hat back on because the lights are.
I learned that word last
constantly
week.
from the scalp. Like,
Dude, you
I
need to
just-
go off
the
the
way
panel
he
because
thinks
you haven't said a
Nazi is,
single
please.
like intelligible
Non-
thing since you've been on this.
Smoke, I'm engaging you. I need to learn from
Like,
you.
just been around.
I'm loving
throwing
non-smoker
people
Please,
saying
I'm
that.
looking you.
and shit,
Dude,
bro.
everything you say sounds
I
like
need you to
wonder
explain to
woman.
me.
Smoker,
Like,
before
it's
you
scrambled
explain,
egg.
before
I'm
you
go to bed.
explain what a
Brain,
Nazi
bro.
actually is, are you and CTV aware that through your proximity to your microphones, you've basically just kissed like 80 times in a row?
Bro.
Oh, you
Love
just
the
sound
bromance.
jealous now.
Okay,
That's
can
all
I
I
just
heard.
okay?
He
Can I
is.
just,
If you want to kiss me, ask
seen
me
Chris's
privately, okay?
stream.
Send a
Alright.
DM.
Smoker, what's a Nazi? Please, what's a Nazi, Smoker? Since you're
Well, it's
very,
much like
you
the
seem
question, what is a juggalo, right? There's many different answers to that, all of which could apply at any given
Which
time.
one do you throw in the camp?
This is not a fucking answer to the
Wait, time
question.
out. Time out.
I love it.
You literally just got on Zone. You're for like throwing around like academic
It's
jargon.
incredible.
Wait, and then you can't even think of a fucking word, my dude. What's like a juggalo? It
I
means
just literally
I run
explained their
into
you are a fucking
ideology.
joke, bro.
Well, just let me explain.
He
You're a
has an
joke
answer.
to yourself.
And I actually
You're a
explained
joke
their
to yourself.
ideology.
Okay.
That's his
I see
that's
MAGA
his
hats. I
prepared
see MAGA
answer.
flags.
That's
I
his
see,
prepared
I
answer.
see
Was there like a
conservative
juggalo?
You see
people
MAGA flags?
advocating
flags,
for
I see
Wait.
authoritarian
MAGA
overthrow of
chuds,
the
I see
government.
them
Wait,
all.
what do
I'm not
MAGA
gonna
flags
call
have
them
to
a
do
Nazi.
with
see
Nazis?
all
Yeah, what do
sorts
MAGA
of,
flags have to do with
Wait,
that?
wait. Okay, hang on.
Is
Let me
that
nail this
Nazi?
down for you.
Nazis are
Non-smoker,
debating.
non-smoker.
Sure.
Stop
Holy fuck.
just grouping people as Nazis. Describe what a Nazi is.
Anybody who
like-
advocates for the authoritarian overthrow of our democratically elected government for the sole purpose of having an Okay, well, I'm trying to answer your
people
question.
The end of this
Yeah,
that is
definition,
not-
I want to hear it.
See, this is
Uh,
the
Finish
problem with this.
Non-smoker, I got a question
You're
for
legit
you.
not letting me answer.
Finish it.
What is
Finish it.
Okay, so it would be anyone who advocates for the authoritarian overthrow of our government for the purpose of establishing an ethnically pure nation state, one in which America is explicitly defined as a homeland for white people or people of European origin. And they look at groups like African Americans, Latinos, Asians as separate nations who should have separate borders.
Real quick question.
All this academic jargon
What
is
if-
never going to
Just
get
a
you
second,
anywhere.
just a second.
No,
Just
time
a
out. What
second.
if they're
Just to
all- what if
respond to
they're
that.
all of
Just to
that, but
respond.
they
Wait a minute. Just to respond to that, the majority of the people that you have a problem with us talking to do not fit into that category. Just so you know.
True.
But you're
So
fine
first
with
of
them.
all,
And
What do you
and
say
some of
you
the
call
people
it
and
all
the
of
people
that
you were
is
labeling,
like
you were
the
saying MAGA
exclusion
flags
of
and
I just
stuff.
think it's funny that the whitest motherfucker on the panel is the one that's
True.
saying that, and it's completely false. I think that's hilarious.
Non-smoker.
Yeah, majority
no,
of the people that
what's-
I talk to do not
what's the
fall into that
second
category,
word?
So congratulations.
What's the second word? A National Socialist non-smoker. Excuse you.
that's the games they play, man.
That's
You're joking,
right.
but that's what they do.
Goddamn
Alex,
socialists.
you disconnect. No,
You
Alex.
literally define
disconnect from
something
this
that
man.
is
Alex,
like
I'm
I
begging you,
talked
be
to
your own
somebody who
man.
falls under that
Don't fall
category
into it.
one time, maybe one time.
Jesus. Alex,
Like
So
David
you're just
Duke would
admitting
fall
that
under
you've
that
never
category.
talked to far-right people then.
No,
Why
I
would
do
you
talk to
unite
far
the
right people,
entire
but they
panel
don't fall
against you?
under that
I have a
category that you're
feeling,
talking about.
non-smoker. I have a feeling you do not actually talk to far right people.
Yo,
Yeah,
you
They're
that
like a
doesn't
caricature.
sound like
Yeah,
you.
he
Biggest
does.
You
hubris.
united
that's
this entire
hubris.
panel against
That's
you, bro.
hubris.
That's
I'm
That's
amazing.
far-right
told
people.
from
That's
CTV.
hubris.
Yeah, you see how
People
people
who
That's
agree
negative
with him at
hubris,
the far
no?
right.
A
Okay,
negative
it-
he's a
assumption.
trendsetter.
Is okay. So here's the thing.
saw that,
You
Zoni,
approach.
right?
You
Zoni, you saw
approach
that,
it.
right?
Yeah, I did.
CTV's a trendsetter. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are a trendsetter. So the way you approach it, though, you approach it like the right is a caricature, and you make
Yes.
broad generalizations.
You pretty much
So-
do what they do to me.
You do actually, yeah.
Yep.
So that
Yeah.
tells me that you don't actually have much engagement with the right wing at all, let alone the far right. It tells me that you don't know much about them.
Famously, leftists do
no,
not
I would
react to
just say
Tucker
it's more
Carlson.
hubris.
He actually
Well,
does.
I
serve
know
a
it when I
left
see
and
it.
right
Like the
function.
Supreme Court decision on porn. I know it when I see it.
Okay, so I just want to
Someone
think
say
it's really
porn?
Very
ironic.
simplistic.
I think
So he'll
it's
kill-
really
he kills
ironic
them when he
that
sees them.
you have made such a hyper specific definition that so you either do there's one of two things that I see leftists do, right? They either make a super broad generalization definition so that anybody under the sun could fall under the category Nazi, or they make a hyper specific one that literally nobody I talk to falls under.
You just
Here's
don't
the
talk
thing,
to Nazis.
Okay, hold on.
Can we just point out that
She talks to Nick Fuentes,
Yeah,
so
your
that's one
definition
thing.
of Nazi, you have no fucking problem then with the people that I talk to, I guess.
Stardust, how do you define a Nazi?
Nazi is a very specific term for people in Germany from a specific time period. So I
They
think
must be
it's super
German.
fucking reductive. I think that it's super fucking reductive to be even comparing people today to Nazis. Use more correct terms. Use things like people
It's so
who-
reductive to say that Nazis aren't German. You idiot. They're not in Germany.
No,
They're not
it's
currently
reductive- it's
physically in
reductive
Germany.
to
Excuse
talk
you?
about people with a
A
specific
madman just
political
appeared in the corner.
ideology
Sorry.
from a specific time period in history from a specific country.
What's a
I'm
neo-Nazi?
sorry, if you want to talk about people today, you can talk about Whig
What's a
Nazis,
neo-Nazi?
Can we just move to?
you can talk about.
Can we move to
you can talk
neo-Nazi?
about, white
Can we move to
supremacists.
neo-Nazi?
They're-
Stardust,
sorry?
you got the dub. Can we move? You got the dub. Can we move to neo-Nazi?
Sure. Yeah.
Great. Okay. I think that term is more relevant in the modern day, and most people I think who use Nazi in the modern day are probably referring to neo-Nazi anyway, right? So like,
Yeah, but what the fuck does neo-Nazi?
Yeah, what
mean?
is a neo-Nazi? What do neo-Nazis
neo-Nazi?
believe these days?
It's many
There's
attributes,
white
right?
supremacists, there's Whig Nats, there's Christian nationalists, there's white nationalists, there's Civ
Did you say
nationalists.
Wood Nats?
Guys, dude, yes, Whig Nats, yes.
Yeah, it's tough. I
Like
agree.
the bugs?
No, you don't know
What?
the different
How
categories.
do you not know?
No, I don't know the
these groups,
35
man.
different categories you have.
and
for
you
the same
can
fucking thing.
go
And you're telling me
beyond that
I'm
as,
unequipped for these
and you can go
conversations.
beyond that too. You can go to like Hindu nationalists in other countries, right?
Got 'em.
So what people need to be able to define what the problems are. When you're leaning on these very ambiguous, vague labels, it just becomes a crutch and you become inspecific. You end up lumping in people who don't actually believe in those things, and it ends up being misapplied to people. It just becomes a useless label after a while. So describe the individual
Identify the
ideological,
danger.
the individual, identify the
danger,
harm,
right?
identify the issues.
Yeah, right.
What's the difference between Hindu nationalism and
I have to interrupt.
nationalism?
I have to interrupt real quick. Okay, there's two people that. Yeah, I'll let you go. I promise. I got this. Two people in here need it. So first one we'll let go is Pyro, and then Chris Big Six. So Pyro, tell us where we can find you.
Yo, I'm Pyro. You can literally just Google my name or like put me on fucking Twitch and you'll find me. This has been fun. Half of y'all is fucking dumbasses, but then like we didn't even get onto that because this fucking dumbass non-smoker here just let his brain cook under his fucking lamp. When it comes to the actual topic of platforming versus deplatforming, it's just like, yo, you don't fucking do that shit on stream. If you actually care about these people, do that shit in private. If you want to like make a show of it like people are now, then yeah, platform them. It's funny. It gets the content. It gets the views. But yeah, I'm the
Just
Pyro
ask
Tyrant. Jesus
questions.
fucking-
Look, you're still basing it off this premise of like you gotta
He's gone.
fucking roll.
All
Right?
right,
Like
nice.
just ask
Okay,
questions.
all right.
Get
All right.
Chad.
Yeah,
It was
Chris,
cool to talk to
Just
him. He
ask
seems like a
questions,
nice
bro.
guy.
Yeah,
all right,
Pyro's
Chris.
cool. Yeah, sick.
All right, Chris Big
Yeah,
Six.
sure.
Where can we find
Thanks
you?
for having me on, Alexa. It was genuinely fun. You guys can find me on twitch.tv/Chris Speaks. I do social commentary, relationship talks, web stuff, and just general degeneracy, I suppose. I think that humanizing Nazis is incredibly important. I do not believe that we should platform them on Twitch. My main concern regarding platforming them is the influx of Nazi viewers that streamers who feel unequipped to deal with now will have to deal with. I wish we could sit on that for a bit, as I don't believe that we have to settle for that being the cost of marketplace of ideas. But I do understand that like a 15-person panel is going to be hectic as shit. If anyone here from the pro platforming Nazi side would be willing to have a 1-to-1 live on-air monetizable chat with me on the topic and give some clout to a small content creator, just holler at me, and I'd love to chat. I will end my statement saying that I am a bit disappointed that we've actually wasted time arguing over a fucking lunatic tanky, simultaneously attacking people for not showing their faces or on the basis of their identity, whilst being the actual biggest pussy on the panel. The only difference between you,
Also
my
the
guy, and these
whitest
terrifying
motherfucker.
Nazis you describe is the label that you use. People like you actively make anyone
like
want
your
to argue against
imaginary
platforms
aquarium.
look like fucking lunatics. My opinion on this panel has been devalued by your presence. As a fellow Baldy and a genuine leftist, I'm
That's good.
genuinely like ashamed of your fucking existence.
Anything I could do to devalue you is great.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
Based Chris Speaks. I shouted you out, brother.
Hi, Chris. We love you.
Thank you. Night-night.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
All right, Smugbug, go.
Oh, fuck. I forgot what I was going to say. Someone else can take it.
You're fucking
Idiot.
useless. Next.
Sorry. I didn't hold on to it. I got ADHD.
I
should
got
write
something
it down.
right now. If we can focus around policies instead of these identities, calling someone X nationalist, Y nationalist, Z nationalist, if we just talked about policies and we focus specifically on the things that they want to change, then it'd be a lot easier to actually organize who we're going to platform and who we're not going to. I don't talk to people that are pro camps, period. You can just make that a policy. That's what a lot of people want to do. Yeah. Right. Listen, Smoker, I know that you love prisons. How about you go hang out in one and see whether or not it's a hospitable thing for somebody?
He'll get there. Don't worry. He'll find his way.
Once again, advocating for people to be jailed, ironically, but not.
All right. Okay. So again, we need to find the things that have the actual danger,
Listen to the
right? So
truth.
pick the pieces of the Nazi
Like ice picks
ideology
too.
that you don't like and are harmful. Make those rules if you want to deplatform them based on those ideas. Like, for example, ethno-nationalism or advocating for mass political violence based on immutable characteristics. Whatever you want to put those lines down as, put them down and then say, okay, if you cross this line, you're off fucking Twitch. That's how you deplatform quote-unquote Nazis, by using actual firm rules. And Twitch kind of does this on a lot of things. It doesn't matter if you're a leftist like Bosch, you get dunked for saying that you're going to glass Israel. It doesn't matter if you're a Nazi, you're going to get dunked if you fucking, I don't know, say that black people have, like, you know, inferior IQ based on racial characteristics or fucking whatever. Right? This shit gets you dunked, okay? We do have some firm rules in place because you will fucking dive around them every
look, that
opportunity,
literally
right?
got Leonardo DiCaprio an Academy Award, though, right?
What?
Django, you guys don't remember?
Yeah, okay,
So
that's
can I
different. Okay,
clarify
the
something
difference
really
between...
quickly?
I'm just saying, you do it over here, you
So
get
you're
an
saying-
Academy Award. Over here, you get fucking banned. I don't know.
Because
you
one
know.
is a controlled environment. Hold on. This is not even a real
One
point.
of them
Sorry, I'm
is,
not even
is
gonna fight
also
it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, we're all here on
CCTV,
Twitch.
do
This
you
is
really-
actually
do you
like
really not understand-
performance
wait.
slash
CCTV, this is-
edutainment, right?
No,
So
no, no,
at
no,
what
okay.
point do you actually draw this line between somebody
CCTV.
being a character and doing something, right?
When you're
versus-
posted on somebody's
It's
website
different.
and you're not a filmmaker.
Okay. Yeah, CCTV. The difference.
Actually, we're all filmmakers right now because we're making fucking film.
Being hosted on a public broadcasting
listen.
service with certain TOS. Yes, exactly.
Okay, hold
the
on,
fact
hold
is
on.
that the movies can ban whatever the fuck they want.
So the point
Okay,
is
so
that we have
the
the
movie-
same action, but in two different venues, and we get a different different
not the
reaction.
same action at
because
all.
because it's not. First of all, the context is massively different, but also a film or a TV show or like a comedy stand-up is still going to be a controllable piece of media that someone has a lot more authorial intent, like authority over, so they can use it more carefully. Streaming, Twitch, is live, it's uncontrolled, you don't know what your guest is going to say, you don't know what 10 people on the debate panel are going to say. It's a completely, like, different medium. So I don't think you can compare them. Obviously, if you want to, like, make sure that the N-word is used carefully, you can do that in a film far more easily than you could do it across an entire platform like Twitch. This is silly.
Actually,
Wait,
nobody said a damn thing about the N-word a minute ago. What we were
But if I
talking
can-
about
if
was
I can
making
fuck
the
somebody in the ass
comparison
and put it on
that you
Pornhub, why
did
can't I
about
put it on
being
Twitch?
inferior. That is what was actually being talked about. But I'm glad we're all on the same.
Well, I'm sorry, I thought you said Leo DiCaprio got a fucking award for it.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah, Django was like, you know, like, have you not seen Django? Because it doesn't seem
Seen
evident to me
Django.
that you've seen
He
it.
was a fantastic. He was really good at pretending to be racist. So he was really like actually like.
Suspicious, yeah.
I'm not meaning that as I'm not
Hey, can
meaning
I
that as like
clarify?
a joke. But,
No,
like,
I think
he
he's a
was really
Nazi
fucking
Stardust.
good
I
at
think
it.
you're right. I think you're right. I think he's a Nazi Stardust. I agree.
I watched
Are you
it
saying
behind
that-
the scenes, and that was
hear from
the
the
behind
Vegas
the
guy?
scenes
Who
stuff, you know,
cares?
is
Dude,
really
Smug.
apparently Leonardo
Smug.
DiCaprio.
Are you
felt so
saying
bad
that
about
people
saying
who
the
advocate for
N-word
ethno-states
to,
should be banned
Oh
from
yeah,
Twitch?
yeah, and then but like the other black actors, they
that
were like,
question
"Look,
for me?
we're trying to tell an actual
That's for
story
Smug.
from the actual time, right? So it's like we don't have time to get offended with this shit because like we're trying to actually be more true to the time, but like in the obviously Quentin Tarantino
Yeah, and
comedic
DiCaprio
way,
felt
you know?
That's
so
right.
bad about saying.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he
yeah.
had to just kind of like.
You guys
go
are
with
making
it.
me
It's
want to
very
say the
funny.
N-word right now, like unironically. Smug, if people advocate for ethno-states, should they be banned from Twitch?
Yeah, I think so.
Is someone asking me
Would you
that?
apply this to Zionists?
Wait,
Yes.
hold on.
Well,
Start
yeah,
again?
if they're-
Based,
if they're-
yes.
on it-
I thought he
yes,
was asking
obviously,
me, bro.
yes, absolutely. But again, it depends
You'd
on how
apply
you
that
do
to
it as well,
Zionists?
but yes.
So if people
Yes, I'm
Absolutely.
anti-Zionist,
Israel,
yes.
You ban them from Twitch.
If they're
Yes.
sorry, if their stance is they want to create a pure state of purely Israelis,
That's not even what
then yes.
ethno-staters believe. That's not even what
Well, yeah.
like
way,
people who
guys,
advocate for
you're right.
ethno-states
Right,
don't
you-
believe like
sorry,
a
you're right, you're right.
100% like white nation or something. They don't believe that.
If you're a Zionist, you believe in an
Wait,
ethno-state,
wait,
yes.
Doobie, absolutely.
Some of them do believe in that.
Wait,
yeah.
please. He's asking me a question. Israelis, I think the majority, based on polling, do actually believe in like they want like Palestinians to be second-class citizens, right? Like I think even the current polling across even the youngest generation still skews like 55% Israelis want Palestinians to be second-class citizens. Yes, if you go on Twitch and start talking about how a race of people should be second-class citizens, yes, I think you should be dunked for ethno-nationalism. Sure.
Based.
Why wouldn't you?
I agree.
Why would you be fine with that?
Well, because I think it's important to talk about those ideas. I think they're just
No, it's
removing
not.
these people from the platform.
Look, I got to be honest.
When Zionism is widely supported in the Republican Party, for example, but in the Democrat Party too, it's obviously supported in
guys are just
Israel,
doing
where
this
it's
thing
actually.
Hold on.
So I don't think you just keeping these people off the platform is going to make any fucking difference. The ideas are still out there. You refusing to engage with the ideas just makes you look like a dumb bitch, and it makes you look like the ideas are too difficult for you to engage with.
It's not that. Hold on. You've just hold on. You cannot compare Zionists in the American government to Zionists as I described them in Israel.
Absolutely,
okay?
I can.
There's a different. No, because you can't. They're not the same thing.
But Israel has a nation-state law. Hold on, Israel passed a nation-state law recently.
You are conflating. Hold
God.
on. No. You are
I'm not.
conflating.
Israel passed a nation-state law recently that explicitly, in the law, in their basic law of the fucking country, lays out that Israel is a Jewish nation, and that the right to self-determination in Israel is uniquely the right of the Jewish people. Right?
Are you okay with people advocating?
Somebody doing a program today in supporting Israel today isn't supporting an ethnic supremacist ethno-state. That is just true.
You guys are aware that there are second-class citizens, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because if you're not a part of the PC master race and you're console only, you're a second-class citizen.
That's right, brother. If you're conservative, you get canceled off of Twitter. You become a second-class citizen. It's true, brother. I swear to God.
I missed you. Holy shit.
Speaking truth.
Can we hear from the guys?
Doobie is trying to say that everyone who is a Zionist in the Republican Party and the Democratic Party is an ethno-nationalist, and I think
I got banned off Twitter. It's basically the Holocaust, brother.
So from what I understand,
what about Fresh Ink Cartel?
From what I understand, like Zionism, it's a homeland for the Jewish people, but it's multi-ethnic.
I just want to hear from you, bro.
And beyond just Jewish as well.
Okay.
So
yeah, but so is Nazi Germany. So Nazi Germany, even right in their ethno-state, they didn't say, "Hey, 100% Aryan fucking Nazis." Right? They made some space for other ethnicities, just like Israel has space for other ethnicities. But in their basic law, it lays out specifically that Israel is a Jewish nation and Jewish state. It's meant to preserve the Jewish culture, the Jewish people, etc., etc., etc. And so supporting Israel today means that you're supporting a nation that is an ethno-state.
It's not built off of one sole singular ethnicity.
It absolutely
or even,
is.
No.
It's built off the Jewish ethnicity.
It's multi-ethnic at its core.
No, it's not. It's literally in the basic law that it is not multi-ethnic. Right?
There are multiple Jews.
You could say, wait, you could say it's a religio state if that's what you want to say.
No,
because it's for all
Jews
Jewish
are
people,
an
not just
they're an
ethnic,
ethno-religious
not
group.
just
Wait, Judaism is like an ethno-religion, though.
Inside of
It's
Jewish,
not just
even if you were taking that
Jews are an
perspective.
ethno-religion.
They have the Jewish gene. They have the Jew gene. They've got the Jew gene. That's the problem. They all share the same gene.
Don't be a retard.
Christ.
No, I think what you mean is a religio. I think
it's
you mean a
reasonable.
religio state.
So it's reasonable.
To your level.
So it's reasonable to say that in the same way that Nick Fuentes wants a white Christian United States, right? They want a Jewish, like an ethnically Jewish Israel.
Yeah, and that's bad.
Right?
Because it includes non-ethnic Jewish people as well.
But it doesn't matter. It's still bad.
This isn't
Judaism.
This is an ethno-religious
I don't
group.
know.
Right? So they're not non-ethnic Jews. They're ethnically Jewish.
Yeah, there are also three primary groups of Jews. Like this is a silly thing. It's united around a single belief structure. Yeah, it's not just the ethnicity.
You can opt into it.
It's still bad.
I know plenty of people who converted. My father married into a Jewish family.
It's still an ethno-state. Like
no, we're not. It is definitionally like an ethno-state.
No, religio state, whatever, but it's still bad.
I think lots of people. Hold on. I think lots of people in Israel would be fine with it being an ethno-state. I don't think that it's currently a full. You're right. I don't think it's currently physically an ethno-state, even if it has.
You just don't understand, like you don't understand what an ethno-state is. Literally read their basic law, read the nation-state law that they passed recently.
We said
It is an
second-class
ethno-state.
citizen. Are you unhappy with that definition, Doobie?
Okay, that
Or are
is
you happy
not.
with that?
You're being disingenuous.
Whatever it is,
The-
religio state,
the
ethno
reason they're
state,
second-class
it's both-
citizens.
it's all bad.
The
They've
reason
literally
the reason Arab
segregated.
people and non-Jews, the reason non-Jews are second-class citizens is because it is an
Why are you
ethno-state.
backtracking? Did you agree with it or not? Are you backtracking?
I'm not
No,
backtracking
I
on
believe-
anything.
Okay, so you did agree with it.
No,
Okay,
I'm
so you
explaining.
agree.
I'm
female
explaining the thing that you're
ethno-state.
saying.
Good enough.
I would like
That
a
was fine.
female ethno-state as soon as possible.
We
no
know
men
Stardust.
allowed, all men get deported.
That's not an ethno-state. That's a sexual.
What about trans men, Stardust?
Female is an
Female
ethnicity. Do
ethno-state.
not
Putting
lie.
us on a weird spot here.
A gyno state.
Okay.
That's a It's a
Stardust says she
Anyway,
hates trans men. Oh.
Libido state.
Can we?
I didn't
Okay,
say that.
Doobie, I think you're just getting
you
hung
wanna
up on
deport trans
second-class
men.
citizen for no fucking reason.
I think we
okay?
just need
No,
to
you
Obviously,
deport
idiot.
it's a
anybody
racial.
who's a
Then
man.
what?
You're an
Then
idiot.
what?
Exactly.
Okay, well, then explain
No,
this.
Doobie's
Doobie.
talking about the
I've already
law.
explained
That's an
that-
opt-in
that's
category,
actually in the
Stars.
law.
You did a
that
bad
is
job,
law.
okay?
Zoni is talking about like what it should or should not be. That's the difference here.
True.
You know what? I'm sorry. The Nazis are rhetorically effective because Doobie managed to bait us into talking about the Jews. He did it. He managed.
Yeah,
to
I,
did it.
want to hear
You
the
did it.
Hold
Yeah,
on. I want to hear
asking
the.
you
I want to hear
guys,
the.
like,
This is what
fraud.
happens
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
time.
We want competence.
This is why we.
We
This
fell
is
into
why
the
we
trap.
shouldn't be platforming frogs.
True.
I think
We
some
got
of you are
tricked.
incompetent.
That's what I'm
okay?
saying.
Whoa, are you
Yeah,
racist
right.
against
Plenty of you
frogs,
on the
bro?
platform, me
Cringe.
included,
I
and
knew I
debate
liked
against
that,
the
Zoni.
Honestly.
ethno-state idea and tell people why
Oh,
ethno-states are a
man,
bad
we were
fucking
against the
idea.
frog for a second, then non-smoker jumped on
Excuse
it. Now
me.
I'm back
You can
for
clearly
it.
see the
Like,
dragon
like
wings.
a
He's only
frog
half frog.
every
Why
time.
did you not refer to him as a dragon?
I think if you can't argue effectively against like the ethno-state policy or the ethno-state idea, you just shouldn't be having these debates on the platform. Like you're
You
an
do
idiot.
know. You don't. You do know.
It's
that
not
you
a
don't
hard
have to
argument
argue
against
against somebody
ethno-state
to talk
right
against the
now.
idea. The ideas
Ethno-states
are
are
well
cringe.
established. They are written about. You can do research. You can do interviews with people. You don't have to platform them. I'm even in the like pro-platform stance, but this idea that the only way that you can talk to people is through the platforming is insane. Don't go into that idea. You can talk
True.
to people. You can just still fucking do actual research. You can make content based around this. You can go and do research, actually pour over the research and talk about the ideas. But that's not. You
But
can't
you
just cudgle
refuse to
that
talk to
straight
the
into the fucking idea.
hold on, but you would refuse to talk to somebody like Nick Fuentes, for example, who I think is
Yes.
does believe like an ethno-states. Like he does want an ethno-state.
Actually,
I literally earlier said that I'm on the pro-platforming stance. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think that
okay.
I'm supposed to.
Nick
I think
Fuentes
that
is.
those types of discussions are
You
supposed to
said that
happen
you're-
in very
you said that you're not equipped.
organized positions.
I would love if someone was competent enough to deal with Nick Fuentes properly.
Yeah, I
without
was gonna say,
accidentally platforming
Plenty
him.
of
That's
people
my
are. He's
problem.
not that intelligent. You guys are.
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes is
Yeah,
popular
you-
enough.
You just hold on. The problem is Destiny set up a bunch of dominoes that ended with the motherfucker on no jumper, right? Like
So
this
what?
is not great. What do you mean? So what? So you've just increased
Yeah,
his
so
access,
plenty of people are-
uncontested
okay.
to a massive audience.
These ideas are on the fucking
issue.
internet, right? So you not letting him on no jumper doesn't mean that his ideas aren't spreading around. His audience is speaking to people. They're on Discord. They're on Twitch. They're
How
on
many
Twitter.
Senate seats
spreading these
does
fucking
No Jumper
ideas.
have?
Right, so the idea that hey, we just keep him off no jumper, we keep him off fucking YouTube platforms. His ideas aren't going to get out there. They fucking are. He doesn't
Communicating
need your
with Marjorie
platform.
Taylor Greene. He's already communicating
Okay,
with politicians. Like,
Why then? Let me ask you this: Why then
Make a
do
reasonable
conservatives
point.
get so uppity about cancellation? Why are they so concerned with their YouTube platforms being taken down? I don't understand. If they can still proliferate their ideas
Nobody likes
without
being
YouTube,
canceled. That's why.
like I
It's
don't
an
get it.
entertainment career.
No,
Their
because
job is
yeah,
to be an
discrimination,
entertainer and make
you know?
money.
I tell you
That's
what,
what
we
they're
want
bad.
Get
to
banned.
It's hitting their
bring
wallet.
We want to bring
But
back.
it doesn't
the
stop
Dukes
the
of Hazzard.
ideas.
We want the Dukes of Hazzard brought back. Okay, that's what we want.
If it doesn't stop the
Yeah,
ideas, I don't
why
understand
are
the
we
problem.
Dukes of
It's a bunch
Hazzard
of bullshit
platforms?
that we all can't be
on
sitting here
ideas.
watching
It's
fucking,
another thing
I don't know,
to take
Jessica
somebody's
Simpson
actual
or
income
Catherine
away,
Bach fucking
right?
I
walking
gotta
around
support
looking
you
like
on that
Daisy
one,
Duke. You know what I'm
CTV.
saying?
Hey,
You
CTV,
can't-
what
the
games
Hazzard
have you been
Doctrine.
playing?
I don't think
lately?
you could ever cancel Dukes of
Okay,
Hazzard, to be honest.
Smug. The thing with the
did.
Nick
Hi.
Fuentes
That
is
was like
Destiny is
fucking
in the
8
most
years
viable
ago.
position to
Who the fuck is even
neutralize
talking to me?
Nick
Oh,
Fuentes.
sorry, Toby.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah,
sorry,
let me get
yeah.
my fly swatter.
I have
right here
no
to pay
clue what that
fucking
means,
attention.
Buko Saka,
The
but
one who's in
I I
position
feel
to
it.
help Nick
I feel it in my
Fuentes the
soul.
most is Destiny. And by talking to him, befriending him, and moving him further away from those types of things is what's making progress. Are you like seriously telling me that Destiny is not making progress with Nick Fuentes?
I don't think. No, I don't think he's made much progress with Nick Fuentes.
It's directed to me.
Sure.
But yeah, like I don't think that he's going to make progress with Fuentes. I do think that engaging Nazis is a good idea. I don't think that someone with 10k fucking viewers should be doing it, sanitizing them and giving them access to other platforms.
I do kind of like
where
Smug
Destiny
Bug. I
isn't
like
there
him.
to push back, right? Now that you've got fucking Sneeko and Fuentes running amok, the problem is that they've been sanitized to the point where they can now go on other platforms. They're leapfrogging step by step to bigger and bigger platforms, and that's a concern. I hope it stops at
Sneeko
No Jumper,
fucking dunked
but
on him though.
I do like him.
The other
Say
day,
again?
right? Sneeko apparently dunked on Fuentes the other day, so they're kind of like canceling each other
That's
out.
great,
and
but
it's-
Sneeko is also a 9/11 truther.
Cancel.
Like it's kind of this is like
Can I
neither
just
of them are
say?
great people that their ideas pushed.
Can I just say that the platforming
real
of
truth.
Sneeko has actually moved me a bit. I think I might not be asexual anymore, and I might actually be Sneeko-sexual. Like I'm seriously thinking I'm Sneeko-sexual these
Zoni
days.
is
I wish we could get a
detransing
platform again.
and becoming non-asexual.
Yeah,
What
I
a
mean,
night.
he's
What a
so
night.
suave. He's got such strong rhetoric.
We went
He's
from
very
stealthing women to
persuasive.
Sneekoing women.
The charisma, I want him to like
Fade.
strangle and slap me around a bit, to get me in line. I'm
I
just
did-
Developing a kink
Very
as well.
authoritarian.
I don't
you
king
know
shame, but
what?
I'm gonna king shame.
Replatform
Sonia,
Sneeko.
Sonia,
Replatform Sneeko. I'm Sneeko-sexual,
Okay,
actually.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Specifically.
Sonia, look, this is the
Sneeko
first time I've
sexual?
heard this out of you. Okay, whenever I first came to the platform, I heard the same thing. Right, it all came and it was about me. Right, so you've moved on now to Sneeko, right, and that's okay. I'm going to be okay with that.
This is why you jerk off before stream,
To be
guys.
clear, right? You felt this before, okay?
Okay, I have to
She's
interject.
going
real quick.
younger and younger.
All right, I have to interject here. Now, I know he was our favorite person. Non-smoker does have to leave us. So, non-smoker, why don't you give us a shout out and tell us
Yeah.
where we can find you?
Thanks. Twitch.tv/nonsmoker. I have to kind of out myself. So I've been trolling the whole panel. I don't actually
What?
believe any of that shit.
I fucking told you, bitches. We're all too autistic.
At
I
all.
knew it.
I want to help him here. This was
It was
I-
good.
I-
Let me explain.
It was good. You
Look,
came in real
I knew
hot.
it.
so I
I
figured-
want to hear it. I want to hear it.
real quick. So look, obviously, I think that deplatforming everybody just based on politics, it sets a horrible precedent because you could just as easily say, and you guys are going to see this with new Twitter ownership, that depending on who's doing the deplatforming, they could totally just cut off huge segments of any platform and make the whole thing like one viewpoint or homogenous around one viewpoint, which is a huge problem. So I think these are all kind of like modern public squares. I'd like for them to be very diverse. That said, I think we should all be honest. Like I debated a fascist last night. If we're actually debating these people, we should be clear that many of them do not want to be converted or changed or saved or whatever. They really aren't very reasonable people most of the time. So we should at least be like upfront about the fact that we're doing it because it's a provocative person. It makes for good content, but we're probably not going to have a lot of success converting them. In terms of the audience, we might make an impact. We might. But, it's difficult to quantify that, right? People who are going to be convinced by like a decent debate argument will be convinced the other way a day later. So, again, like I think there's limited use in it. We should be honest about why we're doing it. But at the end of the day, I don't agree with banning huge swaths of any of these platforms. I think that's like really not a good thing. And I don't believe anyone should be sent to jail for their political beliefs.
You're wonderfully delusional tonight, non
Yeah,
I liked
so much.
it.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I also
pleasure
Alexa-
to have you.
Fantastic.
Queen
Very,
Alexa
very,
asked
very well
me.
done.
You were
Yeah,
excellent
I would-
at trolling. You were excellent
Yeah,
at it.
Absolutely
I
bought me.
Alexa
yes,
asked
hold on.
me.
I
I
want
knew
to
the
confirm this
game.
that non-smoker
He had me
is
in the
telling the
second
truth. I reached out to him and said, "Hey, you want to do something funny?" So this was a not just a troll. This was a collaborative. Words are hard when you're retarded. This was just a troll that was set up between me and non-smoker. He was a fucking legend. Thank you for coming, non-smoker. We'll have you again.
I sniffed it out, and then he fucking tricked me in the second half.
Oh, no,
And that, actually, that pyro dude.
Wait,
it's a good
that
point,
means that
too.
Alec agreed with a troll. Oh no!
Let's say about Alex.
That's fine. I'll bite that fucking bullet.
It should take no surprise that
career
the
is
person
over.
wearing a MAGA
Jesus.
hat agreed with a troll.
Yeah. Wow, it's almost
Alec,
like
I love you
radicalizing
anyway.
towards the left from the right.
I love
Doesn't
you
teach
too,
any
baby.
critical thinking.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll
That's
see you
fine.
later.
Oh no!
See you,
Thank you,
non-smoker.
See you, buddy. Well done.
Good night.
Very well played.
All right.
I think
so,
I want to really quickly say, like, that non-smoker makes a great point. If you think you're going to change anybody's idea, you're already like you're starting off at the wrong place, right?
Yeah.
I don't have any
Literally said
delusions
that
about
like an
changing.
hour ago.
I
You
know, but
did.
I just have to reiterate it. Like I just what I
Yeah,
said
but
it as
I don't
well.
want that asshole getting
Also,
credit.
also,
I
it needs to be
fucking knew
said.
it.
It
Like
needs to be
I
said
said,
without.
he fucking just
Well,
regurgitating what I
I said at
said.
the
Also-
beginning before you weren't
hang
even
on.
here, CTV. So
Also-
you can whatever.
Rabo.
Yeah, and CTV, it needs to be reiterated without a Southern accent, just so it sounds like it's coming from somebody intelligent.
Well, yeah, but it can't be a woman
But I
either.
mean,
Somebody, do you want to
also
take this?
said it like at the beginning of when I entered. So
Well,
I
that's
mean,
why
like,
Zonia stopped being a woman before this panel, so that
True.
his voice could be understood.
Her, I'm a woman
gotta be
now. I'm just a
honest, I
woman,
like
not a
it.
trans woman.
she's not
You're back
trans.
to a woman?
She's just a woman now.
No.
She's de-transed back into a cis
Wait,
woman.
sorry. If you're
Well,
a cis woman,
wow.
then your pronouns are they
Wow,
slash
Tuna.
them.
I
Correct?
de-trans so that I could say things without sounding crazy. you know?
Yes.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Also, so I could get back to T-slur, so it's actually transphobic when I call someone a tranny now.
I can't believe you
everyone's
said that
shut.
word.
All right.
Wait,
so
yeah,
And everybody
yeah.
disavow. You're supposed to disavow.
Yeah, I know. You can't say that, Zonia. Deplatform. Go.
All right, we're gonna wrap this show up. This was
Oh God.
wonderful. This was wonderful. I absolutely loved this show. Like it was great. I love all of you equally, truly. All right. So shout yourself out. Closing statements. Y'all are fucking great. Also, join the Political Shit Show. Discord.gg/Political Shit Show. That's all I ask. All right, we'll start with Toby.
Oh yeah, man, what a show. We started off with a bit of miscommunication at the beginning. Damn Alec there like threw us into a loop, and that fucker non-smoker had us all going. It was so awesome. But we did get some stuff sorted out there, and the difference between platforming and Nazi, and what to do when actual World War II like literally breaks out and people got to grab guns, which is important. And we got into the humanizing part of it, which was an essential part of talking through these types of things. It is a very complicated process, and Zonia knows this as well too when you're de-radicalizing people and so forth. And fuck you, Queen Alexa. Oh, no, I meant fuck Wick. And it was beautiful.
Bitch.
Thank you so much. And I just do want to say that it is a complicated process in talking people out of these types of things, because I do that on a regular basis with people, and I do it privately before I know who they are, before I bring them on panel, or know who I am bringing on panel as well too, to talk with people for this. So if anybody's interested in those types of things, I go more in depth into my channel with that, which is my username as well too. But everybody should join Queen Alexa's Discord, because we love fucking with her over there. So have a good night.
So fucking true. Thank you for coming tonight. Tuna Chip.
Hey, cool. Go ahead and do a sign off. I'm Tuna Chip. You can find me just literally Tuna Chip, as it's the two food items in sequence on Twitch here. Right now, I'm probably mostly playing various Souls-likes and talking about various ways that we can move away from the main problems of the modern world. If you guys want
I'm gonna follow
to
Tuna
talk
Chip.
with me, go ahead, and anybody reach out to me. I'm trying to
What's
have
going
more
on,
discussions
everybody?
about stuff. Other than that, fuck the prisons. See y'all later.
Wait, damn it.
God. Stardust.
Damn it. I had something I wanted to say to that guy. Because I feel a little cheated. I feel cheated. I would expect someone with a name like Tuna
Well,
Chip to be
go-
English.
Go
You know,
slide
'cause, you
into
know,
his
fish and
DMs,
chips,
brother.
right?
All right.
Get
all
a
right,
good
Stardust,
pickup line.
Take us away.
Hi guys, I'm Stardust. I do politics. I cover internet stuff. I cover popular culture stuff. You should come check me out. Twitch.tv/Stardust, YouTube.com/Stardust streams. I also do the occasional debate. So yeah, come check me out, subscribe and stuff. Thanks.
All right. My interviewing partner and partner of crime, somebody online.
Howdy. Howdy, hi. Thank you guys. I am somebody online here on Twitch and on the YouTube. Come and follow me there for those kind of things. I do want to kind of reemphasize my stance on this. We need to be very careful about normalizing conversations. A lot of people do seem to be, oh my gosh, everybody, we're going to talk about how dumb the Nazis are again today, but nobody knows what Nazis are exactly. And we're bringing a lot of hype around this situation. We're encouraging people to study a little bit more and let me find out what this term actually means. And all of a sudden they're deciding in their private, on their own, that this is a base situation. I'm not saying that we can't have academic discussions. We can't set up situations. We can't dunk on these people for being morons. But we also need to be very careful about normalizing a space where we say, oh no, it's totally cool. This is the channel where the Nazis are allowed to come and say whatever they want, because you're inherently going to create a space where terrible things happen and people talk about terrible things. Like you need to encourage a space that exists without like necessarily just banning people outright for saying the no word. But again, I'm somebody online. Come and talk to me about things. I do a number of panels. My Tuesday show, The Political Annex, we're all in the same political party because technically I found we've all agree about all of these fucking things all the time. So people come on and we find out what we agree about. You find a problem, we figure out what the problem is, and we solve it together because we really agree that the problems are bad. Come and do that on Tuesday. See you there.
Also, me and somebody online are interviewing Irrelevant on the 7th at 10 EST. So don't miss that. All right, Smugbug.
Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I like shouting, and this is a great place to do that. I'm Smugbug. I stream Bloodsports like it's 2019. I like debating people. I like yelling at people. The streams are a little bit unhinged, and a lot of it is from an anarchist perspective, so it's even more unhinged. But I try not to do it the cringe way. I think that when it comes to deplatforming Nazis, the important thing is to set hard lines when it comes to rules, to define those very, very clearly, to apply the same rules to all sides of the political spectrum. So something like Twitch should make sure that they've got rules against advocating for mass violence, some of the stuff that we talked about earlier. I do think that I worry about the average level of competency in Twitch at debating Nazis. I think that too many people make mistakes, and I think that too much of the situation is out of the control, particularly for larger creators. They can end up sanitizing someone without realizing or meaning to, through no ill will. It's just that there's so many factors out of their control that they kind of end up fucked, whether or not they can do anything to defend against it. I think that training and improving competency is really important there. And one of the things that we do on Smugbug is once a month, I'll turn into Chudbug, and you can come debate a fake conservative to test out your rhetorical skills. It's a nice, fun way to like train a little bit on right-wing talking points. And I think it's another step towards being able to debate your first Nazi or whatever on stream.
Thank you so much. On her return back to the shit show, Zonia.
Hello, I'm Zonia.
I think I'm going to be last.
I am a real woman. I am a crypto-fascist detransitioner.
Fuck, you should just say
no
a real
longer a trans
woman? What the
just a woman.
fuck is
The only
that?
real woman on this panel, actually. And yeah, so
real
when it comes
woman.
to platforming,
Okay, dude.
I think what we need to do is we need to put more first graders onto the platform as streamers and have them platform the Nazis and just see how well that goes. You know, I have a feeling that, you know, it'll probably turn out okay. And then I don't have to be a crypto fascist anymore. And I could just come out and be open about my beliefs. So thank you for having me on. Thank you for platforming me. I know the ears kind of hide the fascism a little bit, but you know, it just, you know, I don't know. It's not a perfect solution, but it works.
It's a final solution.
It is a final solution, yes, because I don't have another one. But thank you for having me on again, Alexa. I am Zonia at Twitch, Zonia Dead. I cover a lot of politics, social commentary, and do some reaction stuff and play games. And coming up on the 11th, I'm going to be on Stardust Chaos Cast panel, the biggest Chaos Cast panel ever. And also on Monday, I'm going to be debating Elderdrazi on self-harm advocacy and self-harm depiction in social media and streams. Anyways.
Very nice. How many people are going to be on the Chaos Cast? How many is that?
400.
I'm still organizing it. I'm still, you know, trying to organize it. So I don't have
Break
like,
the record.
final group yet.
Am I overhyping?
Are you about to fucking break my record?
No, you're not. You're not overhyping it at all. You're not overhyping it at all. I just I need to really get back on that grind. So, yeah.
Actually, Stardust and I are the two people here who are on the biggest political shit show ever.
And Doobie.
Yeah.
Oh, and Doobie, that's right.
Yeah, that's still to this day the largest political panel ever be hosted. And if anyone takes from, I'll fucking hurt you. All right, Freshing Cartel.
Hey, go fuck yourself, Alexa.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
True.
Best outro in Twitch history.
Yeah, good take.
That's all.
Sure.
Yeah, delivers one correct take, leaves.
No, I'll hang around.
Alec Gunter, you're on mute. Go. No, he's deaf.
All right. Yeah, so I believe Nazis are bad. Controversial opinion, I know. So I think that platforming Nazis, like I said in the intro, is generally a bad thing to do. Giving them a platform to speak on and proliferate their ideas is generally bad. We don't want more people to become Nazis. That being said, if your goal is to reduce the number of Nazis, I compared them to zombies earlier.
The number of Zonias. Holy shit.
Excuse me, this is my closing statement. So,
well, my name has been mentioned, so now I have to speak up for myself. Yes, Zonias are great and wonderful. You should worship all Zonias.
Oh, okay. But if you are to keep people from becoming Nazis, if you are not rhetorically gifted to combat their ideas, it's better just to not platform them. I think that Twitter allowing people like Ye a platform to spew the Jewish question is a bad thing to do. And I think that in general, it's just not a great thing to platform Nazis. That being said, if I think of it in like a literal sense, where we put a Nazi up on a stage and we say, we're going to make this guy look like an idiot. We're going to make it look like he doesn't know what he's doing. And we're going to make it so that people do not want to be this person. I'm totally fine with doing that. The problem is when they lean into it and they become like the meme, right? They become the cool guy, the meme, the funny guy, whatever. You need to be able to recognize that and stop the engagement when that happens. Because unfortunately, we live in a society where optics are everything. So if you're coming off as the cool guy, the funny guy, the whatever, like the 4chan memer, you're going to pull in an audience regardless. So if you can cut that engagement off when that happens, that is a good thing to do. If you can make them look stupid, that's a good thing to do. Because Nazi ideology, at the end of the day, I hope we all agree, is a bad thing. It is a bad thing to have Nazis in your society. It is a bad thing for Nazis to, frankly, exist. So I think that limiting the number of Nazis that are in our society and anything that we can do to curb that existence is a good thing. That's kind of where I stand on that. And I think that the best way that we can limit the number of Nazis is to push the ones that are proliferating their ideas into the darkest, deepest reaches where nobody can hear what they have to say. Now, my name is Alec Gunter. I'm on twitch.tv/Alec Gunter. I'm a little bit inebriated right now. I apologize. I'm also on youtube.com/Alec Gunter TTV. You can find me there. Our YouTube is growing. The Gunter Boys are growing. You can join us. I would really appreciate it. If you come onto my Twitch stream right now, I'm going to drop the Discord link and you can come find me there. And that's about all I got. So thank you so much for having me. As always, Queen Alexa, it's been fun. And I hope you all have a great night.
Thanks for coming, buddy. All right, CTV, I have a very important question.
Why, dude?
Have you returned?
I know who this is.
Is the legend back?
What makes you think I left?
He was always in our walls.
That's true. Maybe he was always here, just watching us.
I
Yeah,
never took
so
the poster down.
that'd be the first thing you probably need to clear up in your mind. What makes you think I left?
Good point. Good point. I thought you left us for Legoland for a moment. Guess you didn't.
For
All right,
what?
CTV, Legoland.
Is
What the hell is
Legoland
that?
real?
The hell is Legoland?
Yeah.
What?
Is that real?
What?
No, we're talking about this now. Is Legoland real?
Yes.
It's an amusement park dedicated to that elf from Lord of the Rings, I think.
Doggo.
Yep. All right, CTV, where can we find you?
Most excited about that.
been a lot of talk tonight about branding, right? So I'm going to talk directly to the audience members. Okay. Now, lots of people throwing shout outs for this, that, and the other. Let's be honest. A year from now, 2, 3, 5 years from now, there's probably only going to be 2 streamers that you're probably going to see.
Me.
Dylan Burns and Stardust, right? So the only branding, right, as far as like any kind of shit talking
Bullshit.
somebody wants to fucking throw out there, right? Hippy Dippy is the only fucking branding that has any kind of fucking longevity here in Twitch politics. It's not even happening right now. Motherfuckers still talking about it. And guess what, assholes? Who's still the reigning Hippy Dippy champion?
Yeah, I knew it.
That's what I fucking thought.
Hey, that just means we got nothing to lose, okay?
That's right. The king reigns. The king reigns supreme. That's right.
Now, it seems to me it's been a good, hearty conversation tonight. Dylan, it's good seeing you, brother. We'll have to catch up. Stardust, you too, Zonia, of course, somebody online. And Doobie. CTV out.
Wonderful. Doobie.
Damn, that was cold.
What? What?
Closing statements.
Subscribe to everybody. There you go. Oh, but also join my Discord server, politics.gg, okay, or discord.gg/politics. Lots of Nazis are there for you. Okay, if you want to
Yeah,
practice.
go train.
Don't
Let's
embarrass
go.
yourself. You can go train there, okay?
Very true. And surprise guest, Dylan Burns.
Hi, I didn't really say much tonight. It was it was a little unwildy, and I didn't want to get with the pigs too much, you know, oink oink and all that. But it was cool to just be on the panel, I guess. I will say my official position is like it's okay
I was
for you
here.
to debate anyone. It's just most people can't debate anyone. If you are prepared and you know what you're doing, then I don't think it's really that bad of an idea. If you think you can sell like this to an audience, like, hey, fascism is not a good idea. But if you can't, maybe you should be quiet. And if you hold that standard to yourself about fascism and anti-Semitism, maybe you should start thinking about other issues that are very important and, you know, affect millions of people, like trans issues, or, you know, maybe the war in Ukraine. You know, hundreds of thousands of people are dying. Maybe you should treat that with the same seriousness of like research and diligence before you go out and debate people. Besides that, I don't know exactly what I am right now. I go to Ukraine and I take video and pictures of the war and I post them on the internet. And I also stream. You can find me at Dylan Burns TV or Dylan Burns Live for my second channel for all my stream content.
Join us, comrade. You're a leftist now.
Very based. Thank you all for coming. Like I said, come join us. Discord.gg/political shit show. Y'all are fucking great. This was a banger show. I had so much fun. I love you all dearly. Now, get the fuck out of my VC.
Thank you.
Later,
Thank you for
later,
having me on.
bitches.
Bye.
See you nuts.
Okay. That was a thing. That was definitely a thing that we did. Thank you for joining me on this journey.